They were paying 300 coins for a wife today, and I almost turned it down, until the last girl dropped to her knees in front of me and said, "Please, take me, or my father will kill me. My name is Qingxiu, and I'm blind. I can barely feed myself. What would I do with a wife?" But old Uncle Lu practically dragged me to the village market, where soldiers were giving away the leftover girls. He kept saying men were scarce after the war. Now there were 5 women for every man. The emperor had ordered that everyone should marry, just to raise the population. And for every marriage, they paid 300 copper coins. For a penniless blind man like me, that was salvation. At first, I just stood to the side. The girls were lined up like cattle at a market. The village men walked between them, poking, prodding, one by the waist, another by the shoulders. "This one's got wide hips, she'll give you sons. That one's strong, she could pull a cart." A soldier barked, "Hurry up. We've got 3 more villages to get through by nightfall." I stood there, silent, clutching the empty cloth in my pocket where my coins used to be. All I had left was a bag of seeds and this miserable life. By the time it was my turn, almost everyone was gone. "Look, Qingxiu, there's one left," Uncle Lu muttered. "Doesn't matter what she's like, they'll still pay." I turned my head toward the voice. Someone nearby scoffed. "Her? She's a twig. One gust of wind and she'll fly away. Useless." The soldiers were already preparing to take her back, when suddenly, she lunged toward me. Just dropped to her knees and grabbed my sleeve. "Please. I can work. I swear I can. I don't eat much. This is the 5th time no one's picked me. If I go home like this, my father will definitely kill me." I froze. Blind, but in that moment, I saw her. Her hands trembled. Her voice was soft, almost like a child's. No screaming, no hysterics. Just quiet, raw desperation. The crowd went silent. They were all watching us. "She's worthless," someone muttered behind me. "Why would you take her?" I swallowed hard. I didn't know if she was beautiful. But honestly, I didn't care. I said quietly, "I'm blind. I don't even know if I can feed you. You might have to take care of me. If you're not afraid, then come with me." "I'm not afraid," she whispered. "Half a bowl of porridge a day is enough for me." And just like that, I had a wife. Her name was Su Xiaochun. And I took her home. Lu Laosan left after escorting Qingxiu home. Qingxiu's home was a simple thatched hut, with 4 poles supporting a grass roof. Around it, bundles of straw and many sticks were tied together, and sod was hung on top, barely enough to block the wind and rain. As for furniture, it was pitiful. There was no bed, only a pile of straw to sleep on. The only thing of value was a 3-legged table, not even a stool. Even this had been built with the help of Lu Laosan and the neighbors. As soon as Su Xiaochun entered, she was stunned by what she saw and felt a bit hopeless inside. This place was dozens of times worse than her own home. It seemed Qingxiu noticed her reaction. He scratched his head awkwardly and said, "The house is a bit shabby. Don't mind it. Once we get through these tough times, we'll build a proper house." Su Xiaochun whispered, "I don't mind. My mom said, marry a chicken, follow the chicken, marry a dog, follow the dog. It's my good fortune that you're willing to take me. Bring the fish token, and let's go to the county office to register the marriage so we can get money for food." The fish token, in modern terms, is basically an ID card. A fish-shaped wooden tag, split into 2 halves, with date of birth and home address carved inside. One half is kept by the person, the other by the government. Of course, ordinary people used wooden tokens, while officials had iron ones. A few days ago, during the population census, Qingxiu had gotten a fish token. Losing a fish token was common in the Tang dynasty. It could be easily replaced. All right. Qingxiu didn't hesitate and agreed to go to the county office with Su Xiaochun to register their marriage. Once the marriage was registered, they could at least get some copper coins to buy food. He hadn't eaten in 2 meals and was already feeling weak from hunger. Carrying a small canvas bag full of seeds on his back, Qingxiu picked up his blind cane and said, "I can't see, so I'll need you to lead the way." Su Xiaochun looked Qingxiu over carefully and realized that although his clothes were ragged, they were clean, and he had a handsome and gentle face. She blushed and softly said, "It's no trouble. We're a family now. We have to take care of each other to get through life." Then she took the other end of the blind cane. The county office wasn't far, but not close either, about 10 li, roughly 5 kilometers, which would take about an hour to walk. The two walked silently. By midday, they finally reached the county office. From the sound of the crowd, many people were also there to register marriages. Unfortunately, there were no registrations at noon, so they had to wait until the afternoon. After looking around, Su Xiaochun said, "Let's find a place to rest." All right. They found a sunny spot. Su Xiaochun put her bundle on the ground and helped Qingxiu sit down. Sitting on the soft bundle, Qingxiu suddenly asked, "I'm sitting on the bundle, where will you sit?" "It's okay, I'll sit on the ground. Qingxiu shook his head. No. I'm a man. I can't let my wife sit on the ground. You sit here, I'll sit on the ground. No. Qingxiu interrupted, frowning. It's settled. I've got thick skin, I won't freeze. I said sit, so just sit. Seeing she couldn't change his mind, Su Xiaochun sat on the bundle. Qingxiu asked, what's in your bundle? Su Xiaochun quietly answered, just 2 sets of clothes. I stuffed some dry straw inside before I left. Qingxiu immediately understood, she had stuffed the dry straw in on purpose to use as a cushion. Qingxiu said, I'm blind, and there will be many things I'll have to trouble you with. We haven't registered the marriage yet. If you regret it, you can still change your mind. After this afternoon, it'll be too late. But Su Xiaochun grabbed his arm tightly and said firmly, I can tell you're a good person. You're willing to take me in, I can't ask for more. I've already decided to marry you. After a pause, Su Xiaochun blushed, lowered her head, and her voice trembled. It's okay. I don't mind that you're blind. Just treat me well in the future. I can be your eyes. Qingxiu was deeply moved and nodded with a smile. Okay, you'll be my eyes, and I'll be your man. Su Xiaochun's words, I'll be your eyes, touched Qingxiu's heart. They waited, hungry, until the office opened in the afternoon. They went in and registered the marriage. After verification, they received 300 copper coins. Su Xiaochun said excitedly, husband, we have money now. We can buy food. After saying that, her face turned red to the ears. It was her first time calling him husband, and she felt embarrassed. Sensing her shyness, Qingxiu chuckled, what's to be shy about? We've registered our marriage, I am your husband. If you don't call me husband, what will you call me? Just keep calling me that from now on. Su Xiaochun softly replied, and Qingxiu could tell she was very shy at that moment. Let's find a restaurant and eat. I'm starving. Qingxiu clutched his growling stomach and spoke weakly. But Su Xiaochun pouted and refused, no, husband. Eating at a restaurant is expensive. Let's buy some grain and go home to cook. I'll make millet porridge for you. Qingxiu shook his head. Millet porridge won't keep us full. Even if you feel full, you'll get hungry again quickly. Listen to me, we'll find a place to eat first. Besides, there isn't even a pot at home. How can we cook? What? Su Xiaochun was embarrassed. There's no pot? Then how did you eat, husband? Qingxiu sighed. I fell into the water by accident and was saved by Lu Laosan. I've only survived these past days thanks to his help. Su Xiaochun's eyes turned red. She choked up, husband, I didn't know you were suffering so much. Do we have any other family? Qingxiu shook his head. No, they all died in the war. Let's not talk about sad things. We should hurry and find a place to eat. Su Xiaochun hesitated, but we only have 300 copper coins. The autumn harvest is 6 months away. Even if we save every bit, 300 coins won't be enough to last us half a year. Right now, we can't waste a single coin. Otherwise, we'll be starving again soon. Qingxiu cupped Su Xiaochun's face and said, do you trust me? Being treated like that suddenly, Su Xiaochun's heart nearly jumped out of her chest. Her mind went blank, breathing grew heavy, and her face turned hot. Not only was Su Xiaochun stunned, but Qingxiu was too, because the moment he cupped her face, a 3D-like image of a face appeared in his mind. This was... Qingxiu could hardly believe it. But as he felt the sensation in his palm, the image of the face gradually became clearer in his mind. A palm-sized oval face, long eyelashes, big lively eyes, delicate and pure features, everything confirmed that Su Xiaochun was definitely a beauty scoring over 90. And this was with malnutrition. Once she was healthy, she'd definitely be a stunning wife. Qingxiu sighed in his heart, he had really found a treasure. Could it be that when passing through the wormhole, he was given some kind of ability? Yes, that must be it. Qingxiu finally understood why his senses had become stronger these past few days. Whether it was his hearing, smell, or perception of his surroundings, they all exceeded what normal people could do. Superpower, this must be a superpower. At this moment, Su Xiaochun couldn't even focus on what Qingxiu was saying. She could barely hear him clearly, her mind buzzing. She just kept nodding, husband, I believe you. Qingxiu withdrew his hand and said with a smile, since you believe me, then listen to me as your husband. Oh okay? Su Xiaochun felt relieved, but her heart still felt like it was about to jump out of her chest. In this feudal world where even holding hands or hugging was taboo, having her face held like that in the middle of the street made Su Xiaochun want to dig a hole and hide. That's settled then. Let's find a noodle shop and eat first. Soon, under her lead, they found a noodle shop. A bowl of plain noodles cost 4 copper coins, they spent 8 coins in total. Though it was only 8 coins, Su Xiaochun was still heartbroken and complained all the way about how Qingxiu was wasting money. Qingxiu said with irritation, all right, it's just 8 copper coins, do you really need to go on and on? Today we spent 8, tomorrow I can earn back 80. Su Xiaochun realized she had been petty and said shyly, I've never seen so many copper coins. That's why I felt bad, husband. I wasn't being stingy. I just thought it wasn't worth it. Whether it was worth it or not, the money is already spent. No point talking about it anymore. Su Xiaochun nodded and asked, husband, let's buy an iron pot, 2 ceramic bowls, and some grain to take home. But Qingxiu shook his head. Xiaochun, relying on 300 copper coins won't let the two of us survive until the autumn harvest. I plan to use these coins to earn more money, at least enough silver to get us through until harvest. If you trust me, don't ask anything and just follow what I say. Su Xiaochun wanted to speak, but seeing Qingxiu's firm expression, she felt an unexplainable sense of comfort. Husband, I'll listen to you. Good, Qingxiu said. Let's look around the county. You find out where they sell pork and rice. Oh, and rock sugar too. Though she didn't know what Qingxiu wanted to do, Su Xiaochun didn't ask further and led him to search for those shops. In the Tang dynasty, rice existed but was mostly dryland rice, with yields only around 200 to 300 jin per mu. A mu is 1/6 acre, which was already considered high yield. Although pork was considered low-class meat in the Tang dynasty, nobles wouldn't touch it, common folks still found it hard to afford, so even low-class pork wasn't cheap. Lean pork was out of the question. Qingxiu spent several dozen copper coins to buy 10 jin of pork fat. Though it looked cheap, the butcher made a great profit, because most people wouldn't buy pork fat, it was meat fed to dogs in the Tang dynasty. They also spent 80 copper coins on 10 jin of rice. Next came a few jin of rock sugar, an iron pot, 2 ceramic bowls, 2 ceramic basins, 2 ceramic jars, 1 chopping board, and a kitchen knife. Everything else was cheap, except the iron pot and kitchen knife, which were very expensive in the Tang dynasty. At that time, metallurgy wasn't advanced, so ironware was valuable. In some households, iron pots were considered family heirlooms. They spent a total of 268 copper coins. Su Xiaochun was so distressed she almost cried. Carrying the full basket home, Qingxiu sighed, you say you trust your husband, but in your heart you think I'm a spendthrift. Some people really say one thing and feel another. Su Xiaochun got anxious when she heard that. Husband, I don't. I was just feeling a bit sad about spending so much. I would never blame you. Qingxiu smiled faintly, let me tell you something, we spent over 200 coins today, and tomorrow I'll earn it all back. Don't feel bad. Once the money is gone, it won't come back no matter how much you grieve. Oh. Su Xiaochun replied listlessly. By evening, they finally returned to Sanha village. The name Sanha, 3 rivers, came from the 2 forks in the upper reaches of the Ba River, making it into 1 big and 2 small rivers. Yo, Qingxiu's back. Did you register the marriage? Second sister-in-law, we did. We even got some coins and bought food, Qingxiu replied with a smile. That's good, now you two won't go hungry. Qingxiu, work hard and get your wife to give you a big fat son, haha. All the ants they passed by joked with them. Su Xiaochun kept her head down the whole way, blushing deeply. Once home, Su Xiaochun helped unload everything and asked, husband, now can you tell me why we bought all this stuff? Qingxiu picked up a ceramic bowl and said, wife, go fetch some water from the river. Being called wife made Su Xiaochun's heart race. She gave Qingxiu a shy glance and left carrying the big ceramic jar. Soon, she returned with a jar of river water. The Ba River originates from the Wei River, and the Wei River from the Yellow River. Though Yellow River water was muddy, by the time it reached here, the sediment had settled, and in this era without pollution, the water was quite clean. As Qingxiu instructed, Su Xiaochun gathered plenty of firewood and built a small stove from stones. Cooking was not unfamiliar to her. She skillfully followed Qingxiu's instructions, lit a fire, and placed the cleaned iron pot on the stove with clear water inside. Husband, what's next? Qingxiu said, put the chopped pork fat in and slowly boil it, render it for lard. Oh, I get it. You want to make lard. Qingxiu smiled, yes, let's render some lard. Lard was common in the Tang dynasty. It was about the only kind of oil ordinary people could afford. Don't worry, husband. I used to make lard at home often. She confidently claimed to be good at it. Soon, night fell. From 3 jin of pork fat, they rendered over 1 jin of lard. The rest would be done later. Then, Su Xiaochun made 2 bowls of millet porridge and handed one to Qingxiu. Millet is one of the 5 grains, a type of small grain similar in taste and appearance to rice. After dinner, it was completely dark. Su Xiaochun lit a candle and turned the messy grass nest into a simple grass bed. Once everything was ready, Su Xiaochun blushed and said in a trembling voice, Husband, the bed is ready. We should go to sleep now. Hearing her nervous tone, Qingxiu couldn't help but want to laugh. Su Xiaochun seemed to realize what was about to happen. She stood by awkwardly, unsure what to do. Qingxiu couldn't help but laugh. What are you afraid of? It's not like I'll eat you. Look at our house, wind leaks from all sides. Having a bridal night here is no different from doing it on the street. Wife, relax. We'll talk about the bridal night once we've built a new house. Su Xiaochun felt relieved. She had really been worried that Qingxiu would want a bridal night. If that happened, the villagers would definitely laugh at her the next day. She didn't have the thick skin for that. Qingxiu sighed, Sigh, come lie inside. It's just the start of spring, nights are too cold, and we don't have any bedding at home. You'll have to bear with it for now, wife. This poor home only made Qingxiu more determined to live a good life. Not only live, but live better than anyone. People always say that traveling to the Tang dynasty is great, but once you're actually here, it's not easy to stand out. Su Xiaochun tiptoed inside and lay down, body stiff, too nervous to breathe. All night long, she was restless, afraid Qingxiu wouldn't be able to control himself. It wasn't until late at night that she finally drifted off in a daze. Fact proved she had overthought. At dawn, Qingxiu opened his eyes. Although blind, opening his eyes had become a natural habit. Something's not right? The first thing he noticed after waking was a change. His sense of touch had become even sharper, and his physical condition had improved more than twice compared to the day before. His body felt incredibly light. In fact, a small 3D modeled world appeared in his mind, centered on himself, with everything within 10 meters modeled around him. The entire grass hut appeared in his mind, including Su Xiaochun beside him, and every item inside. It was all so clear. Although not the same as seeing with eyes, this made Qingxiu feel incredibly joyful. He could see now, even if not with his eyes. He got up and walked according to the model in his mind. As he moved, the 3D model moved with him, new parts appearing ahead, and the old ones vanishing behind. He tried picking up the kitchen knife from the chopping board. The real sensation of the knife handle almost made him cry. It was real. Truly real. From now on, I'll call you Hard Eye. He chuckled, Hard Eye. Su Xiaochun was awakened by the noise. She sat up and saw Qingxiu holding a kitchen knife. She panicked. Husband, why are you holding a knife so early in the morning? Qingxiu put the knife back on the board and turned to smile. You worked hard all day yesterday. I thought I'd get up early and make breakfast for you. Su Xiaochun was stunned. Her eyes reddened with tears, and she cried happily, Husband, you're so kind. In this world, besides my mother, you treat me the best. Quick, put the knife down. You can't see. Don't hurt yourself. She got up, snatched the knife, placed it back, and gently asked, Husband, you must be hungry. Let's go to the river to rinse our mouths, then I'll make porridge for you. Mouth rinsing meant brushing with willow twigs and charcoal ash. Rich people used green salt to rinse, which could sell for hundreds of copper coins per gene. Refined salt was even more rare, not even used in palace feasts. Ordinary folks used willow twigs and charcoal ash. Salt was extremely valuable in the Tang dynasty, its price comparable to gold. Lu Laosan's family of 4 only had a fist-sized lump of black salt, treasured and never casually eaten. It was said to be a reward for military service from when he fought in wars years ago. Qingxiu had thought of making salt, but the rights to sell salt were tightly held by the court and powerful clans. Selling private salt was a capital offense. Qingxiu understood the saying, a man's wealth is his own ruin. If he openly claimed he could make salt, everyone would see him as a madman. Suddenly showing off a technology beyond this world's understanding wouldn't make Emperor Li Er praise him. He might raise a butcher's knife instead. Even if Li Er did nothing, the aristocrats whose profits were threatened would tear him to pieces. The 5 surnames and 7 clans, the Shandong nobles, even Li Er feared them. So making salt was off limits, for now. After rinsing their mouths, Su Xiaochun made 2 bowls of thick millet porridge. After eating, she asked, Husband, what do we do next? Qingxiu instructed, light the fire, scoop in a large spoonful of lard, heat it, then pour in 1 gene of white rice and stir well. Then leave the rest to me. Su Xiaochun did as instructed, then curiously asked, then what? Qingxiu pulled her aside, covered the pot with a wooden lid, and gently shook the iron pot over the fire. Soon, crackling pops sounded from the pot. What is this? Su Xiaochun widened her eyes in disbelief. Qingxiu smiled confidently, this is called popcorn. I'll turn this into popcorn balls, then we can sell them in Chang'an. Soon, he lifted the pot lid. Inside was a whole pot full of puffed rice. Su Xiaochun was shocked, my gosh, 1 bowl of rice made a whole pot? Qingxiu poured the popcorn into a ceramic basin and instructed, "Give me the water and rock sugar." Su Xiaochun followed his orders. With the help of hard eye, Qingxiu accurately poured in water and sugar, stirred, and said, "Watch the color. When it turns light yellow, pour in the popcorn." Soon, Su Xiaochun timed it right and poured the popcorn into the pot. Qingxiu stirred until every kernel was coated and stuck together, then took the pot off to cool. Once cool, he grabbed a handful and quickly molded a popcorn ball by hand. "Amazing! Husband, you're incredible. What is this?" Looking at the popcorn ball in Qingxiu's hand, Su Xiaochun was full of admiration. "Don't worry about it yet. Just learn. Roll all these into balls like this." Su Xiaochun didn't hesitate and followed his instructions. Soon, 40 popcorn balls were piled on the board. Yes, what Qingxiu wanted to make was this kind of snack. Though there was no corn, rice popcorn balls were unique in the Tang dynasty. "How much did we use in total?" Qingxiu asked. Su Xiaochun replied, 1 scoop of lard, 1 scoop of rock sugar, 1 jean of rice. Qingxiu calculated, then laughed, "Cost less than 10 copper coins. 40 popcorn balls, sell for 1 copper each, that's 30 coins profit. Tomorrow, we'll make 200, take them to Chang'an in the afternoon, and earn 150 copper coins." Su Xiaochun was overwhelmed, eyes filling with tears from excitement. In these bitter days, she finally saw a bit of hope. The whole morning, the two of them were making popcorn balls. They made 200, filling a whole bamboo basket. Qingxiu tied his treasured canvas bag around his waist, carried the bamboo basket on his back, and left home with Su Xiaochun. After leaving the village, Su Xiaochun turned her head and asked, "Husband, when we left just now, I saw you tied the bundle around your waist. What's inside?" Qingxiu replied with a serious face, "Inside is our family's heirloom, and also the future of the Tang dynasty. It's a priceless treasure. Don't doubt it, just the things I have on me are enough to change the balance of power in the world." At first Su Xiaochun didn't believe him, but seeing Qingxiu's serious expression, not like he was joking, she started to believe it, 70 or 80%. She didn't say more and held the other end of the blind cane as they headed toward Chang'an City. The distance between Sanha village and Chang'an City was about 40 li. Walking would take 1.5 hours, with stops, 2 hours. "Wife, let go of the blind cane. I can walk on my own." Su Xiaochun smiled and said, "Husband, we're husband and wife. Even if your eyes are blind, I'll follow you for a lifetime. Don't think I find it troublesome. This is what I should do." Qingxiu said gently, "Don't worry, I don't think you're troublesome. Just let go of the blind cane. I really can walk by myself. If you don't believe me, just let go first. If I can't walk, you can pull me again, it's not too late." Su Xiaochun hesitated but let go of the blind cane, stepping back to be ready to support him at any moment. Qingxiu tapped the blind cane on the ground, then strode forward with big steps. His steps were so big, it was shocking. If Qiaozhi had steps this big, not only would he not have pulled his testicles, he'd have reached home in less than 7 steps. In an instant, Su Xiaochun was left behind by more than 10 meters. Once she realized, she ran after him, looking flustered, "Husband, slow down. Don't fall." She was really afraid that Qingxiu would fall flat on his face. But Qingxiu didn't stop walking, and urged, "Wife, walk faster. Let's hurry to the city and sell the popcorn balls." Su Xiaochun caught up, her face full of joy, "Husband, can you see?" Qingxiu shook his head, "No, it's just my ears have become sharper. When I tap the blind cane on the ground, I can tell what the road ahead is like." Su Xiaochun looked at his eyes, they were still cloudy and blurry, she couldn't help but sigh in her heart. However, having such sharp hearing was also a good thing for her. At least he didn't need her constant help. Thinking of this, Su Xiaochun smiled happily. Soon, the two of them arrived at Chang'an City. They showed their fish tokens to verify their identities and entered the city smoothly. Inside the city, the streets were crowded with carts and people, voices noisy. There was no shouting from vendors because all the sellers were concentrated in the East and West markets. The East market served officials and nobles, while the West market was filled with commoners and foreign merchants. Chang'an City was very big. It took an hour and a half to walk from Sanha village to the city, and from entering at Yanqing Gate to reaching the West Market, they had to cross almost the whole of Chang'an. It took over an hour to get to the West Market, showing how huge Chang'an really was. And that was just crossing the city. From Mingda Gate to Xuanwu Gate would take at least 2 hours on foot. By the time they reached the West Market, it was already near dusk, and many vendors were beginning to pack up. Qingxiu took a deep breath and said, "Come on, wife, let's start selling together." Su Xiaochun's face turned red. Seeing the endless stream of people, she looked awkward. She had never seen such a scene before. But Qingxiu didn't mind and started shouting himself. Selling popcorn balls, freshly made popcorn balls, delicious and cheap. Right after shouting, a woman carrying a child and a vegetable basket walked by and curiously looked at the bamboo basket. What are popcorn balls? Qingxiu smiled and said, Auntie, these popcorn balls are a kind of snack. Buy one for the child, 1 copper coin each. The little boy was almost drooling as he stared at the popcorn balls, pointing at the bamboo basket and shouting, Mom, I want to eat a popcorn ball. The woman had no choice but to take out a copper coin and hand it to Su Xiaochun. 1, please. Qingxiu told Su Xiaochun to take the money and give the woman a popcorn ball, then continued smiling and said, Little brother, your mom is really good to you. Other kids' moms won't buy them popcorn balls. You can go show off, they can't eat it and will definitely be jealous of you. The little boy's eyes lit up, and he ran off with the popcorn ball. Of course, this was just a marketing tactic by Qingxiu. About the time it takes to burn 1 stick of incense later, more than a dozen older kids came running over together. Brother Zhang, look, that's where they sell popcorn balls. They're crispy and sweet, really tasty. I want a popcorn ball. Me too. Here's money, I want 2. I want 3, and 1 each for my older brother and sister. Seeing this chain reaction, Su Xiaochun's little face flushed with excitement. She hurried to take the money and hand out the balls. The people nearby saw the growing crowd and became curious. Moments later, at least dozens of people had gathered. What is this? Don't know, but it looks really tasty. Popcorn balls? Never seen them before. Buy one and try it. Give me one. In no time, more and more people came. In less than half an hour, the bamboo basket was empty, the 200 popcorn balls were sold out. Su Xiaochun hugged the money bag with 200 copper coins, her voice trembling with excitement. Husband, we're rich. We're rich. If we can sell 200 popcorn balls every day, we'll never have to worry about food again. Qingxiu chuckled, only 200? That's nothing. Let's go buy 2 more bamboo baskets, tomorrow we'll sell 600. Wife, we'll be busy tonight. Su Xiaochun said happily, if we can earn this much money every day, even if I work myself to death, it'll be worth it. The two went to buy 2 bamboo baskets and a few jean of white rice. By the time they got home, it was already dark. They worked together until midnight, making 3 baskets of popcorn balls overnight, about 600 to 700 in total. The rice and rock sugar were all used up. The next day, before dawn, Qingxiu carried 2 bamboo baskets, 1 on each side, and Su Xiaochun carried 1, heading to Chang'an City. In the West Market, the morning crowd was much larger than in the afternoon. The two went to the same spot as before. Since they had already opened the market yesterday, returning customers who had tasted them came back. After all, at just 1 copper coin each, many people were eager to buy. By noon, the 3 baskets of popcorn balls were completely sold out. Su Xiaochun was a typical illiterate, she couldn't write and couldn't do math. Although Qingxiu had taught her, she could only count from 1 to 100, anything above that, she didn't know. Husband, how many times did I count 100 just now? Su Xiaochun scratched her head and asked in confusion. Qingxiu said helplessly, 6 times 100. A total of 668 copper coins. Su Xiaochun was extremely excited. Heavens, deducting the cost of 150 coins, husband, we made over 500 coins today. This is just the beginning. Once conditions allow, I promise we can earn even more. Qingxiu spoke with determination, making Su Xiaochun feel especially at ease and sweet inside. She felt she had chosen the right person to follow. For the next half-month, the two of them made 500 popcorn balls every day, and every day they sold out completely. No more than 500, just that many. If they made too many at once and couldn't sell them, it would be wasteful. Also, once people got used to it, popcorn balls wouldn't feel novel anymore. But in fact, he had overthought it. With the chain reaction over the past half-month, popcorn balls had already spread throughout every street and alley of Chang'an City. Not only that, people in Sanha village also knew about their small business, but they didn't realize it was so profitable. After all, it was just a small business, nothing respectable, and Qingxiu was well aware of that. Today, he chose to take a break. Su Xiaochun happily held the silver in her hands, her eyes squinting into a crescent moon with joy. Husband, now that we have so much silver, should we think about building a new house? Living in this grass hut forever isn't a long-term plan. This place doesn't even have a door. In summer, there will be so many mosquitoes that we won't be able to sleep. The days were getting warmer, and Su Xiaochun's worry wasn't unfounded. Moreover, in these times there were too many insects. Mosquitoes from some filthy ditch could be carrying diseases. If infected, something easily curable in modern times would be fatal in the Tang dynasty. He had been vaccinated in the past, so it was manageable. But Su Xiaochun hadn't. She had no antibodies. If she got sick, she would die, and Qingxiu couldn't bear to see his lovely wife suffer like that. For the past half-month, they had earned 400 to 500 copper coins every day. 1,000 copper coins equaled 1 string of cash, and 1 string equaled 1 tael of silver. For convenience, they had already exchanged the copper coins for half-tael pieces of silver. Hearing Su Xiaochun's suggestion, Qingxiu nodded and said, "We really should build a house. But not yet. Right now, I don't have enough influence in the village, and the materials I want to use can't be made yet." Su Xiaochun asked in confusion, "Husband, isn't building a house just a matter of making some mud bricks and putting up a shed? It's simple. The two of us can build a small house in a few days. If it doesn't work, we can ask Uncle Lu for help and pay him." With money in hand, there was no panic. Su Xiaochun now spoke with confidence. Even when joking with the village women, she could respond with ease. Qingxiu curled his lips and said, "I'm not interested in a mud brick house. We're going to build a brick and tile house, with a courtyard." Su Xiaochun looked confused. "Husband, don't boast. Brick and tile houses are for the nobles. Even the village chief in our Dayton village only has half a brick house, and that's enough to make people in 10 nearby villages jealous." The village chief had absolute authority in the village. Qingxiu asked in confusion, "Half a brick house? What kind of house is that?" Su Xiaochun explained, "The lower half is blue bricks, the upper half is mud bricks. The beams are thick wood, with blue tiles on top. It looks impressive." This made Qingxiu laugh. He stood up and said, "I said we'll build a brick house, so we will. Come on, let's find Uncle Lu." "Husband, what are we looking for Uncle Lu for?" Qingxiu said, "If we rely on just the two of us, even if we work to death, we'll only make 10 taels of silver in a month. I plan to let all the women in the village earn money for our family, and all the old men help build our house." Su Xiaochun looked shocked. "Husband, 10 taels in a month isn't enough? Heavens, the biggest silver ingot I've seen in my life was 1 tael. Even the village chief only gets 1 load of millet as a monthly salary." Just as she finished speaking, footsteps came from outside. "Yo, Qingxiu, not going to the city to sell popcorn balls today?" Uncle Lu asked with a smile. Qingxiu smiled and said, "Uncle Lu, we've been working hard for half a month. Taking a break today." Uncle Lu leaned in mysteriously and asked, "I heard from the guys in the city that popcorn balls are hot in Chang'an right now. Kid, have you made a lot of money lately?" Qingxiu didn't hide anything and nodded right away, "Quite a bit. We made 5 taels of silver in half a month." He never intended to hide it from Uncle Lu. After so many days of contact, Uncle Lu was an honest and sincere person. Otherwise, he wouldn't have tried to feed them when his own family could barely cook a pot. If not for Uncle Lu, he might have drowned in the river. "5 taels of silver?" Uncle Lu's eyes almost popped out, looking at Qingxiu in disbelief. Even Su Xiaochun was panicking. She knew the saying, "Don't flaunt your wealth." Qingxiu chuckled and said, "Xiaochun, show Uncle Lu the silver." Su Xiaochun felt a chill inside. Though she was upset, she still took out the money pouch and opened it, showing the pieces of silver inside. "So much?" Uncle Lu swallowed hard, quickly waved his hand and whispered, "Put it away. Put it away. Are you crazy, kid? Don't flaunt your wealth, do you understand? Refugees outside the pass might kill for a bite of food. Not to mention the villagers, even bandits in the mountains would want that 5 taels." Su Xiaochun gave Qingxiu a resentful look, but he couldn't see it. She could only keep it to herself. Qingxiu didn't care and said, "It's just 5 taels. If someone comes to rob, I'll just give it to them. Easy for you to say. Don't show off again. Lucky it was me. If it had been someone else, you'd be in trouble. Uncle Lu, I was just about to look for you. Help me gather everyone in the village. I plan to let all the aunts and sisters in the village go to the city and sell popcorn balls." "What?" Su Xiaochun panicked, shaking her head hard. "No, definitely not. Popcorn balls are our business. How can you give it to others?" "Husband, darling, my love, don't joke with me, I'm scared to death." Qingxiu frowned. "Wife, don't be narrow-minded. Half a month ago, do you remember how we lived? I said we'd make money, and now we've made 5 taels in half a month. Have I ever lied to you? But? No buts. Uncle Lu, quickly gather the villagers. I'll go spread the word soon." Uncle Lu looked complicated, with a trace of worry. "Qingxiu, you really plan to give the business to the villagers?" Qingxiu smiled and said, "I have my plans. Just help me with this." "All right then. But don't regret it later." "Never." Uncle Lu limped away. Su Xiaochun started sobbing, muttering, "Life just started to get better, and now you're giving our business away. Husband, if you give it away, how will we live?" Qingxiu smiled. It was time to show her the power of a distribution model. With money, life at home became much better. A few days ago, they even asked the village carpenter to make a big bed and got some bedding. They laid dry straw underneath, and lying on it was not only soft but also kept them from waking up cold at night. These days, the two of them would sleep cuddled together every night, not for anything else, just to stay warm. After half a month of better nutrition, Su Xiaochun gradually recovered from malnutrition and looked healthy again. Her originally dry and yellow hair became black and thick, her skin became more radiant, and she gained some weight. Her previously thin cheeks now looked more proportionate, and she became even more beautiful than before. Now every night before sleeping, Qingxiu would touch her face, and Su Xiaochun had gotten used to it. Originally about 1.6 meters tall, she had weighed just over 80 jin, 40 kilograms, half a month ago. Now she weighed over 90 jin, 45 kilograms. This kind of figure would be considered a perfect body in modern times. He had thought her thin frame meant she was flat-chested, but it turned out his wife was definitely a size 34C. Holding Su Xiaochun as they sat on the bed, Qingxiu wiped away her tears and said, "Wife, don't worry, just listen to me finish. The cost to make one popcorn ball is about 25 copper coins for 100, so one costs a quarter coin. If we sell them at 1 copper coin each, we make 75 coins profit per 100. If we give the popcorn balls to someone else to sell, their purchase cost would be 1 coin for 2 balls. This way, the vendor earns 50 coins, and we still make 25 coins. What if there were 10 vendors?" Su Xiaochun wasn't dumb, in fact, she was quite smart. She immediately understood what Qingxiu meant. After he explained, her eyes lit up. She excitedly said, "If there are 10 vendors, we make 250 coins. If it's 100 vendors, we make 2.5 taels of silver. My God, husband, you're so smart." Qingxiu snorted, "Humph, and now you still blame me?" Su Xiaochun playfully stuck out her cute tongue, hugged his arm and said, "Husband, I'm just a woman. I don't see the big picture. Don't hold it against me. I'll listen to you from now on, I'll listen to everything you say." Qingxiu was moved and said, "Okay, you said it yourself. From now on, when I speak, you must obey, got it?" "Got it." Su Xiaochun shrank her neck, looking extremely cute. Though Qingxiu was very tempted, he knew it still wasn't the time, at least not until the new house was built and they didn't have to worry about people eavesdropping outside the walls. Soon, Lu Laosan gathered everyone in the village. Qingxiu and Su Xiaochun arrived at the village threshing ground. Normally, when there was a meeting or something big happened, the village head would gather everyone at the threshing ground. The village head was a tall old man, nearly 60, but still stood straight and looked full of energy, obviously a military man. "Qingxiu, why did you ask Lu Laosan to gather everyone?" the village head Li Taicheng asked. Others began to speak up as well. "Yeah, we're all busy turning the soil. If you have something to say it quickly. Don't hold us up. If the lords find out we're slacking off, we'll get beaten." Qingxiu didn't waste time. He stood on the millstone and said, "I think everyone knows that my wife and I have been selling popcorn balls in the city and made quite a bit of money. To be honest, we made a few taels of silver over the past half month. Don't believe me? Look, I've got real silver right here, 5 taels." As he spoke, Qingxiu opened his hand to reveal a handful of silver pieces. Heavens, 5 taels of silver? I've never seen that much in my life. When I was in the army, I only earned 2 taels of silver a year. He made that in half a month? Qingxiu, why are you telling us this? Just to make us jealous? Yeah, if you made money, go celebrate quietly. Don't go around showing off, it's annoying. Qingxiu continued, "Everyone, calm down. Harmony brings wealth. I plan to pick some women from the village to sell popcorn balls in the city." As soon as he said that, more than 200 people burst into an uproar. Did I hear that right? He's giving such a profitable business to others. 5 taels in half a month means 10 taels a month. That's a lot in a year. He's an outsider. Why would he give such a good business to us? Who would believe that? Exactly, I don't buy it. Everyone expressed disbelief, and Qingxiu wasn't surprised. After all, nothing falls from the sky. He continued, "We sell popcorn balls in the city for 1 copper coin each. Anyone interested can come to my house and sign up. I'll sell to you at 1 coin for 2 balls. Just take them to the city, and you make half the profit." Afraid people couldn't do the math, Qingxiu explained, "You can use 10 copper coins to buy 100 popcorn balls from me, sell them for 1 coin each, and you'll earn 90 coins. Anyway, all you aunts and sisters are idle at home. Why not try selling in the city? You could earn dozens of coins a day, maybe even more than 100. Li Taicheng was so excited he trembled. He stepped forward, grabbed Qingxiu's hand, and said urgently, "Is this true?" Qingxiu nodded. "Uncle Taicheng, it's true." Li Taicheng stepped back and solemnly bowed to Qingxiu. "Then I thank you on behalf of the people of Sanha village." Qingxiu quickly helped him up. "Uncle Taicheng, no need to say that. We're all poor folks. As the saying goes, if you're poor, keep to yourself, if you're rich, help the world. We can't just get rich quietly and let others starve." Li Taicheng was stunned and murmured, "If you're poor, keep to yourself, if you're rich, help the world." "Good, very good." He patted Qingxiu's shoulder and said no more. The villagers were moved to tears, some even started crying. Li Taicheng said loudly, "Did you hear that? Did you all hear that? Qingxiu made money but didn't forget you. Yet you were talking behind his back, calling him an outsider, aren't you ashamed?" Some of the gossiping villagers bowed their heads in guilt. As village head, Li Taicheng still had authority. He pounded his chest and vowed, "Such a good young man, even blind, still thinks about helping the village. You didn't believe him, but I'm the first to trust him." With the village head leading, the villagers got excited. "Heavens, earn dozens of coins a day, how much is that a month? Even Wang Tiniu, the blacksmith at the village entrance, only makes 200 coins a month. Don't mention Wang Tiniu, Carpenter Zhang made 300 coins last month and even his relatives came to curry favor. I'm going. Husband, don't stop me. I'm going to sell popcorn balls. Better than you nagging me all day about being useless and just eating." Once one person started, the rest followed. Moments later, a group of women surrounded Qingxiu and Su Xiaochun. "Xiaochun, tell your husband, can I go sell popcorn balls?" "Qingxiu, say something, can I also go sell popcorn balls?" "Aya, I'm so anxious. I need to go to the city now to sell popcorn balls. My family ran out of copper coins last month. So did mine. My child caught a cold, we're just waiting on money to buy medicine." Qingxiu comforted them. "Everyone, don't worry. Listen to me. Rest assured, all of you can sell popcorn balls. After you go home, prepare a clean bamboo basket. Come to my house early tomorrow morning to collect the goods. If your household has no money, that's fine. I'll give each of you one basket for free. After you sell them, just pay me back 50 copper coins. If you can't sell them, just return the popcorn balls, I won't charge you a single coin." When the women in the village heard this, they became excited like they'd been injected with chicken blood. After sending everyone away, back at home, Qingxiu smiled and said, "Wife, we're going to be busy today. Husband, I'm willing to work. Even if I get exhausted, I won't complain." With others helping earn money, Su Xiaochun smiled so happily her eyes became crescent-shaped. In the morning, Qingxiu borrowed the village head's old horse and cart and went directly to Chang'an. Li Taicheng watched the departing cart, a weathered old smile appearing on his face as he nodded repeatedly. On the way back from the city, they bought many things: a large iron pot like the army uses, over 20 bamboo baskets, more than 100 jin of rice, several dozen jin of pork fat, and over 10 jin of rock sugar. After returning home, they built a stove inside and began rendering lard. A few days earlier, due to mishandling, they almost set the house on fire. So Qingxiu expanded the grass hut, doubling its size. Though still small, it was now much safer than before. The two of them worked non-stop until late at night before collapsing into sleep. The next day, before dawn, someone was already waiting outside Qingxiu's house. When Qingxiu and Su Xiaochun stepped out, they were immediately surrounded. "Qingxiu, where are the popcorn balls? Hurry and give them to us, we're ready to sell them in the city. Our family's been out of food for a while, we're counting on your popcorn balls to earn some copper coins to buy grain. Xiaochun, you know our house doesn't have even one copper coin left. Just give me 10 popcorn balls, I'll sell them and come back with the money." After half a month together, Su Xiaochun had become very close to the villagers. Her good temper and gentle speech made her well liked by all the aunts and women in the village. Su Xiaochun counted heads, there were more than 50 people, young and old. She said a little worriedly to Qingxiu, "Husband, we worked all day and night yesterday and only made just over 20 baskets of popcorn balls. With so many people, I'm not sure it'll be enough." Qingxiu did some quick math and nodded. "It should be fine. One basket per person should do. Come on, line up. I'll hand out the popcorn balls. Pay me after you sell them, it's fine. We're all neighbors, I trust you." If someone really cheated them for this small amount of money, Qingxiu wouldn't work with them again. This was also a kind of test. Soon, over 50 women and girls had taken their popcorn balls and happily headed off to sell in Chang'an. They still had leftover supplies from yesterday's shopping, enough for the next 3 days. Now the two of them focused entirely on making popcorn balls. By the time the sky was light, a limping figure with a bamboo basket appeared, pacing outside the grass hut. Su Xiaochun didn't notice, but Qingxiu, who had the hard eye ability, did. He stepped out and asked, "Is that third aunt from Uncle Lu's house?" The plainly dressed, dark-skinned woman grinned, showing 2 rows of white teeth. "Yes, Qingxiu, do you have any more popcorn balls? We're low on money at home. I also want to go to the city to earn a few copper coins. Your uncle couldn't bring himself to ask, so he sent me." Uncle Lu had been injured in war, his leg was cut, and it became disabled due to poor treatment. No one originally wanted to marry a cripple. Luckily, he met Zhang Cuihua, who also had a crippled leg. They married and had 2 kids. Though both were disabled, they were very hardworking and lived better than most in the village. Qingxiu smiled, "If not for Uncle Lu, I'd be dead. He saved my life, there's nothing to be embarrassed about." Third aunt sighed, "Sigh, your uncle is just like that, too proud for his own good." Third aunt, "We don't have any popcorn balls left, but I can arrange other work for you." Zhang Cuihua looked disappointed, then asked, "What kind of work?" Qingxiu said, "Help Xiaochun make popcorn balls. I'll pay you 50 copper coins a day, do you want the job?" Zhang Cuihua was stunned, her eyes turned red. She dropped her basket and knelt down with a thud, bowing repeatedly. She didn't say anything else. Qingxiu rushed forward and helped her up. "Third aunt, what are you doing? Please get up, I don't deserve this." Zhang Cuihua wiped her tears and said, "To tell you the truth, we've been out of food for days. Your uncle is too proud, he wouldn't let me tell anyone. If what you say is true, our family will work like oxen to repay your kindness. 50 copper coins is too much, 10 coins a day is enough." See? They say ancient people were honest and sincere, but this was beyond honest. This was foolish sincerity. Su Xiaochun also walked out of the grass hut and smiled. "Third aunt, just accept it. We're too busy. If my husband says 50 copper coins, then it's 50. You can start work today, and I'll pay you in advance." After all, her husband's life had been saved by this family. Otherwise, she wouldn't have found such a good man. She was truly grateful to the Lu family. She immediately took out 50 copper coins. Just as she was about to hand them over, Qingxiu stopped her. "Husband, why?" Qingxiu said, "It's not spring planting season yet. Uncle Lu's family isn't busy. Let's hire both of them. Move the iron pot to their house to make popcorn balls. Our house is too small and could catch fire easily. Wife, take out another 50 copper coins." "Okay." Su Xiaochun didn't hesitate and handed over another 50 copper coins. After expressing deep gratitude, Zhang Cuihua limped back home. Though she limped, her pace wasn't slow at all. Qingxiu sighed, "Give a man a fish, and you feed him for a day. Teach a man to fish, and you feed him for life. In the future, we won't make popcorn balls anymore. Third aunt's family can rely on this skill to survive." "What? We won't make popcorn balls anymore?" Su Xiaochun was shocked when she heard this. If not popcorn balls, then what? To her, the world might be only as big as popcorn balls. Half a month later, in fact, Qingxiu's ability, Mind's Eye, had also expanded quite a bit. At the beginning of awakening, it was only 5 meters, but now it had grown to 20 meters in all directions. Within a 20-meter radius, nothing could escape his mind's eye, even a sparrow or a grasshopper could be clearly sensed. Qingxiu put his arm around Su Xiaochun's shoulders and whispered, "Wife, we can't be making rice pops for the rest of our lives. It's just a small business, your husband has many livelihoods here that are more profitable than rice pops." Saying that, Qingxiu pointed at his own brain. Su Xiaochun hesitated to speak, but in the end she nodded seriously and said, I trust you, husband. I say, from now on I'll listen to you. Whatever you say goes. That's better." Qingxiu smiled lightly and gently ruffled Su Xiaochun's hair. In that moment, Su Xiaochun looked shy. This kind of affectionate gesture wasn't something just anyone could withstand. While the two of them were whispering sweetly, Lu Lao-san arrived with Aunt Lu-san, holding a purse of money, his expression complex. "Qingxiu, if you still consider me your lifesaver, then please take this money back." With that, he shoved the purse into Qingxiu's hands and shouted, "The strong men in our village go carry sacks for others, working all day long, and they only get 10 copper coins. My wife and I each have 1 crippled leg. Who are we to deserve 100 copper coins a day from you? If you truly think well of us, 20 copper coins a day for us would make our whole family grateful." Qingxiu laughed and said, "Accept it, third uncle. There is no question of lifesaver or not, making this many rice pops a day, Xiaochun and I simply can't handle it all. If you two don't do it, we'll have to find others to help. I only thought that since it's our own people, I'd give you priority." Lu Lao-san looked troubled and complicated. Su Xiaochun smiled and said, "Third uncle, just take it. In future, just help us more with work. In a while, when my family builds a house, there'll be plenty of work at your place. When then you can ask for money if you want, and we won't refuse. Lu Lao San's expression softened. He turned and threw the purse back to Aunt Lu San, and solemnly said to Qingxiu, if you call me third uncle will treat you as family. We're one family. If you ever need third uncle's help, just say it. Mountain fires, seas of flames, if third uncle frowns a bit, third uncle wouldn't be human. Qingxiu gave a wry smile. Third uncle, that's too serious. Lu Lao San grinned broadly. Didn't you say we'd move the cooking stove to our house? Come, I'll help you. Without waiting, Lu Lao San hoisted the big iron pot and walked off. Soon, evening fell. The women who had gone to sell the rice pops all returned, faces full of joy and excitement. Some even came home just after noon. All the rice pops that had been split off were completely sold out. In just one day, Qingxiu earned 2,300 copper coins lying at home. It made Su Xiaochun count money in her sleep at night, dreaming endless counting. She was utterly exhausted. In the following days, every day was the same. Chang'an City had at least several 100,000 people. This was a conservative estimate. Thousands of rice pops scattered through the crowd were like mud oxen in the sea. As the rice pop business boomed, every household in Sanha village began to live better. Every face shone with smiles. Whenever they saw Qingxiu and his wife, they greeted them wholeheartedly. The range of his mind's eye further expanded to a diameter of 30 meters. Even without his cane, he could walk as well as a normal person, though he didn't act too normal. After all, he was blind, and if he seemed too extraordinary, people might think he was a demon. His physical strength was at least 5 or 6 times that of ordinary people, and it was increasing day by day. Today, Qingxiu came to visit Ling Tiecheng's home in the village. Ling Taicheng was one of the richest households in the 10 villages. Their home was a brick antile house with a courtyard of rammed earth. They had an old horse and a cart, and even raised an ox for plowing. Such a wealthy family was rare even in all of Tang. Ling Taicheng had 3 sons, each reportedly serving in the army. The eldest son even held the position of major and school captain in the Left Guard Regiment, 7th rank. Since Qingxiu had given the whole village away to earn money, Ling Taicheng regarded him particularly highly. Seeing Qingxiu come, he smiled and welcomed him into his home, his tone containing a slight reproach. Qingxiu, your eyes can't see, why not have your wife guide you? You came alone. What if you fall? Qingxiu smiled and said, Uncle Ling, though I'm blind, my ears have become particularly sharp. By tapping my cane on the ground, I can tell whether the path ahead is pit or flat. It's been some time living in the village now, and right now I know every place clearly. Ling Taicheng nodded and asked, What did you come to see me about? It's like this. Qingxiu didn't hide it and spoke directly. I want to build a brick antile house, but the outside gray bricks are too expensive. A brick antile house costs at least several dozen taels of silver, so I plan to make bricks myself. Brick antile houses in the Tang were absolute luxury. Even many families in Chang'an City still lived in rammed earth houses. Ling Tiecheng's expression was quite shocked. You can make bricks? Qingxiu didn't dare to speak too confidently. He replied modestly, I can't guarantee success, I need to try first. So I want Uncle Ling to organize the village, and together we build a brick kiln. When my brick antile house is built, then every household can build one, and then our Sanha village houses will no longer fear wind and rain. Rammed earth houses were of poor quality, and needed rebuilding every few years, a costly burden for every family. Ling Taicheng asked curiously, Qingxiu, you gave the whole village away to live. Now every household lives well, and you have the whole village responding to your call. If you say a word, not just one brick kiln, but 3 brick kilns could be built. Why did you still come to look for me? Qingxiu said respectfully, Uncle Ling, as the saying goes, without rules, nothing succeeds. You are the village head, I cannot overstep. Building a brick kiln is a major matter, it must be decided by you. Ling Taicheng looked pleased and nodded, not arrogant, not proud, not relying on talent. Qingxiu, you are a good boy. All right, leave this to me. I'll assemble everyone right now. We can start building the brick kiln today. Thank you, Uncle Ling. Qingxiu cupped his hands and bowed, choosing to take his leave. Soon, all the villagers of Sanha village were gathered at the winnowing ground. Village head, you gathered us all here, is there something that has happened in the village? Or has His Majesty the Emperor issued a new decree? Could it be that we are being conscripted again? Don't scare me, every time we are conscripted, we work ourselves half to death, and get no pay, and have to bring our own food. The villagers around began to murmur all at once. Li Taicheng frowned and shouted, Quiet. The threshing ground instantly fell silent. As village head, he carried quite some authority. Li Taicheng then said, It's not me calling you together, it's Qingxiu who said he wants to build a brick kiln in our village to make bricks. Once the bricks are fired successfully, our village will have countless green bricks for building houses. What? Firing bricks. Did I hear correctly? We can also build brick-and-tile houses. Being able to live in brick-and-tile houses is the goal our families have worked toward. Sniff, my father said on his deathbed that his greatest regret in life was not living in a brick-and-tile house. Li Taicheng continued, so I called everyone together to choose some strong people to help build the brick kiln. Once the brick firing succeeds, first we'll build a brick-and-tile house for Qingxiu. When his house is built, we'll all work together so that every family can build brick-and-tile houses. Hearing that every family could have a brick-and-tile house, all the villagers became excited, clamoring to help build the kiln. In the next few days, Qingxiu led dozens of men to build a brick kiln in the village. The material to build the kiln was simple, rammed earth bricks. The material to fire bricks was also simple, rammed earth bricks. Of course, choosing the soil for bricks was important, it had to be clay. So all the villagers spent 2 days collecting clay until they finally found yellowish clay at a spot downstream along the Ba River. In his past life, he had a friend in real estate who, during a demolition, had once seen an old brick kiln, and Qingxiu remembered its general appearance. So in just 2 days, they built a very large brick kiln. Then they shaped the rammed earth bricks. In just 1 day, the threshing ground was piled high with earth bricks. A group of men even took off their shirts, working vigorously under the sun. These earth bricks were the same size as red bricks in later eras and had to dry naturally before firing. After waiting a few more days, once the earth bricks were dry, a batch was gathered and placed into the brick kiln to start firing. The method was simple: stack the bricks and build several upward draft flues in the kiln structure, then light a fire, add wood, and seal the kiln. Whether it would succeed, Qingxiu didn't know, but if he didn't try, it would never succeed. 2 days later, the fire in the kiln had gone out. Li Taicheng led the group to open the kiln, and a wave of heat hit them. Once the heat subsided, Li Taicheng, the village head, was the first to rush into the kiln. For him, successful brick firing was a tremendous event. Soon, Li Taicheng walked out holding 2 reddish bricks with a face full of joy, and he looked at Qingxiu with great respect. How is it, village head, did the firing succeed? Did it succeed? Let me see, let me see. Why are they red? Li Taicheng held the 2 red bricks in front of Qingxiu and tapped them. When they produced a clear, solid sound, the old village head excitedly said, "Qingxiu, it worked. Our first brick firing succeeded." Qingxiu gave a light smile. They sound solid. It should be successful. Li Taicheng waved his large hand. It succeeded. Let's keep firing more. Qingxiu said, let's build several more kilns. That way we can fire bricks faster. So Li Taicheng personally led a team, and within days, they built 3 more kilns. With 4 kilns firing together, over time, stacks of red bricks began to come out, very heartening. Thus every day, while the women went to the city to sell rice pops to support their households, the men took turns shaping earth bricks and working in the kilns. The entire Sanha village was busy, and though they were very busy, the air was filled with joyful energy. Early one morning, Li Taicheng gathered everyone together. Our brick firing is nearly finished. Qingxiu and his wife are still living in a grass hut, so I've decided to assign a group to follow Qingxiu's orders and help build a brick-and-tile house for him. Don't worry, after his is built, then it will be your turn. A village head, you shouldn't be so polite. Qingxiu gave our women well-paying work, helping him build a house is only natural. Indeed, saying that sounds too formal, like we're only building bricks for the reward. Isn't that exactly it? Speak nonsense and I'll punch you. Heh, third brother, calm down, I'm just joking. Qingxiu also brought out his house plans, drawn by feeling, thanks to his mind's eye these days. There were 2 tile-covered rooms and a courtyard, covering about 300 square feet. The main room had bedrooms on both sides, and next to the main room was a wing room. Opposite the wing room was the courtyard wall. He had other plans for that space. When Li Taicheng saw the drawing, he was stunned. Stroking his beard, he frowned and said, "So large, how many bricks will that take?" Qingxiu felt a bit embarrassed. I know it's a bit big, but I want the courtyard to be very functional. Li Taicheng didn't say more, returned the drawing, and said, since it's decided, as long as you're satisfied. Qingxiu said, Uncle Li, besides bricks, building the house also needs cement and sand. Bricks are easy to make, but finding cement and sand is hard. Are there any limestone mountains around here? Li Taicheng looked as though he didn't quite understand. Qingxiu explained, I mean we should crush limestone into powder and mix it with clay to bind the bricks. That way the house will last for 100 years. Li Taicheng mumbled to himself, limestone, all stone mountains? Leave it to me. But I might not find any. I have some connections in Chang'an City. I'll go to the city tomorrow. All right, thank you, Uncle Li. Qingxiu gave instructions and started leveling the ground and digging the foundation. At dawn the next day, Li Taiqing put on clean black clothes, went to Qingxiu's house for a dozen rice pops, then saddled his old horse and mounted. He patted the old horse's head and sighed, "Old companion, after all these years, I wonder if you still remember your old master. Today I'll take you to the city to visit the old master." Saying this, Li Taiqing cracked his whip, held his gifts, and rode swiftly toward Chang'an City. He entered through Yanqing Gate, then led the old horse down Zhuke Street toward the imperial city. Upon reaching Zhuke Gate, several palace guards in shining armor, carrying Tang-style swords, blocked the gate with a clang. "Who is this? Do you have an entry seal and imperial orders?" Li Taiqing calmly drew out a command token and presented it. The palace guards looked troubled and said, "Respected elder, this token was issued by the retired emperor. Now that the new emperor is on the throne, I don't know if this token is still valid. Please wait here a moment while I report." Li Taiqing cupped his hands, "Thank you." The palace guards took the token and hurried off to report at the Taiji Palace where Li Er resided. Taiji Palace, within the Hall of Martial Virtue. At the beginning of Emperor Taizong's reign, in the first year of Zhenguan, the Hall of Martial Virtue was designated as the place where ministers gathered to discuss state affairs. At this moment, Li Er had summoned the ministers of the 6 ministries, high officials of the 3 departments, and the left and right vice premiers to deliberate in this hall. Reclining slightly on the primary seat was a man, about 30 years old, with a thin mustache under his lip, wearing a double-eared cap and dressed in bright yellow robes. One hand held a dark blue scroll, the other stroked his beard lightly. His expression was solemn and serious. Everyone in the hall looked at him with great reverence. Li Er glanced over the ministers and slowly spoke. At the beginning of the Zhenguan era, the first decree of procreation and growth was issued nearly a month ago. Today I have summoned you to discuss the second decree of the Zhenguan year. Procreation and growth aims to increase the population of our Tang dynasty. The second decree, in my view, should improve the quality of life of the Tang people, ensuring that every household has food to eat, and no longer suffers hunger. They must eat well and dress warmly. If anyone has ideas to benefit the common people, speak freely and without reservation. An elderly minister seated on the left, who had been dozing off, perked up and said, "Your Majesty, since ancient times, ensuring food and clothing has been the core of the people's livelihood." "Oh?" Li Er raised an eyebrow. "What wisdom do you have, left vice premier?" The left vice premier, Xiao Yu, was an old minister from the time of Li Yuan. Though Li Yuan had abdicated, Xiao Yu still held high office. Xiao Yu pondered for a moment and said, "Years of war have left the people in misery. Many families have been displaced. Our Tang does not lack land, but lacks people to cultivate it. In the Guangzhou region, most villages are left with only women and children, making farming extremely difficult. Moreover, the people do not own land, the land they farm belongs to lords. After the autumn harvest, they must hand over 60% as rent and another 20% as tax, leaving very little for themselves. To truly solve this issue, we must address the land system, reduce grain rent and taxes for the people. Then, they'll have surplus grain, and their lives will gradually improve." In reality, noble estates were lands worked by the people. In name, the land belonged to the farmers, but after the harvest, rent still had to be paid to the landlords. To Li Er's right was the famed Zhang Sun Wuji, temporarily acting as right vice premier and minister of personnel. He held real power. Compared to the now marginalized Xiao Yu, only Zhang Sun Wuji rivaled Li Er in influence in the Hall of Martial Virtue. Upon hearing this, Zhang Sun Wuji frowned and firmly shook his head. "No. The empire has just been unified and the court is unstable. Most estates belong to powerful noble families. If we suddenly reduce grain rents, though it may help the people, it poses a great risk to the stability of imperial power. If these noble families unite in protest, the consequences will be unimaginable." Clearly, Xiao Yu's policy threatened many vested interests. The nobles whose rents were reduced would not be pleased. Xiao Yu hesitated and lowered his head silently. Li Er nodded repeatedly and turned to a pale, frail middle-aged man. "Kemming, do you have any good ideas?" Du Ruhui, styled Kemming, was the Minister of War. Though holding a military post, he was actually a civil official. He coughed lightly and said, "Your Majesty, to maintain stability, reducing rents is not viable. The state treasury is also depleted, so tax reduction isn't feasible either. A wealthy nation makes for a strong people. To benefit the people, the main paths are reducing rent and taxes. Since these won't work, we can start with the common folk." Li Er's eyes lit up. "Please explain in detail." He seemed to realize Du Ruhui had a plan. Du Ruhui looked at Li Er and slowly said, "Reward merit with titles." "Reward merit with titles?" Everyone began to reflect on his words. Li Er also fell into thought. Du Ruhui continued, this means issuing the fifth decree, recruit talents from the people. If anyone can present a plan or method that truly benefits the common people and proves effective, they shall be rewarded with money or titles. Zhang Sun Wuji said disapprovingly, the Tang was founded on military merit. Many officials already hold titles. If we start granting more, we may run out of noble ranks to bestow. What then? Du Ruhui countered, serious problems need strong medicine. Besides, I only propose rewarding those with truly extraordinary achievements. We can simply raise the threshold. In the Tang, men over 40 with children could refer to themselves as old men. Fang Xianling, the chief minister, nodded, Your Majesty, Brother Kemming's words are true. As long as we raise the standards for extraordinary merit, we can prevent opportunists. If not for his suggestion, does anyone here have a better plan? The high officials looked at each other, but no one spoke. Li Er tapped his book against his palm, sat upright, and said, We'll do as Kemming suggested. The fifth Xinguan decree, extraordinary merit earns title, is settled. The Secretariat will draft the plan and issue the decree. The ministry will implement it. Fang Xianling rose and saluted, Your Majesty, I will go to the Secretariat immediately to prepare the document. Just as he left, a eunuch entered the hall of martial virtue from outside. The eunuch held a token, raised it above his head, and said, Your Majesty, outside the imperial city, an old farmer presents this token requesting to see the retired emperor. This token was not issued by Your Majesty. The commander of the Imperial Guard seeks instructions. A eunuch in his 30s beside Li Er took the token and handed it to him. Li Er examined it and said, This is a personal guard token issued by the retired emperor at the founding of the Tang. Very few remain. He must have once been a personal guard. Let him pass. Also, have the secret riders keep an eye on him. The secret riders, Li Er's intelligence agency, his eyes and ears. The eunuch bowed and left with the token. Xiaoyu sighed, Your Majesty, the retired emperor now holds no real power. Why confine him in Don Palace and earn a reputation for unfilial behavior? Since his era has passed, why not? Li Er's gaze turned cold, exuding power without anger. Xiaoyu shrank back, deeply uneasy. After a moment, Li Er nodded, What left Vice Premier said is right. Wang De, remove the guards from Don Palace. If the retired emperor wants to do anything, let him. After the coup at Xuanwu Gate, Li Yuan was forced by Li Er to move from the Hall of Martial Virtue to Don Palace. Officially, it was a residence change, but in truth, it was house arrest. Even loyal ministers from the Wu De era rarely saw him. As the saying goes, a new emperor, new ministers. The court had now stabilized. Li Yuan's favorites had been dismissed or retired, and his power slowly stripped away. Now, Li Yuan was just a lonely old man in Don Palace, focused only on making more children. Inside Don Palace, Li Yuan, already 61 years old, didn't look very aged physically, but mentally he appeared extremely weary. He was tall and thin, wearing a yellow robe, with his chest and a shrunken belly exposed as he reclined lazily on the steps outside the hall. In his hand was a pure gold wine flask, which he took occasional sips from. His expression was indescribably lonely. His hair was a bit disheveled, and he looked rather unkempt. Beside him were two beautiful concubines in their late teens, doing their best to please this old man. Retired emperor, come, let this concubine feed you some grapes. Who knows if they were actual grapes or grape-shaped meat? Li Yuan burst into laughter, good, good, come sit on my lap. Mencius once said, when heaven is about to place a great responsibility on a person, it first tests their resolve. Perhaps this was heaven testing Li Yuan. Suddenly, a eunuch rushed in joyfully into Don Palace, retired emperor. The imperial guards have withdrawn, the guards are gone. A glimmer of light flashed through Li Yuan's murky eyes, but it soon faded. With a self-mocking look, he said, they should have been withdrawn long ago. That brat is too scheming. Now I'm just a powerless, solitary man, yet he still guards against me, what a joke. Retired emperor, there's an old farmer outside the palace named Li Taicheng requesting an audience. Li Yuan looked puzzled and muttered to himself, Li Taicheng? Li Taicheng. Oh, so it's Acheng. Ha ha ha. Li Yuan laughed wildly, tears at the corners of his eyes, everything is lost. Everyone avoids me for fear of being implicated by that brat. All my old friends wish they could cut ties with me. I didn't expect that once Don Palace was unsealed, the first one to visit would be my former stableman. Good, very good. Someone, invite Acheng in. Hearing the word, invite, the little eunuch naturally didn't dare ignore it and respectfully brought Li Taicheng into the palace. As soon as Li Taicheng entered, he saw the fallen Li Yuan leaning on the steps. His eyes reddened, and he ran over. Your Majesty, I've come to see you. How could you have fallen to such a state? Li Yuan stood up, brushed the dust from his clothes, laughed heartily, and grabbed Li Tietjing's hand. Ha ha ha, Qing, it's been 7 or 8 years since we last met. I didn't expect you'd still care to come see this old man. Truly rare and precious. True friendship shows in adversity. At this moment, Li Yuan was deeply comforted and pleasantly surprised by Li Tietjing's arrival. Li Tietjing wiped his eyes and choked up. Your Majesty, you mustn't treat yourself like this. Li Yuan pointed to a group of young, beautiful women and said, these are my beloved concubines. With them by my side, how could I be degrading myself? It's just that power is gone, the time has passed. I'm no longer the emperor above all. You don't need to call me your Majesty. I'm just a few years older, call me elder brother. I wouldn't dare. Li Tietjing didn't dare at all. Li Yuan noticed the bundle in his hands and asked, Qing, what's that you're carrying? Li Tietjing opened the bundle and took out a rice pop, handing it over. Retired emperor, this is a snack I found among the people, called a rice pop. Crispy and sweet. Please try it. Li Yuan took a bite, crunch. His eyes lit up, and he nodded repeatedly. Not bad, not bad. Truly crispy and sweet. After swallowing one rice pop, the once lonely Li Yuan pulled Li Tietjing to sit on the steps, his eyes regaining their old wisdom. Now speak, what difficulty have you encountered, Qing? We're old friends. Don't be a stranger with me. Yes. Li Tietjing said, today I came to visit the retired emperor for 3 matters. First, I missed you very much, so I came to the palace to see you. Second, I brought Black Biao, the warhorse that once followed you. But the palace guards didn't allow me to bring it in. Li Yuan's eyes lit up. Black Biao is still alive? Li Tietjing smiled and nodded. Black Biao is in great shape, it could easily live a few more years. Haha, Li Yuan laughed, that's thanks to your good care, Qing. Someone, bring my Black Biao to the imperial stables, feed him well and then bring him back. Li Tietjing continued, the third matter is to ask the retired emperor for help finding some stone. Find stone? Li Yuan asked in confusion, what kind of stone? Li Tietjing briefly explained the situation in Sanha village. Li Yuan chuckled, that Qing family boy is quite something. Even though he's blind and seen as useless, he still tries to bring fortune to the villagers. If I get the chance, I'd like to meet him. Then, retired emperor, about the stone? Li Tietjing asked anxiously. As a village chief, where was he supposed to find stone for Qingxiu? He wouldn't have taken on this task if not for the development of Sanha village. Li Yuan glanced sideways at Li Tietjing, snorting with a laugh, though I'm old, I'm not senile. That boy wants limestone, it's to benefit the people. Even if there's some personal gain, it's still a good thing. Bricks made from clay are cheap, and the price will be low. I've long disliked those rammed earth houses. If every household could live in a brick house, that would be something to celebrate. Unfortunately, I'm no longer the emperor. Such great merit for improving people's housing will fall on that brat's head. But Qing, don't worry. One who brings firewood for the people must not freeze in the snow. This matter, I will personally go talk to that brat. Li Tietjing said emotionally, then I thanked the retired emperor. Soon, the black old horse, Black Biao, having been fed, was brought into Dawn Palace. As if recognizing its long-lost master, Black Biao joyfully pranced and nudged up to Li Yuan for pets. Li Tietjing stayed until evening before leaving the palace. Li Yuan tidied his robe and ordered, someone, prepare the carriage. To the Hall of Martial Virtue. Li Yuan hastily arrived at the Hall of Martial Virtue. The high officials of the 3 departments and 6 ministries had already left, leaving only Li Er writing at the imperial desk. Your Majesty, the retired emperor has arrived. Li Er set down his brush and walked out of the hall. Seeing Li Yuan, he stepped forward and supported him with a smile. Father, why come at this hour? Li Yuan said sarcastically, Humph, your imperial guards locked me up in Dawn Palace for months. If I stayed any longer, these old bones of mine would be ruined. Why did you suddenly grow a conscience and withdraw them? Li Er gave a wry smile and said, Father, it wasn't me who imprisoned you in Dawn Palace. When you abdicated, you said to give the old ministers of the Wu De era a way to survive. To prevent them from defying authority and interfering with imperial power, I had to do this to protect them. House arrest served to prevent the old ministers from supporting Li Yuan's return to power. It was also a way to cover all angles, a strategy of balance. After hearing this, Li Yuan's expression softened. He patted Li Er's hand and said, You've thought it through. The empire is yours now. Father and son understood each other. They both knew, everyone has their own schemes. Only Emperor Li Er could describe imprisoning his own father so righteously. With Li Er's help, Li Yuan sat on the throne. He looked around. This used to be his territory, but now it had changed hands. Erlang, Li Yuan asked, on the way here, I heard some palace staff saying you're troubled over the livelihood policies. But I don't understand, what exactly is troubling you? Palace staff often gossip about court matters. Hearing a few words wasn't unusual. Li Er didn't hide it and told him about today's court discussion. Father, what do you think? Li Yuan murmured, rewarding extraordinary merit with titles, this Du Ruhui is indeed capable. Don't ask me, you're the emperor. Do as you see fit. Li Er chuckled, now I ask not as emperor, but as your son. Is this strategy workable? Li Yuan waved his hand as he stroked his beard, enough. I won't go in circles with you. Today, I came to ask a favor. Please speak, father. Your son will do everything he can. Li Yuan explained the matter of finding limestone. Li Er immediately called out, someone. A young eunuch entered from the back hall. Wang De, have the secret riders search for the limestone and river sand mentioned by the retired emperor. Yes, Wang De responded and left. Li Er then asked in confusion, Father, what do you need limestone for? Li Yuan smiled faintly, just now you mentioned rewarding extraordinary merit. So tell me, if someone solves the people's housing problem and every household can live in a brick house, does that count as extraordinary merit? Li Er nodded, that certainly qualifies. To be honest, Li Yuan said, the stableman who once led my horse during the uprising at Jinyang came to the palace today. Oh? It was him? I remember, his name is Li Taicheng. Li Yuan nodded, he's now the village head of Sanha village in Ba Township, Lantian County. He said there's a young man in the village named Qingxiu who used clay to fire red bricks. They're very strong, better than green bricks. And these red bricks are made of clay, so the cost is nearly nothing. A few men can fire thousands of bricks in 3 days. They're perfect for building houses for the people. Li Er was overjoyed, Father, is this true? Li Yuan nodded again, it's true. But to build houses with red bricks, you need lime, which is why I mentioned limestone. Crush it and mix with clay to bind the bricks. The houses built this way can endure 100 years of wind and rain without damage. Li Er said in delight, extraordinary, this is indeed an extraordinary achievement. But, he added, becoming serious, the urgent priority is still solving food and clothing for the people. If their stomachs are empty, good housing means nothing. Still, this is the first joyful news of the Zhongguan era. I'll draft a decree and reward Li Taicheng. Li Yuan frowned, it wasn't Li Taicheng who invented the bricks. Why reward him? He's my man, he'll live comfortably even without your reward. Then who did invent the bricks? According to Acheng, his name is Qingxiu. Good. Then we'll reward Qingxiu. I'll verify the claim in the coming days. If it's true, he shall be rewarded. Li Yuan hesitated, then asked cautiously, Erlang, in a few days I want to leave the palace for a bit. Is that all right? Li Er replied, Father, if you wish to leave the palace, you may do so anytime. You don't need to ask your son. Li Yuan smiled with relief. A great burden lifted from his heart. He had truly feared that Li Shimin, his rebellious son, would imprison him in the palace for the rest of his life. Now that he was free to leave, the empire could be left to Li Er's devices. Li Yuan had finally seen it clearly. Court intrigues were fleeting shadows. Since the rice pop business became popular in Chang'an, all of Sanha village had become vibrant. With Lu Laosan and his wife joining, Su Xiaochun was making over 10,000 rice pops daily, and profits soared. In just the past half-month, they had earned nearly 1 tael of silver. Su Xiaochun had even laughed herself awake in her sleep several times. As time passed, the affection between Qingxiu and Su Xiaochun only deepened. Seeing his wife so happy was exactly what Qingxiu had hoped for. That morning, a group of cavalry arrived at Sanha village. They stopped briefly at Li Tiecheng's house and then left. Li Taicheng, elated, went to find Qingxiu. Qingxiu, the limestone you mentioned has been found. In the Qinling Mountains, about 70 to 80 li from here, there's a mountain entirely made of limestone. Qingxiu was thrilled, Uncle Li, I currently have several dozen taels of silver. I'll sell a few horses and carts and we can start transporting stone. Li Taicheng turned serious and shook his head, Qingxiu, first, I need to tell you something important. The second decree of the Zhongguan era has been issued, rewarding extraordinary merit. Extraordinary merit? What's that? Qingxiu asked in confusion. Li Taicheng explained, it means if someone contributes a solution to the people's food or housing problems, the emperor will reward them, money or even noble titles if the achievement is great enough. So, I reported your brick-firing invention to the officials in Chang'an. You've provided a foundational solution to the people's housing issue. That counts as extraordinary merit. I submitted your work without your permission, hope you won't be upset. Qingxiu smiled. How could I be upset, Uncle Li? I should be thanking you. If firing bricks earns me a title, it'll bring honor to my family. It's a great thing, why would I blame you? The value of goods depends on the rarity of the materials. Bricks are made of yellow clay, neither the material nor the product is worth much. Qingxiu never planned to make money off bricks. Sell them high, no one buys. Sell them cheap, no profit. Better to give it to the court, for the sake of a good name, maybe even a title. In Tang times, gaining a noble title was as difficult as getting a specialist license. Some merchants spent their entire fortune just to become the lowest-ranked baron, to enjoy the privileges of nobility. People were ranked: scholars, farmers, artisans, merchants. Merchants were the lowest class, even below farmers. Even some high officials of the 6 ministries didn't have titles, let alone merchants. Li Taiqing laughed. Qingxiu, I'm glad you think that way. Also, don't worry about transporting limestone. The official from Chang'an has already arranged for people to bring it. It should arrive before nightfall. Such a good thing? Qingxiu was delighted. Free labor shouldn't go to waste. So just wait at home. Oh right, Li Taiqing asked, how's your foundation digging going? Qingxiu smiled. Uncle Li, one more day and we'll finish digging. If the limestone and sand arrive today, we can start filling the foundation the day after. I'll go home now and tell my wife the good news. Go on then. Be careful walking, you can't see. Watching Qingxiu tap away with his cane, Li Taiqing returned home and said to his 2 daughters-in-law, clean out the small room next to the main hall. Tomorrow, I'm moving in. His eldest daughter-in-law, dressed in coarse linen, asked, Father-in-law, why are you moving into the small room? Is the big room uncomfortable? Li Taiqing looked excited. Tomorrow, an official from the city will be staying here for a few days. All of you stay alert. Also, tidy my room, replace all the bedding with new. Clearly, Li Taiqing held the city official in very high regard. Qingxiu didn't go home but instead found a young man digging a foundation for his house. Brother Taizhu, I'm going to the city to buy some goods. Can you come with me? Wang Taizhu, the younger brother of the village blacksmith Wang Tiniu, was just over 20 but already a retired soldier. Although he hadn't seen battle, the muscles on his body and the aura of toughness made it clear he was not someone to mess with. Taizhu grinned and said, sure. Qingxiu borrowed a horse-drawn cart from the village chief's house, and Taizhu drove the cart toward Chang'an. Qingxiu also decided that today he would buy a horse-drawn cart in the city. It would make transporting goods much easier. As soon as they entered the city, Taizhu asked, Brother Qing, what do you need to buy in the city? Qingxiu handed him a list and said, just follow this list and find the shops. Leave the rest to me. Taizhu blushed, scratched the back of his head awkwardly, and said, Brother Qing, I can't read. Pfft. Qingxiu nearly spat blood and said, half laughing, half crying, why didn't you say so earlier? Then why did I bring you to the city? Taizhu muttered, well, you didn't ask me. Sigh, forget it. Look for a grain shop and see if they have soybeans. Following Qingxiu's instructions, Taizhu began searching for shops. First, he bought 20 jin of soybeans, then 40 jin of wheat flour, a big iron pot, several large wooden buckets, some iron blocks, and quite a bit of coarse linen. They also bought all kinds of vegetables and even a full basket of eggs. Only then did they stop their spending spree, satisfied. Brother Qing, what's next on the list? Qingxiu said, find a timber seller and buy a good piece of rosewood. I want to make a new blind cane. Now that he had money and status, he planned to throw away his old bamboo stick and replace it with a fine one. Bamboo stick, you're noble now, impressive. Replacing the old with the new, what a heartless man. Once Qingxiu bought a fine piece of rosewood, Taizhu sighed dramatically, heavens, Brother Qing, you're such a spendthrift. 17 taels of silver for a piece of wood? Is there anyone more wasteful than you? You don't understand. This is rosewood, second only to golden nanmu and agarwood. It costs 17 taels now, but in 1,000 years, it could be worth thousands of taels. Taizhu pouted, he clearly didn't believe it. With a sigh, he said, you've already spent 20 taels of silver. You should tone it down a bit. If you keep wasting money like this, your family will never be rich. So, are we going home or continuing to shop? Taizhu asked. Qingxiu shook his head, it's noon already. Let's not go home. Let's eat at the best restaurant in Chang'an. Brother Taizhu, ask around and find out which restaurant has the best food and highest quality. Tiezhu's face lit up, that would be the Tianxiang Pavilion in Pingkong Ward. Not only is the food delicious, but the girls there are pretty too. As he said this, Tiezhu's face turned bright red with excitement. Qingxiu's face darkened, I meant a restaurant, not a brothel. Oh, okay. I'll ask around. Taizhu, something's not right with you. Be honest, have you been to a brothel before? Taizhu chuckled, of course. 2 years ago, when I was with Commandant Chang, he took us there once. But the girls at Tianxiang Pavilion aren't cheap. We small soldiers couldn't afford them. Back then, my monthly pay was just a few copper coins. Just touching a girl's but could put me in debt. The commandant hosted the officers who made meritorious service in the Lanzhou barracks. We were just there to feast our eyes. After speaking, Taizhu wiped away the drool at the corner of his mouth. Qingxiu's heart stirred. He asked, the Commandant Chang you mentioned, was he the eldest son of Duke Lu, Chang Yaojin? If he's not from Duke Lu's family, then who else could he be? Taizhu wasn't surprised that Qingxiu knew Commandant Chang's background. After all, there were plenty of rich kids in Chang'an, and their reputations were well known. Together, they found a well-known restaurant in Chang'an, Shixiang Pavilion. They learned that Shixiang Pavilion was named after its 10 famous dishes. Brother Qing, are you sure about this? Eating here will cost at least 8 or 10 taels of silver. Just follow me. Why so much nonsense? Taizhu was around the same age as Qingxiu, and they got along well. Over the past month in Sanha village, Taizhu had become Qingxiu's closest friend. Although the 10 dishes at Shixiang Pavilion were famous, to Qingxiu, who had eaten all kinds of gourmet food in his past life, they were bland and tasteless. The fine ingredients had been cooked so plainly, it was a waste. This reminded Qingxiu that he hadn't bought any spices yet: star anise, cinnamon, bay leaves, cardamom, cassia. These were transported from faraway regions by foreign merchants, but in the Tang dynasty, they were used as medicine, not for cooking. As he was lost in thought, the conversation from the table next to them caught Qingxiu's attention. Eat quickly. We have to get to Furong Garden or there won't be any seats. Master Kong is the 33rd generation descendant of Confucius. His poetry gathering is such a grand event. This Master Kong, is he the eldest son of Grand Scholar Kong Ingda? If not him, then who? I missed the morning part due to delays. No way I'm missing the afternoon. All the well-known young nobles of Chang'an will be there, and many daughters of high officials too. Even Miss Changsun Pingting from the Changsun family is going? Of course. I saw her this morning. She was sitting in the main seat with a stunningly beautiful young lady. We must go and see. Hurry up. After finishing their meal, the noble young men hurriedly paid and left Shixiang Pavilion. Seeing the faint smile on Qingxiu's lips, Taizhu asked curiously, Brother Qing, are you interested in poetry gatherings? Qingxiu nodded, I'm free anyway. Let's go and take a look. Taizhu frowned, what's the point of a poetry gathering? Commandant Chang said it's just a bunch of sour scholars whining like monks chanting scriptures. It's better to go to Pingkong Ward and listen to music. Pingkong Ward was the famous red light district of the Tang dynasty, full of both official and private brothels. If you don't want to go, just watch the cart. I'll go alone. Taizhu said helplessly, forget it. You're blind, if something happens to you, your wife will skin me alive. All right, I'll go with you. After the meal, accompanied by Taizhu, they arrived at Furong Garden, which was already bustling with people. Hundreds were gathered outside the pavilion, but only a few richly dressed young nobles and daughters of officials could actually enter the pavilion. They found a seat near the pavilion, close enough to hear the conversation inside. Taizhu stared longingly at the noble ladies in the pavilion. His originally simple face now looked a bit lecherous. He muttered, that one's good, really good. Even better than the courtesan at Tianxiang Pavilion. That figure, phew, if I could grab that chest, I could die happy. Oh, that one's even better, prettier than all the girls at Tianxiang Pavilion combined. Brother Qing, look at her. Oh, right, sorry, I forgot you're blind. Taizhu swallowed hard and quieted down. A young girl in green noticed Taizhu's fiery gaze. She turned and saw Taizhu looking like a pervert. Her delicate face immediately showed disgust. Sister Lizhu, those two are disgusting. They've been staring at us for ages. Who knows what dirty thoughts they're having? The girl in yellow, called Lizhu, also looked over and frowned. That darker one is at least obvious. He looks away when we notice. But that fair one with the handsome face, he keeps staring at us like nothing. Who knows what filthy thoughts he's hiding? The girl in green angrily said, he probably imagined us naked in his mind. I have to teach him a lesson. Lizhu stood up too. Ping Ting, wait for me. Let's go teach those perverts a lesson. With that, the two girls stormed toward Taizhu and Qingxiu with their attendants. In the crowd, a sharp-eyed man said softly to his companions, protect the safety of the young lady from Xiangqing. If anything happens, bring me your heads. Yes. Several men moved toward the girls immediately. Qingxiu didn't move but could clearly sense, with his mind's eye, several people rapidly approaching with aggressive energy. The two girls were both about 1.6 meters tall. One had a graceful figure and full chest. The other wasn't bad either, but slightly less attractive. As he was thinking, the girls arrived, and a fragrant wind swept past. Such a unique scent, it was clearly their natural body fragrance. Chang Sun Pingting raised her small whip and lashed it directly at Qingxiu's shoulder. Smack! The sharp sound drew the attention of the crowd. "Pa! Pervert! You've been staring at us for so long. Want me to dig your eyes out?" she shouted angrily. Taizhu was startled by the sudden turn of events. Qingxiu felt a burning pain in his shoulder, his mood completely ruined. Without saying a word, Qingxiu picked up his blind cane, stood up, and pulled Taizhu along. "Brother Taizhu, let's go home. It's not good here. Hold on to my cane, don't let me fall." Taizhu's face turned red with anger. "Are you serious? My brother is blind. When did he ever look at you? Brother Qing, let's go, these rich girls from the city are too much." He supported Qingxiu as they left. Chang Sun Pingting and Li Zhu were stunned. Seeing Qingxiu's cloudy eyes, they realized he really was blind? Their faces flushed red with shame and embarrassment. Qingxiu turned and bowed slightly, his voice gentle and apologetic. "Ladies, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have faced you. I truly didn't see you. Sorry for the trouble, I'm just a blind man who doesn't want to offend anyone. I'm sorry." With that, Qingxiu staggered and stumbled away. He looked like he could fall over at any moment. "Damn, you dare hit me? Go heal from this slap yourselves." As Qingxiu and Taizhu walked away, Chang Sun Pingting's whip fell to the ground. She clutched her head in agony. I deserve to die." Li Zhu wasn't any better, her lips trembled, tears welling up. In the end, this noble lady choked out, I deserve to die too." No way, the young lady of the Chang Sun family actually bullied a blind man? That blind man is so pitiful. He clearly can't see, yet he got whipped for nothing. The blind man didn't even get angry after being hit. Instead, he apologized to the one who wronged him. Truly, the world is unjust. So pitiful. He's already blind and still gets treated like a lecherous peeping pervert. So unfair, he's truly a huge victim. These two noble ladies are too unreasonable. They hit someone without even figuring out the truth. The guy is just a blind man. The whispers from around them entered the ears of Li Lizhu and Chang Sun Pingting, sounding sharp and sarcastic. Chang Sun Pingting's face turned pale. She knew that her reputation was completely ruined. With a shrill cry, Chang Sun Pingting covered her face as tears poured down. "I really deserve to die." Cursing herself, she ran out of Furong Garden in shame and anger. How could she still have the face to attend some stupid poetry gathering? Pingting, Pingting. Li Lizhu bit her lip and called out twice, anxiously stomping her foot. "No, Yingtao, I must catch up to that blind man and apologize. Otherwise, I won't be able to forgive myself for the rest of my life." Li Lizhu, with her personal maid, lifted her skirt and ran in the direction Qingxiu had left. But by the time she got out of Furong Garden, Qingxiu was already nowhere in sight. Li Lizhu stood in the street looking lost, murmuring with guilt, "I really deserve to die. I really deserve to die. Li Lizhu, you're the eldest princess of the Tang dynasty, how could you bully a blind man?" Wu, saying that, this princess clutched her chest in guilt and cried out loud. Her heart hurt so much it felt like she couldn't breathe. There's a big difference between being a princess and being the eldest legitimate princess. A firstborn child of a concubine becomes a princess, but if she was born to the empress, she'd be the eldest legitimate princess. That's why, among so many daughters of Li Shimin, only Princess Changle, Li Lizzie, was the eldest legitimate princess. In front of the medicine shop, Taizhu parked the cart, still grumbling, "Damn it, those rich girls in the city really bully people. Brother Qing, you're blind and couldn't even see them. It was clearly a misunderstanding. Why did you still apologize to those two brats?" Thinking about Qingxiu apologizing made Taizhu frustrated. In his heart, he labeled Qingxiu as spineless. But Qingxiu just chuckled and said, "Taizhu, I had my reasons for apologizing. There's a saying, killing someone is not as painful as breaking their heart." They hit someone without even asking the reason. I revealed I was blind and apologized to them. What do you think the people around would say about them? They'll feel deep guilt, maybe even feel like they deserve to die. Think about it, if they can't find me to apologize, how awful will they feel? They'll probably be stuck in guilt and regret for months. Taizhu took a sharp breath and said, "Hiss, Brother Qing, that move was brutal." As someone truly native to the Tang dynasty, Taizhu deeply understood how much noble girls cared about their reputation. If their name was ruined, it was worse than death. But Qingxiu had aimed straight at their reputation, his method was vicious. "Heh," Taizhu laughed. "No wonder you had me rush the cart away. So this is what you were planning. Haha, I misunderstood you. Now I feel much better." Qingxiu jumped off the cart and said, "Let's go." Let's buy something from the medicine shop, then get a cart and head back. At the medicine shop, they bought cinnamon, star anise, cardamom, angelica, and 5 or 6 kinds of medicinal herbs. Then they went to the East Market, bought a young red Dewan horse and a cart, and also got 2 rolls of black silk. Buying the horse and cart was for convenience when traveling later. The herbs were purely for satisfying his picky taste. As for the black silk, it was simple: tie it around his eyes, and everyone would know he was blind. No one would mistake him again, and he wouldn't get beaten up by accident anymore. With a 3-finger-wide black silk covering his eyes and dressed in all black, Qingxiu's whole aura changed. He now felt mysterious. At the same time, after morning court, Changsun Wuji returned home and immediately heard his beloved daughter crying in her room. He was instantly furious. "Changsun Chong, get out here right now." From the corridor, a boy about 16 or 17 came out, looking scared. "Father, you called?" Judging from his tone, his father was clearly angry. Changsun Chong got nervous and racked his brain to figure out how he had upset him. Changsun Wuji's face was gloomy. Pointing at his daughter's room, he asked in a deep voice, "You brat, did you bully your sister again?" Changsun Chong's face changed. "No, father, let me explain. No, I just got back from the East Market not long ago and heard Pingting crying. I asked her, but she wouldn't say what happened. I even sent a guard to find out who bullied her so we could stand up for her, but the guard hasn't returned yet." Hearing this, Changsun Wuji's expression softened a bit. Although his son was a bit of a scoundrel, he knew his son wouldn't dare lie in front of him. "Don't worry, father. Mother is with Pingting right now, trying to comfort her." I'll go take a look." At his daughter's bedroom door, Changsun Wuji heard his wife Changsun Chui's voice inside. "Pingting, my dear, don't cry. Your eyes are getting swollen. If you cry more, you won't look good. Tell mother what happened." Changsun Pingting buried her head in the blanket, crying her heart out and sobbing between breaths. "Mother, I really deserve to die. I deserve to die." Not only was Changsun Chui shocked, but even Changsun Wuji burst through the door. Changsun Wuji roared, "Who dared insult my daughter, Changsun Wuji's girl? Pingting, don't cry. Tell father who hurt you. I'll make sure he pays. I'll skin him alive." Upon hearing that, Changsun Pingting cried even harder. She knew her father's temper. He couldn't stand seeing her suffer. But she also knew she was the one at fault this time. She was truly afraid her father would go punish an innocent blind man. She had already wronged that blind man. How could she tell her father about it now? From that day on, Changsun Pingting changed. Her once lively personality became quiet and gloomy. She never smiled again. In the middle of the night, sobbing could often be heard from her room. This made the whole family worried and heartbroken. Changsun Wuji even assigned people to watch over her day and night, afraid she might do something foolish. Even the next morning in court, Changsun Wuji looked absent-minded. After court, Emperor Taizong, Li Er, called him aside and asked with concern, "Fujiji, you look worried all day. Did something happen?" "Your Majesty, sigh." Changsun Wuji gave a heavy sigh and told the whole story about Changsun Pingting. When Emperor Taizong heard it, his eyes widened. "This sounds just like what happened with Xiangqing." Changsun Wuji was confused, like what happened to Princess Xiangqing. Li Er smiled bitterly. "I only learned about it last night. That girl went to a poetry gathering at Furong Garden and came back gloomy and weeping all day. I've asked her many times, even promised to tear the culprit to pieces, but the more I asked, the harder she cried." Changsun Wuji was stunned. "What should we do now?" Inside Wuda Hall, the 2 old fathers were deeply troubled, but completely clueless about what to do with their daughter's change in behavior. Summer was almost here. Everything was coming back to life. It was again the season when animals and friends got restless. The spring night breeze carried some warmth, constantly reminding people that summer was about to arrive. All around, apart from the sound of the wind rustling the grass, there were the hushed whispers of a man and woman inside a grass hut. Su Xiaochun nestled in Qingxiu's arms, wearing only a dudu and a pair of underpants. As for the dudu, those who understand, it's like the four-corner shorts from later generations. Over the past month, the quality of food had improved and nutrition had caught up. Su Xiaochun's figure had developed as well. Her soft chest was round and full, to the point that the dudu was almost bursting. As for Qingxiu, he was also only wearing a pair of underpants. Pressed up against Su Xiaochun's plump, smooth body, Qingxiu's heart was pounding, a fire burning inside. If not for the rundown grass hut constantly reminding him not to act out, he would have already done the deed. Su Xiaochun's soft jade fingers traced circles on Qingxiu's firm chest. She shyly whispered, "Husband, how much silver did you spend in the city today?" "Not much," Qingxiu said. I spent a little over 30 taels of silver. What? Su Xiaochun's body trembled. She suddenly sat up, her beautiful eyes wide. Over 30 taels? Heavens! I worked so hard making rice flour balls and only earned 70 taels in half a month, and you spent half of that in one day. In the modeled world in his mind, Su Xiaochun's upper body trembled, even bouncing like jelly, playful like a bunny. Qingxiu pulled his wife back into his arms, laughing. It's just a little over 30 taels. Just the horse cost 28. It's a fine breed of Dewan horse imported from the western regions. It can travel 1,000 li in a day. Su Xiaochun didn't know that horses were so valuable. Fooled by Qingxiu's words, she believed him. If she knew that he had spent 17 taels just on a single piece of rosewood, she might feel heartbroken. Su Xiaochun grabbed the big hand under her dudu that was teasing her two ancestors, her pretty face flushed hot. She panted and said, "Husband, I'm not scolding you for being wasteful. I just want to remind you, we're not rich, so you should be more frugal with money in the future." Got it, got it. Qingxiu casually replied, then buried his head in her chest like a child and said in a muffled voice, "Let's sleep." After being teased like that, how could Su Xiaochun sleep? She waited until her husband fell asleep before gently pushing his head away to rest. It was called sleeping, but it was only 8 p.m. In the Tang dynasty, there weren't many forms of entertainment. Ordinary people went to bed by 7 or 8. The next morning, when Qingxiu woke up, he discovered that his inner vision world had undergone a drastic change. The world in his mind, once black and white and only showing object outlines, had suddenly become colorful after one sleep. Was this animation mode? Qingxiu's eyes widened, his face a mix of surprise and disbelief. That's right, his inner vision world had turned into anime style. Everything within a 50-meter radius had changed. Even the buildings looked cuter. Even his wife beside him had become a true anime girl in his mind. This transformation made Qingxiu ecstatic. With a way to view the world like this, who needed actual eyeballs? Everything looked more beautiful now. In the anime-styled world, Su Xiaochun's hair was messy, her face delicate, lips like cherries, skin white and dewy like congealed fat. The arm that poked out of the covers was white and radiant like lotus root. Qingxiu flipped off the blanket. In his mind's eye, there was his wife Su Xiaochun's flawless and perfect figure. Qingxiu teared up instantly. This was worth it. With animated vision like this, he didn't mind being blind. Not only had his modeled world turned anime, but his physical condition had also improved a lot. Qingxiu now had the strength of 7 or 8 strong men and an incredibly sharp sense of his surroundings. On a cool spring morning, the air still carried a chill. Su Xiaochun noticed the cold and opened her lively eyes to look at her husband, her delicate face filled with worry. "Husband, why are you crying?" Qingxiu quickly wiped the tears from the corners of his eyes and smiled lightly. "Not crying. Some weeds poked my eye earlier, it hurts a bit." Su Xiaochun, full of concern, got up and put on a coat, saying, "Husband, let me blow on it for you." She cupped Qingxiu's face seriously and gently blew a few breaths on his eyes, asking worriedly, "How is it now? Still hurt?" Qingxiu smiled and shook his head. "It doesn't hurt. You're beautiful, my wife." Su Xiaochun blushed and said coyly, "Nonsense. You can't see anyway." Literal nonsense. A hint of sadness appeared in her eyes. Her husband couldn't see her face. That was Su Xiaochun's greatest regret in life. Su Xiaochun helped Qingxiu get dressed, finally covering his eyes with a strip of black silk, and then dressed herself. She scooped a bowl of water from the bucket to rinse her mouth. After washing up, she started making breakfast. Qingxiu stopped the busy Su Xiaochun and smiled. "Wife, rest today. I'll prepare breakfast." Su Xiaochun hurriedly said, "Husband, that won't do. A noble man stays out of the kitchen. You have important things to do. How could you go to the stove? And you can't see, how could you possibly cook? Let me do it." Qingxiu sighed. "Wife, every morning it's either millet porridge or plain rice porridge. If we don't eat something solid, we'll get stomachaches. You rest. If I don't do well, you can take over. It's still early anyway." "Well, all right," Su Xiaochun said reluctantly. "I'll help you." To her surprise, Qingxiu accurately found a few eggs and started mixing flour with cooled boiled water. He didn't like the raw water from the river, so he always asked Su Xiaochun to boil and cool it. Over time, she got used to drinking boiled water too. He cracked eggs into the flour, added chopped wild green onions and green salt, and started frying egg pancakes in oil. Green salt was something he bought from the city. When he first brought it back, he was scolded for being wasteful. But green salt was the only type that tasted like fine salt. If he wanted to eat salt, he had to buy expensive green salt. As for the black and rough lumps of salt, he'd never eat those. They were full of toxic minerals and could cause serious harm if consumed too much. Over time, such salt could even turn your skin purple, like Thanos. Watching Qingxiu skillfully make the pancakes, Su Xiaochun was stunned. When the egg pancakes were done, she was still in shock. So food could be made like this? Through his inner vision, Qingxiu noticed Su Xiaochun's expression. Her nearly perfect anime face was filled with surprise, her cherry lips forming an O shape. She looked so cute, Qingxiu couldn't get enough of her every night. He thought she was a plain and honest village girl. Turns out, Su Xiaochun was a delicate beauty. What a treasure. Wife, try it. How does it taste? Su Xiaochun came back to her senses, swallowed her saliva, and shook her head. No, I'll wait for you. Eat while it's hot, it won't taste good once it's cold. There's more in the pan. Su Xiaochun hesitated and still shook her head. No, I must wait for you. I can't overstep. Qingxiu had no choice but to let her be. Watching Qingxiu's skilled movements, Su Xiaochun was moved to tears. She choked up. Husband, how much suffering have you been through? In Tang Dynasty tradition, it was considered shameful for men to cook. Only men who had suffered greatly would step into the kitchen. Qingxiu smiled bitterly. I married such a wonderful wife, it's clearly a blessing, not suffering. The sand and lime are ready. There's work today. Let's eat quickly. He served 2 bowls of rice porridge and soaked the egg pancakes in them. Finally, a decent breakfast. Su Xiaochun didn't look happy, instead, she cried even harder. Through her sobs, she said, I thought the best food in the world was millet porridge with sugar. Turns out, all these years I've been eating pig food. Poor girl, she'd really had it hard. Actually, Su Xiaochun wasn't very old, just 18 this year. In Qingxiu's eyes, she was still a child. But in the Tang Dynasty, where girls could marry at 13, 18 was already considered an old maid. If a girl wasn't married by 20, she was viewed as a worthless burden by everyone nearby. Not only would she lack a dowry, but she wouldn't even receive a betrothal gift. Even if she did marry, she'd be gossiped about behind her back for a long time. Qing, I already said in the letter, don't call me Taishang Huang. I'm just an ordinary old man now. Li Yuan pushed away Li Taicheng, who was trying to support him, his expression especially displeased. Yes, yes, yes. Then if I can't call you Taishang Huang, what should I call you? Li Yuan thought for a moment, then chuckled, call me Old Li. Li Taicheng was shocked. Taishang Huang, that's not proper, please don't joke with me. Li Yuan snorted, then call me Master Li. Anyway, you must not call me Taishang Huang. I rarely leave the palace nowadays, and this time I'm just out for fun. If you call me that, you'll expose my identity. What's the fun in that? All right. Li Taicheng nodded repeatedly. Then from now on, I'll call you Master Li. And stop calling yourself this humble one all the time. I don't hold that much weight anymore. Li Taicheng quickly agreed, nodding like pounding garlic. Behind them followed 4 attendants, 2 middle-aged men and 2 15 or 16-year-old youths. The 4 of them had steady breathing, light footsteps, and sharp eyes constantly scanning the surroundings, clearly martial arts experts. Let's go, Master Li. I'll show you around the estate. As they strolled through the village, Li Taicheng explained, Sanha Village, Jiuli Village, and Dayton Village, many of the farmers in these nearby villages are old soldiers who once fought with us. Most of the soldiers' families either died in the war or from starvation, some were displaced and can't be found. After I left your personal guard, I, along with Brother Ma and Old Zhang the Knife, gathered the soldiers and founded these 3 villages. Li Yuan looked moved. Since they're all former soldiers who fought for me, won't they recognize me? Li Taicheng shook his head. They were all low-ranking soldiers who never saw your face. There's no way they'd recognize you. Li Yuan let out a breath. That's good. Sigh. Li Yuan sighed. If I had known these veterans were living in such hardship, when I was still in power I would have allocated some silver to help them live better lives. But now, I can't even access the treasury. Li Taicheng looked touched. Master Li, you're wrong to say that. The fact that you still care about these fellows is already a great honor. You may not know, but ever since Qingxiu arrived in Sanha village, thanks to his rice puff business, the whole village has been doing well. Every household earns over 100 cash a day. Li Yuan asked curiously, is 100 cash a lot? Li Taicheng gave a bitter smile. Of course it's not much by your standards. But soldiers in the left guard only earn 10 or 8 taels a year. As long as villagers are willing to work, they can earn 30 taels a year easily. That put it into perspective. Even Li Yuan was a bit surprised. Li Taicheng continued, in a few days, I plan to discuss with Qingxiu if we can expand the rice puff business to Dayton and Jiuli villages too. Then the veterans in all 3 villages won't have to worry about food or clothing anymore. Li Yuan sighed. Qing, you're thoughtful. I thank you on behalf of those fellows. They were men who fought and bled for the Tang dynasty. Even if Li Yuan was a muddled emperor, deep down he still respected those veterans. "It's what I should do," said Li Taicheng respectfully. Li Yuan smiled. "Come, show me your brick kiln." Li Taicheng didn't dare delay and led Li Yuan to visit the kiln, then went to the west end of the village. Qingxiu's shabby hut was located at the west end. At that moment, Qingxiu was leading a group of men to smash rocks. Thanks to Li Taicheng's connections in Chang'an, limestone and sand were being delivered to Sanha village daily. Each man picked up a hammer and crushed stones, then poured them into a mill to grind into fine powder. Everyone was covered in dust. Some crushed stones, some ground powder, others mixed lime and sand, and some were laying bricks. The shape of a large courtyard had already formed. In less than half a month, Qingxiu's house would be built. To keep warm in winter, the main hall was built with layers and included a fireplace. The warmth from the fireplace would keep the whole house cozy. Even playing poker with his wife in winter wouldn't feel cold. Li Yuan noticed everyone wore cloth over their mouths and looked curiously at Li Taicheng. It was also the first time Li Taicheng had seen such a setup. He immediately shouted to Qingxiu, "Qingxiu, why is everyone wearing face cloths?" Because Qingxiu was blind, he didn't need to work. Directing these strong men was his job now, a privilege of the blind. Qingxiu tapped his blind cane and walked over. "Uncle Li, those are masks. Inhaling lime dust can cause lung disease. Wearing masks prevents that." "I see. Qingxiu, let me introduce you." Li Taicheng pulled Qingxiu over and said, "This is Master Li from Chang'an. He's the one who helped us get the limestone. You must thank him properly." Qingxiu quickly cupped his hands. "Thank you, Master Li, for your generous help. I am deeply grateful." Li Yuan nodded but said nothing. Noticing that Qingxiu had his eyes covered in black silk and couldn't see him nod, he spoke up, "No need. I'm a brother to Taicheng. Helping Sanha village is like helping myself. This small favor is nothing. Do your best, I have high hopes for you." Qingxiu smiled. "Uncle Li, Master Li, I had my wife go to the city to buy meat. At noon we're treating the whole village to lunch. Please join us." Li Taicheng didn't refuse and looked toward Li Yuan. Li Yuan smiled. "Then I'll accept your invitation." There weren't many rice puffs made yesterday. Most of the women had gone out early to sell them and were already back. When Su Xiaochun returned with the cart, it carried over 100 jin of pork and several dozen jin of celery. Celery was a green vegetable introduced by foreign merchants, also called hu celery, currently the most common green in Tang. Qingxiu directed several women to cut the pork into palm-sized pieces. In the threshing yard, 3 large iron pots were set up. The pork was parboiled to remove blood foam, and the celery was also blanched. Over a dozen women kneaded dough at the table. Soon, iron griddles made by blacksmith Wang were carried over. The layered flatbreads were cooked on the griddles until crispy outside and tender inside, smelling delicious. "Husband, what's next?" Su Xiaochun wiped the sweat from her forehead and asked. Qingxiu sat on the millstone giving orders. "Next, heat the oil, stir-fry the medicinal herbs and green onions I prepared, then pour the pork into the 3 big pots. Aunt San, use a small pot to boil syrup, just like when making rice puffs. When it turns dark red, add water and pour it into the big pots. Let it stew for 1 hour. Yunyang, go help Aunt San." Yunyang was a woman in her early 20s. Since it wasn't summer yet and spring planting hadn't begun, she hadn't been exposed to the sun and had fair, smooth skin and beautiful looks. Even compared to Su Xiaochun, she wasn't far off, especially her full chest, even more prominent than Su Xiaochun's. Her husband had joined mountain bandits out of hunger and was beheaded by the Tang army within 2 months. Yunyang fled with her blind mother-in-law and settled in Sanha village. Yunyang was known as a beautiful widow in the village, but she had very thin skin. She blushed just talking to others, even to women. Directed by Qingxiu, Yunyang shyly lowered her head and went to help Aunt San. Li Yuan watched the whole process in fascination. As the rich aroma filled the air, even his throat moved involuntarily, his eyes fixed on the 3 large iron pots. The charm of braised pork was irresistible, even someone used to delicacies like Li Yuan was conquered by the smell of the meat. Imperial edict has arrived. With a loud shout, over a dozen cavalrymen charged into Sanha village, attracting everyone's attention. A eunuch, surrounded by the cavalry, arrived at the threshing ground. Upon seeing Li Yuan, his entire body trembled, and he was about to kneel and bow, but was waved off impatiently by Li Yuan. Li Yuan turned and walked into a small courtyard. The eunuch was sharp. He instantly understood Li Yuan's intention and pretended not to see the old man. He looked around and frowned upon seeing everyone dirty, then shouted, "Which one of you is Qingxiu?" Qingxiu picked up his blind cane and walked over, saying, "I am Qingxiu." When the eunuch saw Qingxiu's clean appearance and handsome face, He immediately felt a liking for him, and his voice softened. Qingxiu, receive the decree. Tang customs had no kneeling rights for receiving decrees. This was an established regulation since the founding of the dynasty. So Qingxiu did not kneel. He cupped his hands and bowed respectfully. The eunuch opened the imperial decree and began to read. By order of the emperor of the Great Tang, it is declared, one named Qing, styled Xiu, resides in Lantian, diligent and disciplined, noble but not extravagant, studious and virtuous. After a bunch of formal phrases, the eunuch closed the decree and smiled. For the merit of brickmaking, benefiting the country and the people, solving the hardship of housing for commoners, this is a lasting achievement and great contribution. Awarded 100 gold, and the noble title of Baron of Lantian County, with the right to tax 100 households. Sanha villagers immediately exploded with excitement, like water poured into hot oil. Heavens, Qingxiu was granted a noble title? Our Sanha village now has a baron? That's great. We should celebrate. Over in Chongling, someone was granted a baron title, and they beat drums and gongs for 3 days. If Qingxiu is a baron now, doesn't that mean all the village land has been granted to him? From now on, 3/10 of our harvest goes to Qingxiu, haha. I'd rather give 5/10 to Qingxiu than give 3/10 to that last noble lord. Heavens, awarded 100 gold? How much silver is that worth? Don't be silly, 100 gold just sounds nice, it's really only 100 taels of silver. Su Xiaochun couldn't believe her ears. Hearing that the decree was for her husband, her mind went blank. It was Aunt Lu who anxiously shook her. Xiaochun, quick! Tell your husband to express gratitude. Su Xiaochun panicked upon hearing this. But before she could speak, Qingxiu had already accepted the decree, thanks to His Majesty's great grace. Li Taicheng, smiling, grabbed 2 5-tael silver ingots from a tray and winked at Qingxiu. Qingxiu understood immediately and handed the silver to the eunuch with a smile. Eunuch sir, thank you for your hard work. Please accept this silver for some tea. I insist. The eunuch, also clever, tugged at his sleeve. Qingxiu's mouth twitched, he pretended not to see it. Then the eunuch remembered, Qingxiu's eyes were covered with black silk. He was blind. Embarrassed, the eunuch took the silver himself. The eunuch glanced at the old house where Li Yuan was hiding and smiled. Baron Qing, you've earned a title at such a young age. Your future is limitless. When you reach the top, don't forget me. From now on, the right to collect rent from Sanha, Dayton, and Jiuli villages belongs to Baron Qing. Baron Qing, these gentlemen are officials from the Ministry of Works. You'll need to share the brickmaking method with them. I still have urgent matters to attend to, farewell. The eunuch left the 3 officials behind and departed. Li Taicheng laughed. Qingxiu, you're a baron now. Looks like I'll have to work under you from now on, haha. Uncle Li, you exaggerate. You're the village head. Let's continue to discuss village matters together. Haha, good, good. Qingxiu said, Uncle Li, I can't see. Please lead the 3 officials and teach them how to make bricks. Li Taicheng didn't say much, immediately taking the Ministry of Works officials with him. These officials, only rank 9 and below, had less authority than Li Taicheng as village head. They learned the brickmaking process and kiln construction from Li Taicheng, recorded everything, and then left. At the threshing ground, Qingxiu called out, Everyone, thank you for your hard work. I've been granted the title of Baron by His Majesty. No better day to celebrate than today. I'll treat everyone to meat flatbreads. Sadly, we have no wine. Don't worry, I'll go buy some in the city tomorrow, and we'll celebrate again, drink till we drop. The villagers cheered. Qingxiu then served food. Each person got 2 oil-fried flatbreads, sliced open and stuffed with freshly cooked pork and celery. Everyone who ate gave a thumbs up, their mouths covered in grease. Some men ate 10 or more. Damn, after all these years, this is the best meal I've ever had. I didn't know pork could be eaten like this. I wish I could have this every day. Ever since Qingxiu, no, Baron Qing, came to Sanha village, life's been getting better and better. Right. From now on, let's work hard, farm well, and pay our dues to show our gratitude. Hey, Guzi, you greedy dog. You've eaten 8 already, you're wasting food. Blackhead, you ate 11 yourself. Did I? Who saw? Yunyang, get me 2 more. Burp. Blackhead, why won't you burst? A grand scene, villagers squatting around the threshing ground eating flatbreads. Li Yuan even squatted by the wall, leaning against it, enjoying a flatbread in each hand. While chewing, he mumbled to Li Taicheng with a grin, this boy is skilled. Even lowly pork becomes delicious in his hands, he's truly turned the rotten into magic. Li Taicheng sighed, at this rate, pork prices in Chang'an will soar. After 2 flatbreads, Li Yuan said, Aching, 1 more, and fetch some water. Li Taiching ran off happily to get it. Qingxiu and Su Xiaochun sat on a haystack. She giggled nonstop while eating her flatbread. Qingxiu scolded, "Eat properly. What are you laughing at? Don't choke." Su Xiaochun's eyes turned into crescent moons. Her sweet voice rang in his ear, "I'm just happy. My husband is such a big shot. Just by making bricks, you got a noble title. From today, I'm a baron's wife." Qingxiu pointed at the straw hut. "Have you ever seen a baron live in a hut?" Su Xiaochun covered her mouth and laughed. Her smile bloomed like a flower, so beautiful that Qingxiu's heart skipped a beat. In the modern day, a wife like her would need a house, a car, and at least tens of thousands in dowry. But here in the Tang dynasty, a beauty like this cost nothing. In fact, the government even paid you. Ridiculous? Luckily, she was his. That thought made Qingxiu smile. After eating a flatbread, Su Xiaochun said, "Husband, I want to visit my family tomorrow. I want to tell my mother I found a good man, and bring her some food." Qingxiu nodded, "Of course. I'm busy now, so tell Auntie to wait a bit. Once I'm free, I'll go with you. By the way, dear, I never asked, besides your parents, do you have other family?" Su Xiaochun looked sad. "Besides my parents, I have 2 sisters-in-law and a niece. My 2 older brothers are lazy gamblers. They owed so much debt they even sold their wives. They've been missing for 2 years, we don't know where they've gone." Gambling scum, selling their wives? Qingxiu was furious. To vent, he grabbed his wife's soft chest. "Wife, your 2 brothers are right here." That feeling, like fresh dough. Wobbly and pleasing. Su Xiaochun turned red, looked around, and said shyly, "Husband, you're going to embarrass me to death. What if someone sees? I won't be able to show my face in the village." Qingxiu knew better than her if anyone was nearby. That's why he acted so boldly. The aroma of the braised pork was so rich that with a breeze, saying it wafted for 10 miles wouldn't be an exaggeration. It even attracted many children from neighboring villages. One by one, poorly dressed children came, following the smell. Some half-grown children weren't wearing clothes at all, just straw sandals on their feet. This is? Li Yuan looked at several naked children in surprise and turned to Li Taiching. Li Taiching sighed, "They're children from Jiuli village and Dayton village. Their families can't afford coarse cloth for clothes. All day long, they just run around the streets naked. Master Li, this is common in the estates around Guangzhou." Li Yuan asked, "Then how do they survive winter? Still naked?" Li Taiching forced a bitter smile, "They don't go out in winter. If they do, they wrap themselves in straw mats. Now that the weather's warmer, they no longer need them. Boys are still better. Not having clothes is one thing, but some girls, already 10 years old, still run around naked. It'll be hard for them to get married in the future." Li Yuan looked up and sighed. No wonder earlier this year, at the banks of the Weishui River, a young man humiliated himself by killing his white horse and, with great shame, signed the White Horse Pact. He was right. We can't keep fighting. If we do, the people are finished. As he spoke, Li Yuan shed 2 tears and could not bear to look anymore. A dozen half-grown children, drooling, gathered around the iron pot, eyes fixed on the braised pork without blinking. Qingxiu said to Yunyang, "Give each of them a meat flatbread." Yunyang glanced nervously at Qingxiu, then lowered her head, her face slowly turning red, and she began preparing in a fluster. Then he turned and said, "Wife, go home and get some copper coins." Su Xiaochun obediently went home to get the money. Though she couldn't see Qingxiu's expression, she could feel the helplessness in his voice. "Come, all of you, come over here." Qingxiu beckoned the naked children over. In an instant, they formed a circle. "Here, one for each of you. Take the rest home. Give it to your younger siblings if you have any. If you have older brothers or sisters, let them eat. And these copper coins, each of you take 10. When you get home, give them to your parents. Just say it's from the lord of your estate. Tell them to buy you clothes. If they still let you run around naked, tell them the lord will bring soldiers to beat them up. Understand?" The children nodded one by one. Then, holding the hot flatbreads, some immediately dug in, while others just swallowed but didn't eat. Qingxiu frowned, "Why aren't you eating?" A little girl said happily, "I'm taking it home for grandma. She hasn't eaten in 2 days. I don't want her to be hungry." "Where are your parents?" Qingxiu asked. The girl said, "My dad was trampled to death by Turkic warhorses last year. My mom hid me and was taken by the Turks as a 2-legged sheep. They thought grandma was too old and let her go home." Qingxiu's heart shook. Waves of emotion surged like a landslide. He muttered, "So the 2-legged sheep in the history books is real." The record said that barbarian tribes didn't carry food into battle. They robbed wherever they went. If they couldn't find food, they'd capture Han women and treat them as food. They called them 2-legged sheep, sheep that walk on 2 legs. After a long silence, Qingxiu said, "Eat first. Once you're done, I'll give you another to take home to grandma." The strong men around watched. One dark-skinned man looked at the 2 flatbreads in his hand, grinned, and ran over to give one to a child. "Eat. If you can't finish, take it home. Old Blackhead, didn't think you had a kind heart." "Old Blackhead, I'm surprised. Back on the battlefield, I saw you with 6 heads hanging from your belt, slaughtering Chang like chopping vegetables. Didn't expect you had a conscience. If you've got a conscience, eat less. 15 flatbreads can't fill you. Share a few, and you might save 8 people from starving." Old Blackhead burped, scratched his head awkwardly, laughed sheepishly, and glanced at Qingxiu, worried he'd get scolded by the new baron for eating too much. But nothing came. Li Yuan waved behind him, "Bring the money." A stern-faced middle-aged man took out 2 large gold ingots from his sleeve. Li Yuan tossed them to Li Taicheng, "Take them to old Ma and old Zhang. Have them buy clothes for the children who can't cover themselves. Use whatever's left to buy grain for their villages. Do it in Qingxiu's name." Li Taicheng held the heavy gold, gritting his teeth. "Don't worry, Master Li. If anyone dares embezzle relief money, I'll be the first to chop their dog head off. Go, go, go." Li Yuan waved irritably. After he left, Li Yuan watched Qingxiu handing out copper coins and flatbreads. His wrinkled face showed a smile and nods of approval. Tragedy may happen, but houses still must be built. The next day, before dawn. Qingxiu hadn't woken yet when Su Xiaochun shook him awake. Qingxiu grumbled, "Dear, it's not even light yet. Can't you let me sleep a little longer?" Su Xiaochun blushed and whispered, "Husband, I want to visit my family today, but I don't know how to make egg pancakes. Please teach me. Once I learn, I can make them for you every morning." Qingxiu said annoyed, "I don't want egg pancakes." Su Xiaochun hesitated, "Then what do you want?" "I don't know how to make it." "Who says you can't make it? What I want to eat is you." Qingxiu rolled over. Su Xiaochun gasped, then felt her feeding equipment being claimed by her husband. She trembled and whispered, "Dear, don't, it's almost dawn, the villagers, they'll be getting up soon." Qingxiu let her go, got dressed, and started teaching her how to make egg pancakes. She studied seriously. Breakfast was millet porridge and egg pancakes again. After eating quickly, Su Xiaochun loaded the cart with some grain and copper coins and left. Originally, she only planned to bring grain. The 2 strings of copper coins were forced on her by Qingxiu, saying they were betrothal gifts. This moved Su Xiaochun deeply. Before leaving, she kissed Qingxiu. Just after she left, footsteps sounded nearby. Through his inner anime-style vision, Qingxiu saw the one approaching was old Master Li. He walked slowly with 4 attendants, wandering through the village, and finally arrived at Qingxiu's home. Seeing Qingxiu sitting on a haystack by his straw hut, Li Yuan said in surprise, "Boy Qing, already waiting to start work so early?" Qingxiu smiled and nodded, "Good morning, old master. As they say, the early bird gets the worm." Li Yuan smiled and asked, "Which one is your house?" He turned to look for the grandest building in Sanha village. After searching a while, he was disappointed. Qingxiu pointed behind, "Old master, this is my home." Li Yuan's eyes widened, "This? You and your wife live in this straw hut?" Qingxiu nodded shyly, "Yes, for now." Li Yuan fumed, "You, such a capable man, let your wife live here? At night, doing bedroom matters, won't everyone hear? There's not even a proper door. I always close mine when I—" Li Yuan nearly spat, cursing, "Shameless." Qingxiu smiled bitterly, "Old master, it's a long story. The house is under construction. For now, we have no choice. Killing intent." Suddenly, Qingxiu's skin tingled. An extreme sense of danger made him instantly alert. Li Yuan's 4 guards now had murderous expressions, calling him Old Li? Li Yuan laughed, "Old Li is fine. From now on, call me that. You 4, what are you staring at? Bring the money." "Yes, master." A middle-aged man reluctantly pulled out a gold ingot. Li Yuan glared, "Useless. What do I need it for? Give it to him. His house is in shambles. I'm giving him money to build it. He's a noble of the Tang. Living like this, it's a disgrace to the court." Ashamed, the man handed the gold to Qingxiu. Qingxiu thought for a while, then handed it back. "If you eat from others, your words are weak. If you take from others, your hands are tied. I've done nothing to deserve it. If I need silver, I can earn it. Thank you for your kindness." Li Yuan chuckled, "Stubborn kid. Take it. Not giving it to you, it's for breakfast. You arrange it." He threw the gold. Qingxiu's heart stirred. Now it was a transaction, and taking it felt right. As Li Yuan threw the gold, he panicked. What if it hit and killed the blind kid? But it didn't. Qingxiu calmly raised his hand and caught it, smiling. "In that case, I'll humbly accept." Li Yuan's 4 guards' pupils shrank. They all had the same thought, he tracked that by sound? This blind man's a master. The head bodyguard whispered a few words into Li Yuan's ear. Li Yuan looked at Qingxiu in surprise but didn't say anything more. Then, a dramatic scene unfolded. Qingxiu, pretending to be blind while making breakfast, was cooking a pot of porridge and at the same time making soft egg pancakes. The head bodyguard held a dagger and gestured wildly in front of him, left, then right, sometimes making moves like monkey steals the peach and black tiger steals the heart. Even more outrageous, this guy even pulled a move like eagle spreads its wings, nearly knocking over the porridge pot, making Qingxiu's heart race. At that moment, he understood clearly, this was obviously a test from Master Li and his bodyguards. So, he remained still, playing the part of a normal blind man. If it weren't for the black cloth covering his eyes, the head bodyguard might have stabbed his eyeballs, and then it would have been impossible to hide the truth. Good thing I was prepared, Qingxiu thought with relief. Li Yuan took a bite of the soft egg pancake, then a sip of the thick rice porridge, squinting his eyes in enjoyment. He shook his head and sighed, now this is what a meal should be. Even though I've been used to rare delicacies, this simple and delicious meal is a first in my life. Qingxiu smiled and said, if you want to eat, come often. It's just a bit of extra money for me anyway. Li Yuan sneered, that big chunk of gold I gave you was supposed to cover a month's worth of meals. Qingxiu hesitated, feeling like he'd been swindled. After breakfast, Li Yuan patted his backside and laughed, I'm off. Take care, old Li. Just as Qingxiu was about to take a breather after seeing him off, the head bodyguard who had performed stick tricks earlier returned. The bodyguard grabbed Qingxiu by the collar and said angrily, kid, show some respect. You dare call him old Li? Next time you see our master, you call him Master Li, got it? Qingxiu's expression darkened, are you teaching me how to behave? Hey, the bodyguard's eyes widened, what, are you gonna resist? Qingxiu sneered, I called him old Li and he didn't mind. Who do you think you are? You ungrateful brat. The bodyguard looked around, found a leftover wooden post thicker than a bowl. Feel it. Come on, touch it and see what this is. The bodyguard forced Qingxiu to feel the post. Qingxiu impatiently said, it's a wooden post. What are you trying to do? Humph, the bodyguard sneered, dropped the post on the ground, and kicked it hard. With a crack, the thick wooden post snapped in two. He brushed the dirt off his boots and sneered, see that? If you disrespect the master again, this post is your fate. Then he walked off. When the bodyguard got to a secluded spot, he suddenly grimaced, held his foot in pain, sweat pouring down. After taking off his boot, his instep was swollen. Qingxiu, watching through his inner vision, couldn't help but laugh. Why bother? All for pride, all for suffering. Looking at the bamboo pole in his hand, Qingxiu muttered, time to make a weapon for self-defense. If things continued like today, wouldn't he just become everyone's punching bag? He dragged out a lump of iron the size of a human head from the house and walked toward Wang Tiniu's home. Wang Tiniu was the blacksmith in Sanha village. All the farm tools were made by him. He was well known in the nearby areas. Of course, his skills couldn't compare to the state craftsmen of the Tang dynasty, so Qingxiu planned to forge the weapon himself. Wang Tiniu greeted him with a laugh, Lord Qing, I was just about to visit. Why did you come in person? Qingxiu also smiled, Brother Tiniu, I want to use your forge for some ironwork. Wang Tiniu patted his chest and said, just tell me what weapon you want, I'll forge it for you. Qingxiu shook his head, what I need to forge, you can't make. I'll do it myself. Wang Tiniu hesitated, you're so skinny, if the village chief finds out I let you work here, I'll be punished. Forging takes strength, and you can't manage that. Who says I can't? Qingxiu walked over to the grindstone and effortlessly lifted it with both hands. Heavens! Wang Tiniu was shocked. That grindstone weighed over 300 to 400 jin, 150 to 200 kilograms. He usually could barely lift it for a moment, yet Qingxiu lifted it like it weighed nothing. Convinced now? Convinced, Lord Qing. I'll light the fire for you. Wang Tiniu started lighting the furnace, and when Qingxiu saw he was using charcoal, he asked, why not use coal? Charcoal burns at a lower temperature and can't refine iron well. Coal burns hotter and is better for forging. Coal? Wang Tiniu asked, puzzled. Wait a second. How did you know I'm using charcoal? Aren't you blind? Qingxiu's heart skipped a beat, he almost forgot he was supposed to be blind. He calmly replied, I heard it when you lit the fire. Oh, that makes sense, Wang Tiniu said, realizing. Qingxiu explained, coal is a black rock that burns. Oh, you mean black fire rock. We have some, but it's hard to ignite, so I've always used charcoal. Qingxiu checked the forge. There wasn't even a blower, no wonder it didn't get hot enough. Since there was no electricity, a mechanical blower wasn't an option, but a bellows might work. So, Qingxiu went home, drew a design, and found a carpenter named Zhang. Zhang was clever, and after 2 days of work, he built the bellows. They dug a hole in the forge and aligned the bellows nozzle with the furnace interior. One push and pull, flames roared. For the next half-month, Su Xiaochun and the Zhang couple kept making rice-puffed balls to build up capital. Master Li still came every day to mooch a meal. At noon, he'd eat from the big communal pot, gradually bonding with the villagers and joking with them occasionally. The head bodyguard kept showing up every few days to threaten Qingxiu, but it was useless. Qingxiu still called him Old Li. One day, Qingxiu caressed the newly forged, polished tang sword, very pleased. It had no hilt yet, just the blade, covered in beautiful patterns. When someone focuses entirely on one task for days, they're bound to excel, like swordsmithing. Though it couldn't match the craftsmanship of modern forged blades, in the Tang dynasty, it was sharper and tougher than any sword. It was made from refined steel after half a month of forging, incorporating special techniques like folding, twisting, and sprinkling borax to remove impurities. He tested it on a wooden post as thick as a bowl. It split with one stroke, the cut clean, the blade undamaged. Truly a divine weapon. He installed a round sandalwood hilt, nailed it firmly, then hid the sword inside a blind cane, the hilt and cane perfectly merged. Qingxiu was very satisfied with his sandalwood cane sword. Sanha village was now changing every day. Not only had Qingxiu's residence been completed, but even all the outer walls were coated with cement. Qingxiu had also spent over 100 taels of silver to renovate the interior. He hired carpenters from the nearby towns to lay wooden floors made of Chinese fir inside. Even the interior walls were covered. Although it looked similar to a regular brick house from the outside, the interior was another world entirely. The wooden wall panels were painted with exquisite decorative patterns, and even a high-ranking official like Old Li couldn't stop praising them. He insisted that Li Taiqing help build him an estate even bigger than Qingxiu's, with more houses. After being baked with charcoal fire for 15 or 16 days, the new house could be moved into. However, during the stage when the wood panels were being laid, Qingxiu moved the thatched hut into the courtyard, which greatly improved his privacy. Not only his house, some villagers also began renovating their homes, with progress advancing rapidly. Although the rice puff ball business wasn't as hot as in the beginning due to more people making them and city folks losing interest, they still sold out every day. It just took longer. Apart from the 100 taels spent on home renovation, plus the silver exchanged from the big gold ingot Old Li gave them, Su Xiaochun, the money keeper, had already saved up 700 to 800 taels of silver. Her greatest daily joy was counting money. That day, Li Taiqing brought 2 elderly men of similar age into the residence. The 2 old men were instantly stunned by the indoor scene, their eyes filled with envy. Even noble mansions weren't much better than this. Qingxiu, I came to discuss something with you. Qingxiu stood up and smiled. Uncle Li, please sit. You 2 uncles, please sit too. Wife, bring some cool boiled water. Coming. Su Xiaochun brought a pot of water and 3 teacups to the table and left. One of the old men said in surprise, Taicheng, didn't you say our Lord can't see? How did he know there are 3 of us? Li Taicheng laughed and explained, don't underestimate Qingxiu. Though he's blind, his heart isn't, and his ears are sharp. Qingxiu chuckled and asked, Uncle Li, what brings you here? Li Taicheng didn't hide it, this is Brother Ma, and this is Old Zhang. They were comrades of mine when I served in the army. Hello, Uncle Ma. Hello, Uncle Zhang. Qingxiu greeted them politely. Ma Lauer quickly replied, no, that won't do. You're the Lord, and we're village heads managing your lands. How can you greet us? That breaks protocol. Please don't do that again. Old Zhang also said, Brother Ma is right. We'll be under your command from now on. Qingxiu remained polite, saying they were elders, but Ma Lauer and Old Zhang refused to accept it. Qingxiu had no choice and said, well then, I'll call you Old Ma and Old Zhang. Ma Lauer and Old Zhang finally smiled. Li Taiching said, Qingxiu, you know I'm straightforward, so I'll get to the point. Please go ahead. Qingxiu gestured for him to speak. To be honest, Brother Ma is the village head of Dayton Village, and Old Zhang is the village head of Jiuli Village. Life is improving daily in Sanha Village, but in their villages, people are still struggling, many don't have enough to eat. These 3 villages are all your fiefs. If their lives are hard, it reflects poorly on you as their lord. I came today to ask if you could let their villages also do the rice puff ball business. Old Ma and Old Zhang looked nervously at Qingxiu. They both knew rice puff balls were very popular in Chang'an, and every family in Sanha village had made money from them. But Qingxiu shook his head. Old Ma and Old Zhang looked disappointed. Qingxiu then smiled and said, Old Ma, Old Zhang, you might not know this, but the rice puff ball business is already declining. It's not a long-term plan. With so many people in Sanha village doing it, the market is saturated. If people from your villages also start doing it, not only will business become harder, you might not earn money at all. But don't worry, I can arrange other businesses for your villages. What kind of business? Old Ma and Old Zhang perked up. Qingxiu said, I have a plan to merge our 3 villages and manage them together. What do you think? Merge? All 3 were stunned and looked at each other. Old Zhang smiled, no objections from me. Old Ma nodded, no problem. Li Taiqing laughed, even better for me. A merged village can support each other. Qingxiu nodded, good, it's settled. Old Ma and Old Zhang, count how many households are in your villages and report to me. With a month left before spring planting, we'll bring all able-bodied men to Sanha village to build houses. There was no need to worry about limestone and sand, Old Li had agreed to cover it all. The village just needed to make bricks. With more people, we'll try to build brick houses for every family within a month, and then relocate them all together. But, for now, there's no wages, just 3 meals a day. Old Ma was overjoyed and bowed, thank you, Lord. On behalf of the people of Dayton Village, I thank you. Old Zhang also stood and thanked him. Li Taiqing snorted, humph. These brick houses are for them. If anyone dares ask for wages, I'll chop them down. Free brick houses and still not satisfied? They must be dreaming. Qingxiu laughed, it's not that I'm stingy, there are too many people. I can't afford wages for now. All I can do is improve living conditions. When I'm richer, wages won't be a problem. Also, one more thing, Qingxiu said. I heard there are many retired soldiers in our 3 villages. I want to recruit a group of strong guards, 50 spots, 1 tael of silver per person per month. According to regulations, a baron could recruit 50 guards and 50 servants. Of course, you had to support them yourself. Some lords weren't wealthy and could only recruit a few servants, raising guards was expensive. Old Ma and Old Zhang's eyes lit up. They said in unison, Lord, can we serve as your guards? 1 tael was more than a few months' salary. Qingxiu twitched his mouth and smiled bitterly, you 2 are already over 50. He was really worried their old bodies might fall apart one day, how could they be guards? Li Taiqing scoffed, so what if we're over 50? Back in the day, I could kill dozens in one battle. Old Zhang is even better, his Tang swordsmanship was unmatched. General Yuqi of the state of Yi, General Cheng of the state of Lu, you've heard of them? Back then, it took both of them together to barely suppress Old Zhang. His swordsmanship is one of a kind. Don't underestimate us old folks. Li Taiqing thought, I used to be a bodyguard to the retired emperor. How could I be weak? Qingxiu asked doubtfully, really? Old Zhang got anxious, Brother Taicheng, bring your sword, I'll show Lord a few moves. Don't be fooled by my age. I train my sword skills daily without slacking. A treasure sword doesn't age, and neither do I. No need. Just use this stick, Li Taiqing handed Old Zhang a stick. Old Zhang snorted, my real name is Zhang Qingshan. They call me Old Zhang the Blade, it's a nickname my brothers gave me. If I didn't have real skills, how would I get that name? Lord, watch closely. Old Zhang then started performing with the stick. The stick danced powerfully with precision and finesse, not a battlefield style, but a style where every strike was lethal, aimed at vital spots. After finishing the routine, Old Zhang leapt lightly and landed on a 3-meter-high roof, leaving Qingxiu stunned. A master. This Old Zhang was definitely a martial arts master. There are truly hidden dragons and crouching tigers among the people. An old man over 50 years old jumped more than 1 zhang, 3.3 meters, with ease. One could only imagine how incredible Zhang Laodao's skills were when he was young. I believe it, I believe it. Qingxiu quickly nodded, Laodao, come down now. My house is newly built, I don't know if the beams are sturdy. If you step through it, we'll have to rebuild. Zhang Laodao jumped down with a proud smile, how was that, Lord? Qingxiu nodded, I can tell, you really have skill. Fine, from now on you'll be one of my household guards. What about me? What about me? Ma Lauer panicked when he heard this. A job with 1 tael of silver per month couldn't be missed. For an average household, a couple would work hard all year to grow food, and even if they sold everything, they might only earn 2 taels. 1 month's salary equaled nearly a year's income for a farmer, who wouldn't be tempted? Li Taicheng explained, Qingxiu, don't look down on Brother Ma just because he's 60. His skills are no worse than Laodao's. He can break a post as thick as a bowl with 1 kick. Regular soldiers can't even get near him. This reminded Qingxiu of the head bodyguard Feng Fei, who tried to kick a post and ended up limping for days. Since Zhang Laodao was so impressive, Ma Lauer couldn't be much worse. So Qingxiu happily agreed to let Ma Lauer join the guard team too. The two of them stood upright, raised their right fists, pounded their chests, and shouted in unison, I, Ma Lauer, I, Zhang Laodao, swear to serve as guards for Lord Qing. We will follow him through fire and water. If we break this vow, may heaven punish and earth destroy us. Qingxiu nodded. In that case, go back to your villages and gather all the veterans who served in the army. Bring them to Sanha village. Ma Lauer and Zhang Laodao accepted the order and left for their respective villages. After the two left, Qingxiu asked, puzzled, Uncle Li, why haven't I seen Lord Li? Lord Li had been in the village for half a month, always seen with Li Taicheng. Qingxiu even suspected they might be in a romantic relationship. But seeing how respectfully Li Taicheng treated old Li, he dismissed the idea. Li Taicheng laughed. Lord Li has been away from home for over half a month. His family missed him, so he returned to Chang'an to check in. He'll be back in a few days. Qingxiu said, Uncle Li, we're about to form a guard unit and need war horses. Since I can't see, I can't tell good ones from bad. Could you go to Chang'an and pick out 50 young war horses for me? Li Taicheng frowned. Qingxiu, war horses aren't cheap. A good 2 to 3-year-old costs at least 7 or 8 taels. With saddles, 50 horses would cost 5 or 600 taels. Qingxiu said, 5 to 600 taels is acceptable. Li Taicheng stood up. In that case, I'll take Taizhu and Xuanji and head to the western region's merchant. Qingxiu asked Su Xiaochun to bring 600 taels of silver. When he handed it to Li Taicheng, he nearly cried. The pain was like bleeding. After Li Taicheng left, Su Xiaochun hugged the much-shrunken money pouch and sat on a small stool. Her already full and plump buttocks wrapped the stool completely. She muttered resentfully, all the savings we earned over 2 months, gone in a single day. Qingxiu laughed. Money is meant to be spent. We'll earn more. Wife, some money must be spent. Think about it, we got rich, and everyone in a 10-mile radius knows it. If bad people come to steal or rob us, can we defend ourselves? They might even kill us. I'm hiring guards to protect our safety. Su Xiaochun trembled and showed a fearful expression, so that's why. As the head of the house, I was being narrow-minded. That money really should be spent. But 50 guards mean 50 taels of monthly expenses, sigh. Su Xiaochun looked troubled again. Qingxiu pulled her into his arms and casually took over the dishes meant for the future child. The round buns were so cute, 2 bunny-like little noses quivering on her flushed, tender face. Her soft, plump but pressed against his leg. Su Xiaochun stiffened, her rosy cheeks shy and warm. Her misty peach blossom eyes trembled. Husband, you're teasing me again. You're my wife. If I don't tease you, who will? Don't worry about the money. It's just a few hundred taels. I promise I'll earn back the 600 taels in 3 days. Do you believe me? I do. I believe in you, husband, mm'd. No more teasing Su Xiaochun. He could control himself, but she might not be able to. That afternoon, Ma Lauer and Zhang Laodao brought all the men from their villages to Sanha village. Combined with Sanha's own men, there were 260 people, more than 100 of them veterans. But many were missing limbs, some with one eye, others missing ears. This didn't matter to Qingxiu. He picked 50 veterans around 30 years old and gave each one a horse and 100 copper coins. The rest would be settled at month's end. Watching the happy veterans with their horses and money bags, Qingxiu said seriously, don't get too happy. If anyone betrays me, I'll kick them out without hesitation. Not just Sanha village, I'll make sure they can't survive even in Chang'an. Sometimes combining kindness with fear works better than being soft-hearted. Old Blackhead turned around fiercely, glaring at the guards and said, Lord Qing is building houses for everyone so you can all live in brick houses. He's giving every household a way to live, letting your wives earn money and your kids eat and dress well. A lord like this is your ancestors' blessing. If anyone betrays the Lord, and I, Zhao Sanhai, find out, I'll skin them myself. Then old Blackhead winked at Qingxiu and Li Taicheng. Li Taicheng smiled silently, and Qingxiu understood. Zhao Sanhai was the enforcer Li Taicheng placed in the guard team. As for who played the good cop, that remained to be seen. Zhao Sanhai was 33 years old. The name came from the local veterans in the nearby villages. First, he was dark-skinned. Second, his methods were brutal. Third, his heart was ruthless. There were many stories about Zhao Sanhai, killing enemies without blinking, wearing enemy heads on his belt, even drinking from skulls hollowed out from Turkic warriors. At one time, mentioning his name could stop children from crying. Zhao Sanhai's speech did scare all the veterans present. Black Grandpa, count me in when you're skinning someone. I'll be your helper. Everyone in our villages knows your reputation. Whoever betrays the Lord, I'll tie them up and send them to your place for skinning. The Lord gave us silver and horses. A lord like him is 1 in a million. Don't worry, Lord. We've lived through hard times and know who treats us well. We'll never betray you. A man with a fear scar on his face grinned. I, Wei Laojiu, swear, if I ever betray the Lord, no need for old black to act, I'll cut my own throat. Wei Laojiu was a ruthless man. He had 9 brothers who joined the army, 8 died in battle. He was the last one left in the Wei family. Qingxiu nodded in satisfaction. Next, it was time to hand out some sweet dates to every household. Qingxiu divided the 50 household guards into 5 squads, each with 10 men. The 5 squad leaders were Zhang Laodao, Ma Laoer, Zhao Sanhai, Wei Laojiu, and Wang Taizhu. Zhang Laodao served as the chief captain, Ma Laoer as the deputy. The two would discuss matters, with Zhang Laodao having the final say. As for Wang Taizhu, Zhang Laodao assigned him to Qingxiu's personal guard team, responsible for his safety. Qingxiu also created a daily training plan for the guards. Zhang Laodao led the training. Every day they had to run 5 kilometers carrying 30 jin, about 15 kilograms, and Zhang the carpenter also built some obstacle courses on the threshing ground. As for the other men, they were all put into the house construction team. Even though they only got 3 meals a day, they all knew the brick houses with their own yards were also for them, so they worked extra hard. Every day, 200 shirtless men ended up covered in dust. Sanha village was truly changing daily. Almost every day a new house was being completed. All housing construction had been entrusted to Li Taicheng. And to be honest, Li Taicheng was a very capable builder. He arranged the homes of the 50 guards around Qingxiu's own estate. This formed a natural fortress, with layers inside and out, protecting Qingxiu's home in the center. Over time, Sanha village attracted the envy of nearby villagers. Every day, people brought their families to look for work, asking only for a lunch meal in return. In these times when people couldn't even eat, one meal could save a family. Qingxiu didn't refuse anyone, he just made a bigger pot of rice. In just 5 days, more than a dozen small homes were built. Life was full of energy in the village. Early that morning, before starting work, Qingxiu asked Li Taicheng to gather all the villagers at the threshing ground. Standing on the millstone, Qingxiu spoke, starting today, I'm setting some rules for Sanha village. It's summer now, and the men sweat a lot while working. Some of you stink so badly it makes it hard to breathe. My wife told me she saw lice crawling out of your hair. Our village respects culture, we must also be clean, and hygiene has to follow my rules. Although Qingxiu couldn't see, his nose worked just fine. Though everyone now looked like anime characters in his vision, he could smell them from meters away. Their greasy hair could be used to cook, with bugs crawling all over their heads. Several times he nearly threw up. So, the first rule is hygiene. After work each day, you must wash your clothes and your bodies. Every day. Starting today, I'll have village headly inspect every household. If anyone stinks or has bugs in their hair, they'll be banned from working here, and their brick house will be taken back. As soon as people heard their house might be taken if they weren't clean, every household panicked and vowed to bathe that night in the Ba River. Qingxiu continued, also, you must wash your hands before meals. No peeing or pooping anywhere you like. Every brick house has a dry toilet. Those without brick homes yet must use the public toilet 200 meters east of the village. If I catch a man peeing or pooping anywhere, I'll have Zhang Laodao cut off his private parts and feed them to dogs. All the men, including the guards, were terrified and instinctively covered their crotches, feeling a cold breeze blow below. Some women blushed and giggled. Qingxiu frowned, what are you laughing at? You women are no exception. If I catch you squatting anywhere, I'll drag you out and make the whole village watch. The women all turned pale, gaining a whole new respect for this newly arrived lord. Qingxiu's authority had already been established a few days earlier when the guard team was formed. People from all 3 villages feared him. Even if the lord was blind, his heart wasn't, nothing could be hidden from him. After explaining the hygiene rules, Qingxiu went home. Since his estate was big, he moved the rice puffball workshop into it. Lu Laosan and his wife came daily to help, even their 2 kids helped around. Thinking of the knife technique Zhang Laodao showed a few days ago, Qingxiu pulled out his cane sword and practiced the few moves he remembered. He thought about asking Zhang Laodao for guidance. Having one skill meant self-defense. But after just a few moves, he was surprised to see in his mind's anime world a replay of Zhang Laodao's blade routine. It began playing over and over. Whoa, it can do this? The anime world actually had a replay function. It made Qingxiu extremely excited. No, wait. Qingxiu noticed that some of Zhang Laodao's movements were different from what he had originally done. In fact, they were even more refined and flawless, no openings in any move. The anime world not only recorded the moves but had even optimized them? Excited, Qingxiu began practicing according to the improved version. The core of the technique was speed, accuracy, and fierceness, only attacking, no defense. As long as it was fast and deadly enough, there was no need for defense. One strike could kill. In just 3 days, Qingxiu learned the whole set. All that was left was to get better at it. With daily practice, he could become a sword expert like Zhang Laodao within 2 months. Aside from making rice puff balls, Su Xiaochun's favorite pastime was watching her husband train. She often cheered and praised him. Lu Laosan, a former soldier, recognized the power of the blade technique immediately and would practice a few moves with him. Sadly, he had a limp, otherwise, he could have become a sword expert too. Even with just a few moves, Lu Laosan's skill improved significantly. Besides learning Zhang Laodao's technique, Qingxiu also began practicing Japanese-style aikido, drawing and sheathing his blade 50 times a day. His control of the cane sword grew more refined. Outside the courtyard, light and cautious footsteps approached. Qingxiu used his inner vision and saw it was Yunyang. He turned his head and said, "Wife, Yunyang is sneaking around at the door. Go see if she has something important." Su Xiaochun put down her work and quickly went out. She no longer needed to take care of her husband, she knew how sharp Qingxiu's ears were. He could hear and even recognize who was walking from far away. She was used to it by now. Soon, Su Xiaochun brought Yunyang inside. Seeing Qingxiu, Yunyang dropped to her knees, choking with sobs. "Lord, my mother-in-law is sick. Could you lend me some silver to buy medicine? If you help me, I'll work like a slave to repay your great kindness." Yunyang started kowtowing, her forehead banging on the ground. In no time, it was swollen and bleeding. Su Xiaochun quickly helped her up and scolded her. "Yunyang, the Lord hates people kowtowing to him. Look, you're bleeding. Get up. We can talk." Qingxiu frowned. "Aunt Zhang is sick? Why didn't you say so earlier? Wife, go get 10 taels of silver. Treating the illness comes first." Yunyang cried like falling petals, looking pitiful and panicked. She shook her head desperately. "No, 10 taels is too much. I only need 1 tael. Taizhu, come in." Qingxiu raised his voice, his shout echoed far. Soon, Taizhu arrived with several guards. "Lord, what are your orders?" Qingxiu gave him 10 taels of silver and said, "Go hitch the cart and take Aunt Zhang to see a doctor in Chang'an." Taizhu said nothing more, took the money, and went to prepare the cart. After everyone left, Su Xiaochun wanted to say something but hesitated. Qingxiu asked, "Wife, do you have something to say?" Su Xiaochun sighed. "Husband, Aunt Zhang was sold to a brothel when she was young. She stayed there for over 10 years and served hundreds, maybe even thousands, of customers. Because she caught a woman's disease, she was kicked out of the brothel. It was old Zhang who kindly took her in, and the two became a family. I heard that the son Aunt Zhang gave birth to had a congenital problem and couldn't perform as a man. After he married Yunyang, he often beat her and Aunt Zhang. A few times, he almost choked Yunyang to death. The illness was congenital. Zhang Debao hated Aunt Zhang deeply. To make a name for himself, he once became a eunuch in the palace, but for some reason he was quickly kicked out. Later, he became a bandit because he couldn't stand the hunger. In just a few days, he was caught and beheaded. Yunyang once took Aunt Zhang to many doctors, but none could treat her illness. She could only stay home and wait to die. Recently, Aunt Zhang's condition has gotten worse every day. The illness has even reached her eyes, she's blind now. Yunyang said her lower body has rotted. Hearing this, Qingxiu's hair stood on end. He shook his head and said, "Say no more. Aunt Zhang and Yunyang are both pitiful people." By evening, Taizhu returned. He handed the remaining 8 taels of silver to Su Xiaochun and reported to Qingxiu, "Sai, Lord, Aunt Zhang is done for. I found the most famous doctor in the city. He said she's beyond saving, the disease is in her bones. She only has a few days left." Qingxiu nodded, "Got it. You may go." Taizhu cupped his fists and left. Aunt Zhang lay in her dark, damp room on a straw bed, weakly sighing. "Ah, Yunyang, I told you, this disease of mine can't be cured. Why waste silver on an old dying woman like me?" Yunyang stood beside her, gently replying, "You're my mother-in-law. I'm your daughter-in-law now. If my mother-in-law is sick, it's my duty to take care of her." Aunt Zhang's cloudy eyes filled with tears. "Yunyang, you've suffered these years. Such a good girl, living like a widow with me, this old dying woman. It's my fault for holding you back." "Mother-in-law, don't say that," Yunyang said, crying. Aunt Zhang said, "My life is worth nothing. But you're still young, your life is long. You can't go on like this. I used to be a famous prostitute in the brothel. I was one of the best at serving men. Come here. Let me teach you everything I know about pleasing men. After I die, find a good husband. With these skills, you'll win any man's heart." Yunyang blushed and said shyly, "Mother-in-law, what are you saying? I don't have many days left. If you don't learn now, I won't die in peace. By midnight, Yunyang's eyes were wide open, her face red, and she whispered, you can do that too. But with the mouth. I can't do it. Oh, mother-in-law, even there too. Yunyang looked down at her full, raised chest in disbelief. All right, she had learned something new. The next morning, Li Taiching arrived at Qingxiu's home with a grim expression. His first words were, Qingxiu, someone in the village died. Qingxiu was shocked. Died? Who died? Yunyang's mother-in-law. Early this morning, Yunyang found her hanged. She died peacefully. Yunyang asked me to come and see if you could help provide a proper coffin. At that time, coffins weren't cheap. A single coffin cost 2 or 3 taels of silver. Poor families wrapped the body in straw mats and buried it. Better-off families might spend a few dozen copper coins on a simple nailed-together coffin. But with the hot weather, a body couldn't be kept long. They had to buy a ready-made coffin. Where's Yunyang? Why didn't she come herself? Li Taiching replied, she said she had to go to Lantian County and likely already left. Qingxiu told his wife to give Li Taiching a few taels of silver to buy a coffin for Anzhang. He also hired a feng shui master to choose a good burial spot. That afternoon, after Yunyang returned from Chang'an, Li Taiching and some men helped bury Anzhang. While Qingxiu was practicing sword drawing, Yunyang arrived, knelt down in the courtyard, and pulled out a piece of xian paper covered in dense calligraphy. Qingxiu frowned. Yunyang, didn't I tell you? I hate people kneeling in front of me. If you have something to say, get up and say it. Su Xiaochun ran out and helped Yunyang up. She asked, Yunyang, what's written on this paper? With red eyes, Yunyang softly said, this is a deed of sale from Lantian County. You helped my mother-in-law with medicine and a coffin. I can't repay it, so I want to sell myself to your household as a maid. I just want food to eat. I can work. Yunyang looked up, her eyes full of pleading. Su Xiaochun didn't know what to say and turned to Qingxiu. Husband, what do you think we should do? Qingxiu said unhappily, what kind of nonsense deed is this? Read it to me. Yunyang replied, I can't read. Su Xiaochun's face turned red in embarrassment. Husband, I can't read either. Qingxiu snapped, you both can't read, and you think I can? I'm blind, I can't even see. Actually, he could see. But sometimes he had to pretend to be blind. Yunyang and Su Xiaochun turned red with shame and embarrassment. Yunyang stood up, I'll go find the village head to read it for you. Forget it. I don't want to lose more face. Give me the deed. Yunyang trembled and nervously handed him the deed. Without even looking, Qingxiu tore it to pieces. My house needs a cook. If you're willing, stay and be my cook. Don't go back to the old house. Stay in the side room for now. In a few days, I'll have a brick house built for you. If Su Xiaochun hadn't held her back, Yunyang would have knelt again. She cried and kept thanking him. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Madam. I'm willing. I'll be your cook for life. Enough. Don't bother packing. There's nothing of value in your home. Go tell the village head to tear it down. I'll have Xiaochun take you to town to buy some new clothes and bedding. Next to the main hall, the side rooms included the kitchen and 2 storerooms. One was emptied to become Yunyang's bedroom. For the next 3 days, Qingxiu practiced swordsmanship and taught Yunyang how to cook. She was smart and had talent for cooking, gradually learning Qingxiu's skills. Her job was to cook different delicious meals every day for Qingxiu and his wife. With Qingxiu's combined use of grace and authority, the village's hygiene rules were smoothly enforced. In just a few days, the stench on the men of the village was gone, and they even developed the habit of looking for toilets to urinate. If they couldn't get in line, they would rather hold it than go anywhere. Many men started to feel uncomfortable if they didn't bathe for a day. Everyone stayed clean daily, and even the air in Sanha village became much fresher. Even outsiders who came looking for work were selected based on cleanliness first. This led to people in nearby villages also forming good hygiene habits. If they weren't clean, they couldn't work in Sanha village, and no work meant no food. The thatched hut in Qingxiu's courtyard was already dismantled. He and Su Xiaochun naturally moved into the main house. After moving in, Su Xiaochun was so happy she couldn't stop smiling, touching this and that, staying busy and excited. At night, Qingxiu went to the bathhouse. Yunyang was busy boiling water. After Qingxiu finished bathing, it was Su Xiaochun's turn. Su Xiaochun seemed to sense what might happen that night, so she washed especially carefully and used a lot of floral honey to clean herself. She knew her husband liked cleanliness and didn't like sloppy girls. So after her bath, in addition to her natural scent, her body carried the fragrance of flower nectar. When Su Xiaochun came into the room, Qingxiu patted the spot next to him and said with a smile, "Wife, I've warmed the bed for you. Come quickly." Su Xiaochun blushed, walked over slowly, shyly, and a little nervously. Now that it came to this moment, she was a bit scared. But Qingxiu didn't care whether she was scared or not. After living like a monk for over 2 months, the moment to break abstinence was powerful. He reached out and pulled Su Xiaochun over. She let out a startled cry and instinctively tried to protect herself, shivering and whispering, "Husband, turn off the light." Qingxiu slapped her plump butt and said, "I'm blind. What difference does it make if the light's on or off?" Su Xiaochun covered her face and mumbled, "You're right, then let's leave it on." Indeed, it made no difference. The world he saw was with his mind's eye. The sight of Su Xiaochun as a little lamb, combined with the anime-style visuals, made Qingxiu instantly burn with desire. Su Xiaochun had just bathed. Under her outerwear, she wore a thin sheer robe, and her jade-like skin was faintly visible. True allure isn't full nudity but subtle, shy seduction. The visual impact of the anime-style sight reminded Qingxiu of ecchi manga. So the appraisal began. He first admired her delicate feet, fair and slender calves, and her long jade legs that could rival a leg model. Her figure was like a piece of art. Now that they lived in a large house with privacy, Qingxiu had no scruples. Soon, Su Xiaochun began learning vocal lessons in the room. Not until midnight did the candlelight go out and silence return. The next morning, Su Xiaochun got up first, carefully folded her most precious red plum blossom cloth, and placed it at the bottom of her treasure chest. Her face glowed with happiness as she headed to the kitchen, where she and Yunyang made breakfast for 3. For the next few days, Qingxiu was deeply immersed in Su Xiaochun's gentle embrace, unable to pull away. Only when Li Taicheng reminded him that lust is a bone-scraping steel blade did Qingxiu restrain himself a bit. Early today, Lord Li, led by Li Taicheng, visited his new house with a beaming smile and decided to move in that day. He even sent an invitation to Qingxiu to attend the housewarming celebration. This time, Lord Li didn't come alone. With him were 2 old men and a chubby boy around 7 or 8 years old. Through his anime vision, Qingxiu saw that the chubby boy was extremely cute. Though nearly round like a ball, he bounced around energetically, curious about everything. Old Li kindly pulled Qingxiu over and laughed, "Qing boy, come, try this fine tea I had shipped from Jiangnan." The 2 old men were visibly surprised, staring at the blindfolded Qingxiu. "Tisk, old Xiao, who is this kid that Lord Li treats so well?" Old Xiao shook his head, looking amazed, and whispered, "No idea. But to be treated like this by Lord Li, he must be someone unusual. Old Pei, just wait, Lord Li will surely introduce us soon." While a maid brewed tea, Old Li smiled and introduced, "Old brother Pei, brother Xiao, let me introduce, this lad is named Qingxiu. These bricks were made by him, and he even earned himself a barony in Lantian County because of it." Pei Ji and Xiao Yu were slightly disappointed, so he was just a baron. Both of them held much higher ranks, each was a duke of the state. Their statuses were several levels above his, but out of respect for Li Yuan, they didn't act superior. They just smiled politely. "Qing boy, this is Lord Pei and this is Lord Xiao. Just call them Old Pei and Old Xiao." Qingxiu didn't want to deal with too many titles. He cupped his hands and said with a smile, "Hello, Old Xiao. Hello, Old Pei." Pei Ji and Xiao Yu twitched at the corners of their mouths, clearly displeased but forced a smile. In the Tang dynasty, brewing tea meant drying tea leaves, grinding them, and adding scallions, ginger, garlic, pepper, salt, sugar, and other ingredients, cooking it into a pot of dark tea soup to drink. Qingxiu really couldn't stand this stuff. After just one sip, he spat it out. Old Li sneered, "Such fine spring tea, and you waste it like that." He then sipped it along with Xiao Yu and Pei Ji, pretending to enjoy it, calling it, tasting the flavors of life. Qingxiu had to drink 2 bowls of water to wash out the strange taste. Suddenly, an idea came to him, tea leaves? Why not use tea to make money? After all, the Tang dynasty didn't have modern tea processing methods. Promoting fried tea would be a hit. The current brewed tea only had a faint tea flavor, mostly overpowered by odd seasonings. Qingxiu decided to start making fried tea at home. Old Li mocked him, "Qing boy, you're still young. You can't appreciate the tea of life. When you're my age, you'll understand the meaning in this tea." Qingxiu curled his lip, "Old Li, no offense, but even my horse wouldn't drink your tea." Cough cough cough. Pei Ji and Xiao Yu glared at him. Li Yuan also widened his eyes, "What did you say? Even your horse wouldn't drink it? You know nothing. This is top-grade spring tea from Jiangnan. Who would feed it to horses? Don't talk nonsense." He even rolled his eyes. Qingxiu scoffed, "I don't have time today. Next time, I'll let you try my tea. Then you'll know what real tea is." Old Li slapped his thigh and cursed, "Brat. My tea is so sought after in Chang'an, people line up to drink it. Yet you dare speak so boldly? Fine, I'll go to your place next time and see what tea you can make. He was clearly offended. Then the chubby boy lordly brought ran out of the new house covered in sweat and cheerfully pointed to a room. Grandpa, I want to sleep in that room. I'm not going back to Chang'an tonight. I want to stay here with you. Old Li lovingly wiped his sweat and said with a smile, Qingke, look at you, sweating like that, don't catch a cold. You can't stay here. Later, you'll go back to the city with the guards. Why? The chubby boy looked upset. Old Li laughed, your father misses you every day. If you don't return, he'll come looking for you. I don't want him disturbing us here. So you must go back after lunch. The chubby boy pouted and sat aside angrily. Qingke? Hearing this name, Qingxiu frowned. As someone well-versed in Tang history, how could he not know the name Qingke? Li Tai, the second son of Emperor Taizong, also known as Prince of Wei, his childhood name was Qingke. Could it be? Qingxiu's mind raced. He thought to himself, Qingke calls Old Li Grandpa. Could Old Li actually be Li Yuan? An Old Pei and Old Xiao, wait, Pei Ji and Xiao Yu? Qingxiu finally understood. No wonder Old Li had such great power to help Sanha village haul in endless river sand and limestone. He was none other than the founding emperor of the Tang dynasty, the former retired emperor Li Yuan. However, even after learning Li Yuan's identity, Qingxiu decided to pretend he didn't know. If he exposed it all at once, not only would he have to bow every time he saw Li Yuan, but their interactions might no longer be as smooth as before. Li Yuan lovingly patted Li Tai's head and said, Qingke, listen to your grandpa. Return home this afternoon, or grandpa won't bring you out again. Though Li Tai was reluctant, he pouted and nodded. Qingxiu said to Taizhu, go home and have my wife prepare some meatballs and crispy pork, enough for 10 people. Yes, Lord, Taizhu replied and left. Meatballs and crispy pork are snacks from later times, crispy outside, tender inside, very appetizing. Now Yunyang had already mastered making meatballs and crispy pork, and Su Xiaochun also loved them dearly, eating a few pieces every meal. Soon, Taizhu and a guard returned carrying 2 trays full of meatballs and crispy pork. They must have come straight from the fryer, as the aroma of frying filled Li Yuan's entire courtyard. Qingxiu took a piece and smiled at Li Tai, little Qingke, come to uncle. Uncle will give you a tasty piece. Li Tai stared at the crispy pork in Qingxiu's hand, his throat bobbing, but still looked to Li Yuan. Li Yuan's mouth twitched, displeased, Qingke, go ahead, it's from Qing brother. Eat as much as you want. Qingxiu chuckled inwardly, he still wanted to especially share, but Li Yuan was too shrewd. Li Tai took a bite and looked blissfully happy, thanks, brother Qing. While chewing, Li Tai curiously asked Qingxiu, big brother, are you blind? Qingxiu smiled and nodded, yes, I'm blind. Li Tai said, you treat me to something so good, I'll tell father to arrange a doctor to treat your eyes. Qingxiu shook his head, no need, elder brother. My eye illness can't be cured, and I don't want treatment. Why? Li Tai asked, puzzled. Qingxiu sighed, nowadays, suffering is everywhere. If I see and help, it's a commoner's duty. If I see and don't help, it's a hero's failing. I know my limits, being unable to see works best for me. He wasn't a saint who could save everyone. Only the court could do that, he was just a helper. Also, he sensed his eye illness couldn't be cured. Why do you say so? Li Tai scratched his head and looked back at Li Yuan. Li Yuan's eyes widened and he puffed his beard, brat, what nonsense are you saying? You invented brickmaking and solved housing problems, that's already a great merit. Saving the world is for saints to do. You've done good but you're far from saintly. Qingke offered to find a doctor, that's his kindness. You don't acknowledge it? Humph. Qingxiu gave a wry smile, I know Qingke has a kind heart. People are naturally good in nature, but habits differ. Such a kind heart must have come from your teaching, Old Li. Li Yuan laughed heartily. Pei Ji and Xiao Yu murmured, people at birth are inherently good, habits bring them apart. Good, very good. Xiao Yu, being a Confucian scholar, recognized the weight of those words. He bowed to Qingxiu, your words reveal great truth. I'm moved, but I sense there's more. Could you recite it? Qingxiu thought a moment and began. People at birth are inherently good. Their nature's similar, their habits different. If not taught, nature will change. The method of teaching should be special. Rearing without teaching is the father's fault. Teaching without rigor is the teacher's laziness. Not study, not proper. Young not studying, old what for? Jade unpolished, no use. Person uneducated, no knowledge of right. As a son, when young, honor parents, teachers, friends, practice rights. Fathers and sons affectionate, husbands and wives harmonious. Fathers and sons loving, husbands and wives orderly. Elders friendly, juniors respectful. Rulers revered, ministers loyal. He paused briefly. He had trimmed much from the original three-character classic, remembering only so much as a child. Still, even this left Li Yuan, Pei Ji, and Xiao Yu speechless in amazement. Excellent, excellent! Pei Ji exclaimed. Xiao Yu clapped and cheered. Bravo, bravo! Li Yuan asked, his eyes shining, Qingxiu, did you write this? Qingxiu shook his head. I don't have that skill. Years ago, hunting in Qinling with my father, I met an elder who liked how I looked and taught me a few lines. He said it was from the three-character classic. There's more, but I forgot most of it. Li Yuan suddenly stood up, face flushed with anger. You little brat, this elder taught you something so precious, and you forgot it? Such treasured instruction. You wasted it. Some things Qingxiu didn't forget. He feared reciting the part about Tang Gaozu might cause Li Yuan's wrath. Fortunately, Qingxiu had no family record yet, avoiding serious trouble. He looked innocent. I was young, I couldn't memorize it all. Remembering even this much is hard. Li Yuan paced and said, tomorrow, I'll arrange a group to accompany you to Qinling to find this elder. Qingxiu waved it off. Old Li, just forget it. He must be over 100 years old, probably dead. Besides, if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be blind. If I see him again, I'll kill him. Li Yuan looked unbelieving. He's the one who made you blind? Yes. Qingxiu answered angrily. I met him a few times again, each time he taught me something. But 2 months ago, he said he was returning to the Jade Capital, then a flash of light and he disappeared. After that, my eyes went blind. I stumbled in the dark on the mountain for a long time, almost drowned in a river. If it weren't for Lu Laosan from Sanha village saving me, I'd be dead. Since then, I've never seen that old man who blinded me. Next time I do, I'll cripple him. He spoke with deep hatred, as if real. Since emperors are naturally suspicious, Qingxiu didn't believe Li Yuan wouldn't investigate his background. Planting a seed now would help him later, without sounding suspicious. Jade Capital? Li Yuan suddenly jumped in excitement, his face flushed and trembling. Not only Li Yuan but even Pei Ji and Xiao Yu stood up in shock. Their expressions said everything. Even the guards and household troops looked at Qingxiu in disbelief. The Jade Capital is an ancient name for the moon, with many legends saying immortals live there. Qingxiu was puzzled and asked, Old Li, where is the White Jade Capital? Why are you so excited? Li Yuan asked incredulously, you don't know where the White Jade Capital is? Qingxiu murmured, White Jade Capital, is it famous? He turned to Taizhu, Taizhu, do you know where the White Jade Capital is? Taizhu shook his head in confusion, Lord, I think I heard people say the White Jade Capital might be the moon. Qingxiu snorted, the moon is so high, how could people live there? Taizhu was speechless. At that moment Li Yuan pounced, trembling and face flushed, grabbed Qingxiu and shook his voice shouting, Are you sure that the old gentleman, before he left, said he was going back to the White Jade Capital? Qingxiu sneered, I might forget many things, but I will never forget that line. For 2 months I've dreamed about asking that old man in the White Jade Capital why he made me blind. Xiao Yu and Pei Ji looked at each other, their eyes full of shock and excitement. Li Yuan asked in a trembling voice, Brat, what else did that old gentleman teach you? Did he say anything else to you? Qingxiu thought and said, before he left, he said a poem. Quick, recite it for me. Qingxiu recited after a pause. He said, Heaven above is the White Jade Capital. 12 floors and 5 cities. Immortals stroke my head. Tie our hair and grant me longevity. Immortals, immortals indeed. Li Yuan looked up in wonder, jealousy and longing shining in his eyes, then with grief and anger said, You brat, you let immortals grant you the means for longevity and you let it slip through your hands. If I had met that immortal. He beat his chest in regret again and again. Qingxiu looked confused, what immortal? He didn't say he was an immortal, how do you know? Li Yuan lifted his hand to slap, but after hesitating, he lowered it and gritted his teeth, Brat, you wasted a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. The old man you met lives in the White Jade Capital. Isn't that obvious? Immortal? Qingxiu sneered. Can an immortal gouge out my eyes without reason? I don't want any so-called immortal longevity techniques, I just want my eyes back. Li Yuan was momentarily speechless. He stood up waving his hand, Fine, fine. If you're going to mock immortals and threaten to kill them, then you have no fate with him. He won't see you again. Back at his seat, Li Yuan beckoned Li Tai, Qin Ke, come here to Grandpa. Li Tai, chewing happily on a piece of crispy pork, didn't understand what was happening. Grandpa, you called me? Li Yuan pointed to Qingxiu as if he'd made up his mind, patted Li Tai's head and said, You must formally regard Qingxiu as your master. Have him teach you the immortals' techniques and skills. Then Li Yuan sneered at Qingxiu, Brat, even if you can't teach at all, if you don't take him as a disciple, I won't cut off the supply of your sand and limestone. You won't use them again. Qingxiu slammed his cane and shouted, "You're just abusing your seniority. Using your age as leverage to bully a blind man, what do you think you've accomplished?" Pei Ji and Xiaoyu gasped. It was the first time they had seen anyone speak to Li Yuan so disrespectfully. If Emperor Taizong himself were here, that person would be dead already. Head guard Feng Fei's breathing rushed, his gaze murderous, fists clenched. Li Yuan laughed triumphantly, "You're trapped. What can you do to me?" Qingxiu sneered, "I'll teach him, only if he does 3 kowtows and 9 prostrations properly. Otherwise, I won't accept him." Li Yuan nodded, "That is correct. Respecting teachers is traditional. Since today's housewarming and discipleship both fall on this day, we'll hold them together." Li Tai held his head and said, "Grandpa, I already have a senior, Wang Gue." Li Yuan scoffed, "Wang Gue? A sour scholar, how useful is he? You should take Qingxiu as your teacher and learn genuine skills." Li Tai asked in confusion, "Grandpa, what are these real skills?" Li Yuan looked wise and smiled, "You should ask Qingxiu." Li Tai's eyes lit up. He looked at the crispy pork. If he became a disciple, he could come here any time to eat. He rolled forward and knelt with a kowtow. Disciple Qingke kneels before Master Qingxiu. "Please accept me and teach me real skills." Li Yuan was pleased. Among his many grandchildren, Li Tai was his favorite, smart and filial. The boy fattened under Li Yuan's feeding. Qingxiu smirked. He hadn't expected the prince to be so pragmatic, jumping to take him as master. Qingxiu helped him up and smiled, "Then I accept you as a disciple. You can come to class anytime." Li Tai asked excitedly, "Master, what real skills will you teach?" Qingxiu replied seriously, "Whatever you want, like bathing in the clouds above the sky, helping the people, carrying tens of thousands of stones on one shoulder, driving away thousands of troops with one stroke. Is that real skill?" Even the 8-year-old's eyes widened with excitement, imagining himself wielding a great blade and slaying thousands of Turkic cavalry. Li Yuan's eyes nearly popped out. Pei Ji and Xiaoyu clearly didn't believe it. Li Yuan angrily asked, "Brat, if you can't teach Qingke these skills, what will happen?" Qingxiu smiled and gestured to the neck, "Behead me." Li Yuan, skeptical, asked, "How long would it take to learn your real skills?" Qingxiu enigmatically said, "Between 18 years and 1.5 years. Li Yuan nodded, "Fine. If 1 year passes and he hasn't mastered any, I will behead you myself." Li Yuan really couldn't understand Qingxiu's confidence. Maybe he really did learn immortal techniques. They then sat with Qingxiu, Li Taicheng, Pei Ji, and Xiaoyu. Dishes and wine were served. After 3 cups and many dishes, the banquet ended. Then Li Tai performed the ritual offering tea and officially became Qingxiu's disciple. Taking a prince as a disciple meant future safety, even missteps might be forgiven. Besides, Li Tai was Li Yuan's favorite, and his position would elevate Qingxiu as well. Li Yuan saw them off outside the village, his tone subtly threatening, "Friends, this is where I leave you. Don't spread what you've seen here in Chang'an." Pei Ji and Xiaoyu dared not reply and soon left by carriage. While old Li was seeing off his 2 old friends, Qingxiu set up a large iron pot and added tea leaves that Taizhu had bought from the city. He slowly fried them over low heat. After a bit, the courtyard filled with the aroma of tea. The jade green tea leaves gradually lost moisture as they were fried and shrank, turning into small nuggets. After half an hour, Qingxiu had produced over 3 jin of tea with a strong fragrance that was very refreshing. Su Xiaochun breathed deeply, enamored, "Husband, you're amazing. You turned bland green tea into such a rich aroma. Oh my, I love the scent." Qingxiu smiled as he transferred the tea leaves into a wooden jar. "Wife, go boil some water and bring 2 bowls. Let's taste the tea." "Yes, husband," Su Xiaochun replied excitedly and headed to the kitchen, with Yunyang following to help. After storing the tea, Qingxiu suddenly said, "Old Feng, since you're here, stop hiding. You're a personal guard to the official. How can you act stealthily? If you don't use the front gate, why climb walls?" Feng Fei jumped down from the wall with a dark face. Standing before Qingxiu, he said in a low voice, "Boy, I've put up with you for too long. You call Lord Li old Li, and I turned a blind eye. But you should never have insulted my lord by saying he's senile and abusing his age." "Oh?" Qingxiu smiled. "What do you plan? To beat me?" Feng Fei glared, "Do you really think I don't dare?" Qingxiu sneered, "If you dared, you'd have done it already." Feng Fei swung his sleeve and stepped forward, until Su Xiaochun rushed out with a kitchen knife. Her beautiful eyes were full of anger as she held the knife at Feng Fei. You dare strike my husband, I'll kill you." A warm feeling entered Qingxiu's chest. Su Xiaochun's voice trembled, she was terrified. Feng Fei, his face darkened, replied, "Madam, my lord is noble. You call him senile, this makes me angry. But rest assured, I won't harm your husband." I'll just beat him to teach him a lesson. Su Xiaochun's shaky legs carried her forward as she shielded Qingxiu behind her, anxiety etched across her face. Even Yunyang came out of the kitchen holding a fire poker. Though trembling, her look was determined. Qingxiu smiled, wife, big brother Feng is joking. Go boil the water. I'll invite him to drink tea. Su Xiaochun stubbornly replied, if he wants to beat you, it's not a joke. If he touches you, I'll fight him. It's shameless to bully a blind man, why not pick on someone normal? Feng Fei's face reddened as he was intimidated by her fierceness. He was stuck, unable to back down or strike. If you leave now, your dignity is lost. If you stay silent, you still lose face. Just then, Taizhu asked, Master, what's happening? He and 2 guards rushed in, one wielding a knife. Su Xiaochun cried, Taizhu, Lord Li's guard has gone mad. He's attacking my husband. Help! Taizhu's eyes widened. He angrily kicked Feng Fei, but Feng Fei stepped aside and snatched his ankle, tossing him across the courtyard. Qingxiu frowned, wife, we have guards here. You can't help. Stop causing trouble, go boil water. I won't, she began to protest. Qingxiu said sharply, wife, didn't you say you'd obey me? Now listen, step back. Su Xiaochun hesitated, then gripped the knife and slowly retreated to the kitchen doorway. Taizhu groaned, then shouted at the 2 guards, Xuanzi, Erguzi, didn't you see this bastard bully our master? Go fetch help. Keep your distance, Qingxiu ordered calmly. He won't harm me. Turning to Feng Fei, he said with a smile, Old Feng, if you can't fight, don't waste time. Sit and have some tea. Feng Fei's anger flared. He rushed forward, fists raised, but then Qingxiu drew his staff sword with lightning speed and it whistled in the air. Qingxiu stood expressionless, pulling out the hidden blade. The tip scraped along Feng Fei's throat, cutting a small slit. In one swift movement, the blade hovered at Feng Fei's throat. Feng Fei froze, cold sweat pouring down his back as hair stood on end. The strike was so fast he had no chance to react. Any deeper and he would have died instantly. Fear filled his eyes. Taizhu, Xuanzi, and Erguzi also stood frozen, staring at Qingxiu in shock. The kitchen knife fell with a clatter. Only then did the others realize the seriousness. Feng Fei looked at the blade at his throat, swallowed hard, sweating profusely. He had seen his hair sliced off, this staff sword was terrifyingly sharp. Qingxiu lowered his head and said coldly, Your lord calls this respectable, but is my life worthless? You come here threatening me. Do you think I'm too blind to fight back? Old Feng, Qingxiu said, voice low, you serve Old Li. If I killed you, he'd be angry. Be humble. Killing you would be as easy as emptying my pocket. He resheathed the blade and pointed to the gate, get out. Feng Fei's lips trembled. With steps like lead, he left silently. Once he was gone, Qingxiu exhaled deeply. His back and palms were drenched in sweat. Taizhu said, stunned, Lord, you're unbelievable, an unmatched master? Xuanzi, in awe, said, by heaven, that strike was too fast. Erguzi, envious, asked, Lord, can you train us too? Qingxiu said coldly, train you? Where's your courage? A thief could break in tonight and take your heads while you're still asleep. They hung their heads in shame, red-faced like monkeys' bottoms. Xuanzi, a fierce man, punched Taizhu's palm, Lord, don't worry. Next time someone tries to break in, I'll bring their head. Humiliation, this was a deep shame for guards. Qingxiu said, don't just talk, show me. The 3 left, heads bowed, like criminals. Su Xiaochun rushed to him, flushed with admiration. Through the anime vision eye, Qingxiu saw stars of awe in her eyes. Husband, you're incredible. That strike was divine, so cool. Qingxiu stood shakily, his legs trembling. Su Xiaochun held him, puzzled, was he weak? Did I overwhelm him recently? Her cheeks blushed as she decided he had to take it easy. Qingxiu smiled wryly, wife, I only know one strike. 1. Su Xiaochun stared in disbelief. Qingxiu nodded, yes. Luckily I fooled Old Feng. He's a true master. Among our 50 guards, apart from Old Dao and Old Ma, he alone could handle them all. If I hadn't deceived him, your husband's fate could have been grim. Thankfully, it worked. After that incident, Feng Fei and his guards never came looking for trouble again. Sure enough, when he left, Feng Fei's face flashed fear and uncertainty. Even sitting, his legs trembled. He was truly terrified by Qingxiu's unmatched strike. Commander Feng, what's wrong? A younger guard asked with concern. Feng Fei trembled, let's wait until the others arrive. Soon, 2 more guards who followed Li Yuan returned. Li Yuan, having drunk well, decided to take a nap. Li Tai, accompanied by the Wei Prince's guards, went to inspect the brick kiln and construction site. Feng Fei and his 3 subordinates gathered. One older guard frowned, Old Feng, what's wrong? Lost your spirit? Feng Fei took a deep breath and said gravely, that blind man, Qingxiu, is a master, we all underestimated him. What? He's a master? How powerful? All three became interested. Feng Fei forced a smile, so powerful it's absurd, a level you can't imagine. Fearsome enough that I couldn't even muster the will to fight back. Zhu Qinliang narrowed his eyes, Old Feng, how did you realize it? Feng Fei pointed to the blood mark on his neck, if he hadn't held back, I'd be headless. What? He dared strike you? They stared in shock. Feng Fei, filled with dread, said, he insulted the retired emperor today, calling him senile and abusing his age. I couldn't swallow that, so, as usual, went to threaten him, to teach him some respect. But instead of backing down, he drew his staff sword and nearly slit my throat. No, that strike could have killed me. He spared me. He warned us not to bother him again, or he would show no mercy. His technique is terrifying, he has reached a state of oneness with his weapon. The other three gasped, disbelief written on their faces. Feng Fei's expression was complex, he only struck once, and I was done. I'm certain that the four of us tied together couldn't match him. Chen Liang, Xiaobao, Liang Qing, from now on, let's never trouble him again. Xiaobao hesitated, but he disrespected the retired emperor, he insulted him. We can't just let that slide? Should we sneak in at night and beat him up? Feng Fei laughed angrily, are you stupid? Xiaobao, Liang Qing, you two together couldn't beat me. Even I couldn't stand around with Qingxiu. You'd be dead. Besides, he insulted the retired emperor and nothing happened. We don't need to uphold imaginary imperial dignity. From now on, just turn a blind eye. Want to hit him? Go ahead, but don't drag me into it. I'm done with all that. With that, Feng Fei lowered his head and left. The remaining three guards exchanged glances. They could tell Feng Fei was truly afraid, bone-deep fear. The wound on his neck was real, and they now believed Qingxiu was indeed a master. They resolved to be careful around him. Later, with the tea brewing and sold, Qingxiu made 3 bowls of tea from the fried leaves. The rich aroma filled the air. Su Xiaochun held her bowl, savoring it. Yunyang did too, though she wouldn't sit, she squatted by the kitchen entrance with her tea. Su Xiaochun put down her bowl, smiled, husband, this tea is strong and slightly bitter, so much better than that lousy boiled tea. Qingxiu nodded, yes. I plan to profit from frying tea. They had used 10 jin of fresh green tea shoots to make 1.5 jin of fried tea. Since 4 jin of fresh tea make 1 jin fried, fresh leaves cost 400 won per jin. Su Xiaochun's eyes lit up, imagining silver, husband, 10 jin yields 1.5 jin. How much can we price the fried tea? Qingxiu signaled with his palm. Su Xiaochun frowned, 500 won? Fresh is 400 won, so we gain 100 won per jin, that's okay. Qingxiu shook his head, smiling, no, 100 won is 100 won. I mean 2 taels of silver per jin. What? 2 taels? Su Xiaochun couldn't believe it. She asked anxiously, can we sell it for that? Qingxiu said mysteriously, not now. But once we promote frying tea, it will replace boiled tea. There are countless wealthy households in Chang'an, 2 taels for half a jin is hardly more expensive than brewing. Rich folks don't mind. Wife, how much silver do we have? Su Xiaochun looked pained, not much. With meals for the construction crew, we've spent a lot. We're left with just over 300 taels. Before building, we earned 30 taels a day. But now, half the income is gone. We haven't even paid the guards this month. These laborers, one day they can eat 2 whole pigs. Husband, should we reduce their meals? The silver is burning fast. She complained nonstop. Qingxiu smiled faintly, wife, more than losing silver, I worry about your wear. What do you mean? She asked, blushing with sudden embarrassment. He was flirting. Qingxiu laughed, wife, joking, why take it seriously? Give me 100 taels and I'll give it to the village women selling rice pop balls. Tell them to promote fresh jasmine rice pops in Chang'an. Su Xiaochun, still flushed, pouted, why jasmine pops? Qingxiu smiled mysteriously, promoting jasmine pops will bring big profits. Trust me, in half a month, our treasury barn will be full. Her eyes sparkled. Excitedly she nodded, all right, husband, I trust you. I'll do it now. Wait, give me another 200 taels for fresh tea. Now fully trusting his earning ability, she handed over 200 taels. She kept 100 taels to recruit women sellers. That left just a few dozen taels. Qingxiu summoned Taizhu, Xuanzi, and Erguzi, he gave each 10 taels to buy fresh tea. The rest was left to fate. At evening, Li Yuan and Li Tai arrive. Li Yuan smelled the tea fragrance and sniffed like an old hound. Even Li Tai closed his eyes, breathing deeply. Grandpa, master's home smells so good. Curious, Li Yuan asked, Qingxiu, why does your tea aroma smell so strong? He began to consider Qingxiu's earlier words. Boiling tea fed to horses was rejected, but this aroma might hide a better brew. Qingxiu smiled warmly. Old Li, you're here. I was just going to find you. Here, try my tea. He pinched some tea leaves into a bowl, poured hot water, and pushed it to Li Yuan. Li Yuan sniffed the bowl and his eyes widened in surprise. Is this your tea? Not boiled? Qingxiu shook his head and smiled. No boiling, this is my way of drinking tea. Try it. Li Yuan didn't hesitate. He sat on a small stool, sipped the tea and his eyes lit up. Not bad, light fragrance, slight bitterness, rich aroma. Such good tea. I've drunk boiled tea all my life but never tasted anything this pure and pleasing. Hearing Li Yuan's reaction, Qingxiu became even more certain that fried tea would make a fortune. Li Yuan could not stop praising the stir-fried tea, and he especially liked this way of drinking tea. No need to boil, no additives, just hot water, and the fragrance fills the air, refreshing the mind. Qingxiu asked, Old Li, why are you here at this time? Li Yuan put down his cup and said, Qingke has already accepted you as his teacher. Normally he'd stay here learning from you, but his parents miss him, so I came to discuss with you. Oh? What's the matter? Li Yuan took another sip and said, I plan to talk to his parents about letting him stay in the village to learn from you. Qingxiu nodded. I have no objection. Li Yuan got up. Well, I'll take my leave. But about your tea? Li Yuan glanced at the tea jar, his greedy gaze hard to hide. Qingxiu hugged the jar tightly and warned, Old Li, don't get ideas about my tea. This comes from 1,000-year-old tea trees, made over 49 days, can't just give it away. Li Yuan sneered, Boy, you really think I don't know you, you just want my gold. Feng Fei, give him money. Feng Fei feared Qingxiu greatly. He checked his pockets and said bitterly, Master, I only brought a few gold ingots, and have already spent them all. Li Yuan puffed his beard and glared, Bring more next time. Ha ha, Qing child, Qing noble, Li Yuan bent slightly with a scheming look, Give me the tea, and I'll go home and bring you gold in return. Qingxiu hesitated. Li Yuan frowned, Since when have I been stingy? A few gold pieces, I won't default. Qingxiu reluctantly handed over the jar. The old man was delighted. Qingxiu said, Don't give me gold or silver. Old Li, take the jar, but you must promise me one thing. Li Yuan narrowed his eyes, You tell me, then I'll decide. Qingxiu sighed, We're out of silver, can barely afford meals for laborers. I plan to open a tea shop in Ani Lane to sell tea, but people don't know its quality. I want you to help promote it in Chang'an. Li Yuan chuckled, If that's the case, one jar isn't enough. Add 2 more. Qingxiu smiled, That works. And since my shop will be here, you can take tea anytime, you'll always be supplied. Really? Li Yuan was delighted. Qingxiu nodded, Really? And this jar I gave is low grade. I have top grade tea too, can give you 10 or 8 jeans later. Ha ha, good, you're sensible. Don't worry, I'll promote it in Chang'an. Qingke, come, go home with your grandpa. Li Yuan left. Qingxiu grinned. When Su Xiaochun returned, he told her, Wife, you and old Zhang and old Ma Er should go to Chang'an. Rent a small, renovated shop on Ani Lane near East Market. Not too big, about the same as our grocery room. Install a sign reading Xinglong Tea Shop. Once that's done, I'll treat you tonight in bed. Then he handed the remaining 30 taels to Su Xiaochun. She blushed, teasing, Oh, you lecherous rogue, last night's fantasy. Say more, and I'll make you sleep alone tonight. Heh, wife, I know I was wrong. Go quickly. With a smack on her shapely backside, she shivered, bit her lip flirtatiously, and strolled off. Yunyang, watching from the kitchen doorway, covered her mouth shyly. Qingxiu said sternly, Yunyang, don't think I didn't see you peeking, did you want me to spank you too? Yunyang blushed fiercely and hurried back into the kitchen, turning shy and flustered while lighting the fire. Her first time teased by him left her heart pounding, causing the pot to scorch before she snapped back to focus. In Chang'an, riding back in the carriage, Li Yuan spoke to Li Tai. Qingke, after we get back to the palace, I'll personally ask your father if you can live in the village. Really? Li Tai was excited. Of course. If your father disagrees, I'll stay in the Wuda Hall and refuse to leave, humph. But Grandpa, you warned me not to tell my father or mother about any strange events in the village. Why? Li Yuan said, Qingxiu is proud and fearless toward imperial authority. If he knows the truth about me, your father might hold back, and with royal restrictions, Qingxiu may never fully show his abilities again. Understand? I understand, Li Tai answered. He saw Li Yuan's intent. Your grandfather doesn't want anyone to know his identity, that's part of why it's fun. I won't tell my father or mother. Li Yuan was satisfied. They journeyed on to the Wuda Hall. Emperor Taizong, upon seeing his father and beloved son, happily came down to greet them. "Father, why are you here at Wuda Hall? Haven't had dinner yet?" Taizong asked as he helped Li Yuan to a seat. Li Yuan no longer troubled court affairs or pressured Taizong, a relief considering the past elder brothers. Taizong appreciated his father's absence and focused on strengthening Tang's economy. Li Yuan shook his head, "Not yet. Son, I came to discuss something with you." "Please speak, father." Taizong listened earnestly. Though Taizong once killed brothers and nephews, he was fundamentally filial, devoted to his father. Li Yuan said directly, "I've been living in the countryside, staying with old friends from Jinyang's uprising. I spend my days chatting with them and observing public sentiment. It's peaceful there." Taizong nodded. Li Yuan continued, "The other day, I took Qingtai to Lan Tian. At only 8, he's already read the 4 books and 5 classics, understands etiquette and integrity. I want him to spend time living and learning among the people, maybe a year or 2. Taizong glanced at Li Tai with concern. Smart Li Tai smiled, "Father, I enjoy observing the people. As the saying goes, reading 10,000 books isn't as good as walking 10,000 miles. I'm only 8, but by seeing more, I can help you and father govern better." Taizong smiled affectionately and patted his head, "My Qingke is growing up, such a good boy." He turned to Li Yuan, "Father, I'm not opposed, just that Qingke is young, and my wife and I worry. 1 or 2 years is a long time in the countryside." Li Yuan smiled, "You can rest assured. I'll bring Qingke back every few days so you can see how much he's learned. That way," he said, "Qingke gains experience, you gain insight into the people, and it helps implement policies in the Zhenguan era. Son, it's a win-win, what's not to like?" Taizong nodded. "All right, father. But Qingke, you must return to the palace every few days." Li Tai gleefully promised, "Father, I will always remember you and mother, I'll return every few days." Taizong agreed, accepting Li Yuan's plan. Qingxiu replied, "Sir, Master Li has close guards, and Qingke also has close guards. With so many guards, both you and Qingke are very safe. Let's withdraw the 100 riders unit." Hearing this, Li Ji looked a bit embarrassed, then nodded, "Don't worry, father. Tomorrow I will withdraw the 100 riders. You and Qingke should still take along some guards when you go out." Li Yuan, who often manipulated senior ministers and knew how Li Ji assigned the 100 riders to watch him, understood this was a face-saving gesture. So Li Ji quickly withdrew them. Both were pleased, and Li Yuan's mood improved greatly. "Come, Ji, come and try the tea I brought." Li Yuan opened the jar of tea, filling Wuda Hall with its aroma. Even Li Ji, taken aback, swallowed and said, "Father, how can this tea smell so strong and refreshing?" Li Yuan proudly ordered, "Bring hot water and tea bowls." Hot water quickly arrived along with 2 delicate porcelain bowls. Li Yuan poured a handful of tea leaves, and Li Ji watched in wonder. "Father, this tea doesn't need to be boiled?" Li Yuan sneered, "Boiled tea is for commoners. A man of my caliber drinks steeped tea. This tea is precious, only boiled mountain spring water can bring out its mellow sweetness. Boiling would waste it." He just overturned Li Ji's understanding of tea drinking, and he enjoyed it immensely. He handed Li Ji a cup with a half-smile. "Ji, try my tea." Li Ji eagerly sipped, eyes shining, such tea. After decades of boiled tea, I never thought tea could be enjoyed this way, fresh, slightly bitter, smooth and with aftertaste. This is real tea." He realized boiling it was a waste. Even Li Tai, holding a cup, enjoyed every sip. Li Yuan glanced at the memorial under review with a red-circled line and frowned. "Drought?" Worried, Li Ji nodded. "Since New Year, no rain has fallen. In the Xiaoguan area, fields not irrigated by rivers are dry. Millet and wheat have died. Harvest is in half a month. Tens of thousands of households may lose everything. Even if taxes are waived, many will starve. I've asked the Ministry of Revenue to procure grain. But to prevent unrest, and since the treasury is low after sending treasures to the Turks, relief grain will arrive in batches." Li Yuan sighed quietly. Li Tai read the memorial seriously, noting it in his heart, and said, "Father, you have wise ministers and generals, Xiaoguan will get through this. I'll help you shoulder the burden." Li Ji felt reassured. "Qingke, you follow your grandpa among the people, and help relieve the emperor's worries." Qingke nodded earnestly. Li Yuan said, "Ji, as emperor, I shouldn't intervene. But I care for the people. Have you found a quick way to refill the treasury?" Li Ji shook his head sadly. "No, only rely on tax revenues from unaffected lands." Li Yuan sighed again. Li Ji smiled wryly. "In early Zhenguan, much must be done. Father, since you're aging, enjoy your retirement. By the way, may I have some of that tea?" Li Yuan hugged the jar and smirked, I paid a high price for this. If you want tea, go buy it yourself. Li Ji tried not to laugh, alright, I won't take it. But where did you buy it? In Ani Lane, at a tea shop. Give me a jar and I'll share some. If you want all of it, that's another matter. Li Ji hastily fetched a jar. Li Yuan pinchily put a pinch of leaves inside and left. Li Ji looked at the scant tea and smiled sadly, since it's available, he can't blame his stingy father. In Sanha village, bags of tea leaves and baskets of fresh jasmine puffed rice were delivered to Qingxiu's home. He asked Yunyang to help mix and stir-fry the tea with the jasmine puff rice. They worked until nightfall and produced dozens of pounds of jasmine puff tea. Though not as refined as the top teas, the added jasmine fragrance made it even more aromatic. Even Yunyang, stirring, couldn't stop sniffing as she worked. Looking at the dark sky, Yunyang worriedly asked, Master, it's dark and Mrs. Su hasn't returned, did something happen? Hearing this, Qingxiu also became concerned. Soon Taizhu brought in a note, Master, Madam asked a Chang'an city guard to send this letter. Qingxiu wanted to open it himself but, being blind, told Shuazi, bring someone who can read. A literate guard arrived, read the letter, written by Zhang Laodao, with awkward handwriting and some errors, and explained it after a while. Sending away the guards, Qingxiu said, Yunyang, we won't wait for her, let's eat first. Yunyang served 4 dishes and a soup, then brought her bowl to the kitchen door. She knew her place and refused to eat at the main table, always treating herself as a servant. Qingxiu, stepping out, said harshly, Yunyang, come inside and eat. No, no, master. Don't make me uncomfortable. I'm a servant, I can't eat with you and madam. She said firmly, refusing. Qingxiu angrily said, if you won't eat, I won't eat either. And I won't eat your cooking. Do you dare me to kick you out? Yunyang was timid. She began crying and slowly carried her bowl into the house, and he nearly laughed at how she clutched it close to her chest, using her bosom as a tray. Once she entered, he said, sit down and eat. Mrs. Su isn't here, but I can't finish 4 dishes and soup by myself. If you don't eat, it'll go to waste. We've barely started building, I won't waste food. With fear and relief, Yunyang nodded, then bent her head and ate, almost pressing her mouth to her chest. No one expected a formerly malnourished girl to have grown such. Qingxiu nodded in satisfaction, good. Eat up, it gives you strength to work. From now on, eat at the table. We don't have many rules. After you finish, help me fry tea. Yunyang flushed and hurried through her meal, afraid Qingxiu would scold her for eating slowly. After dinner, fire bowls were hung in the yard. Qingxiu and Yunyang worked until late into the quiet night, frying more than 10 caddies of jasmine tea and dozens of caddies of ordinary tea. Stretching, Qingxiu said, Yunyang, boil some water, I want to take a bath. Yunyang began boiling water. By the time Qingxiu finished bathing, it was already late at night. Exhausted by the day's work, he fell asleep soon after lying down. He didn't know how long he slept, but a sudden scream woke him, followed by loud clattering of pots and bowls falling. Qingxiu sprang up, grabbed his coat, took his cane, and rushed outside. The noise came from the shower room off the side chamber. Without hesitation he dashed in. Through his anime vision, he clearly saw Yunyang lying naked on the floor in the darkness, a metal basin and some clothes and a wooden comb on the floor beside her. Startled, Yunyang curled up, covering herself. Qingxiu asked anxiously, Yunyang, is that you? What happened? Indeed, in the dark he could see clearly, especially enhanced by his anime vision, and the scene was quite spectacular. Blushing, Yunyang stammered, no, nothing, master, I'm fine, I just slipped. Even with her left knee bleeding, she said she was fine? Qingxiu pretended not to notice. Outside, Shuazi's anxious voice called, Master, are you okay? Did someone break in? Qingxiu answered at the door, it's fine. There was a mouse in Yunyang's room, I killed it. Everything's fine. Thank goodness. Master, you should rest. I'll stand watch. Having learned from the Feng Fei wall climbing incident, Taizhu assigned 4 guards for night duty and would sound a gong if anything unusual happened. Qingxiu asked, Yunyang, did you get hurt? And no, Yunyang curled up more, replying weakly. Qingxiu said, tell me where you are. I'm blind. Let me help you up. Remembering his blindness, Yunyang relaxed and lowered her hands. Freed from covering herself, her imposing figure appeared in front of him. The sight stopped Qingxiu's breath, it was quite magnificent. Yunyang tried to rise, but pain shot through her knee and she collapsed again. Qingxiu rushed forward to support her, but accidentally touched something else. He frowned, huh? Yunyang, this isn't your arm, what part is this? Embarrassed, Yunyang tried to back away but he held firm. Finally, she pressed her forearm into his hand, Master, this is my arm. You grabbed the wrong place. He helped her up and scolded, how could you be so clumsy, falling in the shower? This is cement floor. Surely you're hurt. Tell me where it hurts. My knee, it hurts badly and it's bleeding, Yunyang said, voice trembling, almost in tears at her own foolishness. Since you're hurt, you can't stay here. I'll carry you back. He tossed aside his cane and lifted her in a princess carry. Throughout, he kept claiming his blindness as reason to brush against her 3 times. Blinded man hugging a lame woman, unforgettable. Heads up, he said, I can't see. Guide me. Yunyang, nearly in tears, said, Master, it's pitch dark. I don't have a fire striker. What do we do? Qingxiu sighed, I can't carry my cane while carrying you, so I'll just follow my feeling to bring you back. He staggered over to her room and placed her on the bed. Yunyang scrambled for the fire striker on the bedside. Eventually, she managed to light the candle. Since he was blind, she didn't worry about modesty. She checked her knee, a big wound, bleeding down her calf. She looked at Qingxiu, blushed, voice shaking, Master, you should go rest. All right, I'll leave. He turned and, bang, hit the wall. He rubbed his forehead. Damn, I nearly knocked myself out. Then he turned, slammed into the table, pushed it, and hit the wall again. Yunyang laughed out loud, then quickly sobered, worried, Master, wait, I'll escort you back to your room. Continuing to crash into things, he might never escape the room. With each bump, she felt anxious. She wrapped a light blue coat around him, shoes on, candle in hand, limped forward and supported him all the way to his bedroom. Noticing his bare, muddy feet, she blushed with tender concern. To see him worried about her that he didn't wear shoes warmed her heart. She saw her own blood on his abdomen. Softly, she said, Master, your feet are dirty and you're stained with my blood. Let me clean you. He didn't refuse. She limped back inside, bringing a basin of water. With him blind and no one else around, she didn't hold back. She wiped his blood, then his feet, and glanced at him as she worked. Having experienced such an intense moment, Qingxiu couldn't help a warm reaction. Spotting Yunyang inspecting him, he sighed, ah. She stopped and timidly asked, Master, why the sigh? He looked embarrassed and said, nothing. I'm just ashamed of how useless my body is. Understanding, she glanced at him, eyes shining. He shivered, startled, Yunyang, you. She silenced him by pressing 2 fingers to his lips. About half an hour later, candle in one hand and basin in the other, she limped back to her room. The next morning, Wei Laojiu arrived with several guards. Qingxiu instructed, Old Jiu, send this tea to Xinglong Tea Shop in Ani Lane, Chang'an. Give it to Madam to sell. Tell her, the jasmine-free tea is called Biluakun, and the jasmine tea is called Blossoming Jade Guanine. Make labels. Biluakun was a known name, Blossoming Jade Guanine was his name from last night, inspired by Yunyang and her anime vision. He continued, have her get some quality wooden barrels and tea jars. Price Biluakun at 5 taels per caddy, Blossoming Jade Guanine at 10 taels per caddy. Understood. Wei Laojiu nodded and had guards load over 200 caddies of tea onto carts. Yunyang, cheeks rosy, stood in the kitchen doorway and softly called, Ma. Master, breakfast is ready. Let's go eat. You come too. Blushing, she followed him and sat obediently. Qingxiu said, Yunyang, about last night, that. She almost buried her head but quickly stammered, Ma. Master, please don't mention it. I won't do it again. I won't cross the line. Startled, she stood, panic on her face. He took a deep breath and calmly said, I'm not blaming you. Sit and eat. From now on, when Madam isn't here, you serve me. Heh, men. Yunyang showed a face saying, of course you are. Inside the Hall of Martial Virtue. Civil and military officials were lined up in 2 rows. Li Er sat upright on the dragon throne and waved to the maid beside him, you all worked hard to come for the morning court. Distribute this tea to everyone, 1 cup each. Refill after they finish. Instantly, the hall was filled with the fragrance of tea, and the officials whispered to each other. Most were discussing the tea's aroma. Li Er said proudly, this is a tea drinking method I learned from the retired emperor. Have a taste. In the hall, the officials praised the tea making endlessly. Some even asked where the tea came from. Li Er was generous. The retired emperor said there's a tea shop in Ani Lane of the Eastern Market that specializes in this kind of tea. I've already sent people there. This tea has a fresh fragrance and a sweet aftertaste. It refreshes the mind. If you want more, you can go there after court. If you ask where new things spread the fastest, the answer is definitely Chang'an City. Especially the civil and military officials led by Li Er, who could influence all of the Tang dynasty's trends. Li Er just wanted to show off, but ended up benefiting others. Early in the morning, Li Yuan left the palace with Li Tai and guards. After arriving at the villa, they settled down. Usually, Li Yuan didn't disturb Qingxiu and his wife except for meals. Li Tai entered Qingxiu's house and, seeing Qingxiu with a black cloth over his face, respectfully bowed, "Master, your student is here for class." Qingxiu nodded. "Come, sit here." Li Tai sat on the left side of the small square table. Since ancient times, teacher and student don't sit face to face. The first to enter sits on the left, the later one on the right. Qingxiu asked, "Qing Ke, what do you want to learn?" Li Tai's eyes lit up. "Master, I want to learn the art of flying, to soar to the skies and bathe in the sea of clouds." Qingxiu scoffed, "You think flying is that easy? Besides, you're too fat. You can't fly at all." Li Tai immediately looked deflated and said helplessly, "Master, then how can I learn to fly? I can teach you the art of flying, but not now. You must lose weight first. Before that, I'll teach you some basics." Li Tai clenched his fists and said determinedly, "Master, please teach me how to lose weight. Very simple. Tomorrow morning, get up early and run with my household guards. No need to carry weight, just follow them. I'll also prepare a diet for you. You'll slim down quickly." Li Tai was already as fat as a ball. If this continued, his health would eventually suffer. People of this time didn't fully understand that obesity causes illness. Li Tai was excited. "Thank you, Master. So what are we learning today?" Qingxiu picked up a writing brush and began writing on xian paper. Li Tai looked shocked. "Master, you cannot see, yet you can still write?" Qingxiu said proudly, "This is my skill. Though blind, my heart sees clearly. I remember everything I touch, so I can use it like a normal person." "Master, you're amazing. What is this drawing?" "These are numbers. Today, you'll learn them. This is 1, this is 2, this is 3, this is 4, this is 10. Yes, Qingxiu first taught Li Tai Arabic numerals. Compared to complex traditional characters, they are much simpler for accounting. Single digit is units, 2 digits are tens, 3 digits are hundreds, 4 digits are thousands, 9 digits are 10 million. After a while, Li Tai said happily, "Master, these numbers are amazing. Using them to count is simple and saves a lot of effort. The arrangement reveals great meaning. Master, you're a genius." Li Tai learned the number arrangement in just half an hour. No wonder Lier was so fond of his son. Judging by his intelligence, the rumors were true. In just one morning, he learned to use Arabic numerals and even mastered addition and subtraction within 1,000. "Master, what will we learn this afternoon?" Qingxiu said, "Too much too fast is hard to digest. Just study this today. Practice addition and subtraction. Once you're skilled, we'll move on." Li Tai nodded. "Teacher, I understand. Knowledge can't be gained in one day. I'll continue to study addition and subtraction on my own. But first, I want to ask you a question." "Ask." Li Tai asked, "How can we solve drought problems?" Qingxiu asked curiously, "Why ask this?" Li Tai sighed calmly, My father said a drought happened at Xiaoguan. Tens of thousands of commoners may have no harvest. He and his officials are worried. I want to know if you have any good ideas." Qingxiu smiled and said, "Solving famine is a small matter." Li Tai got very excited. "Master, please teach me how to solve it." Knowing that Li Tai's father was the Tang Emperor Lier, telling Li Tai meant telling Lier. Qingxiu casually spoke for a cup of tea's time. Li Tai's little face turned red from excitement, and his eyes sparkled. He suddenly stood up and bowed. "Thank you, Master. I must go to Chang'an now to help my father solve this problem." Qingxiu waved his hand. "Go quickly." "Yes, Master." Li Tai ran out and called for the guards to bring a horse. The guards strongly suggested he take a carriage, but he refused and insisted on riding. In just the time of 3 incense sticks, he reached the Taiji Palace. Inside the Hall of Martial Virtue, the officials were still in court. A eunuch ran in and said, "Your Majesty, Prince Wei is here to see you." Lier frowned. Didn't he go out with the retired emperor? Why is he back now? The eunuch said, "Prince Wei said he has a way to solve the Xiaoguan drought without spending grain or money." "Oh? Really?" Lier raised an eyebrow and smiled at the officials. Chang Sun Wuji laughed. "Your Majesty, Prince Wei cares about the people." "That's good. But he's only 8. What does he know about such matters?" "Prince Wei cares about the people. Even at a young age, he eases your Majesty's burdens. I congratulate your Majesty and the Tang dynasty." "We congratulate your Majesty and the Tang dynasty." "Your Majesty, Prince Wei is too young to be involved in state affairs." "Don't cross the line," said a goat-bearded old man sarcastically. Chang Sun Wuji frowned. "Wei Zheng, His Majesty hasn't even agreed to let Prince Wei in, and you're already stirring trouble." Wei Zheng squinted and said, Lord Chang Sun, His Majesty favors Prince Wei and has awarded him beyond the rules. This has caused dissatisfaction among other princes. I'm protecting him. Insolent. Changsun Wuji shouted angrily. Who do you say envies Prince Wei? His Majesty's sons? You insult their character. Your Majesty, this old thief insults the royal family. Please punish him. Wei Zheng sneered, Lord Changsun, don't exaggerate. I'm a counselor. I can speak in court. Whether it's accepted is His Majesty's decision, not yours. Humph, Changsun Wuji snorted coldly. Old thief, you're stirring up conflict between His Majesty and the princes. You're vicious and should be punished. As Wei Zheng tried to argue, Li Er slammed the table in frustration. Enough. You two, shut up. I'm not dead yet. This is the court, not a market. Why are you bickering like fishwives? Fujiji, Wei Zheng, both of you shut up. I'm tired. We'll discuss this another day. Court dismissed. If you have a petition, present it. If not, leave, shouted the eunuch. The officials hadn't left yet when Li Er said, senior officials from the 3 departments stay. Left and right prime ministers stay. Others go home. Also, bring Prince Wei to me. Wei Zheng's eyes widened in anger. Changsun Wuji mockingly said, what's wrong, old thief? Still here after court is dismissed? Want to mooch food? Prince Wei didn't break any rules by not attending court. Now that court is over, can't the emperor talk with his son? Wei Zheng wanted to speak but stopped, finally snorting and leaving the hall. Wei Zheng had been the former crown prince's supporter and even helped him suppress Li Er. Although Li Er let go of the past and used him, the old ministers of Tian Su House didn't trust him at all. Prince Wei, Li Tai, entered the hall covered in sweat. This made Li Er feel extremely distressed. He quickly asked a maid for a handkerchief, pulled Li Tai into his arms, and carefully helped him wipe his sweat, even complaining, Qin Ke, why are you sweating so much from running? Father Emperor. Li Tai, out of breath, patted his chest. Li Er hurriedly offered a cup of tea to help his son catch his breath. Speak slowly, don't rush. Calm down first, then talk. Li Tai took a sip of tea, rested a moment, and then spoke excitedly. Father Emperor, your son has an idea. Without spending a coin or grain from the national treasury, it can solve the famine in Xiaoguan. Changsun Wuji, Fang Xianling, Du Ruhui, Xiao Yu and others all laughed. Li Er also laughed and asked, then tell Father Emperor, what's your method? Li Tai said seriously, Father Emperor, our great Tang indeed values the people, but merchants belong to the low class, even lower than commoners. This makes some people hesitant to go into business. More than half of Great Tang's wealth is in the hands of merchants. They're overflowing with riches. Why don't we collect more merchant taxes? If we raise the status of merchants in Great Tang, I believe many merchants won't oppose paying taxes. Increasing merchant taxes can not only quickly fill the treasury, but also encourage people to go into business. As more people trade, more tax is collected. Great Tang will soon become wealthy. Li Er and the others looked at each other. Changsun Wuji looked Li Tai up and down, surprised. Prince Wei, who told you these things? Li Tai respectfully replied, Uncle, don't worry about who told me. Anyway, taxing merchants is the fastest way to fill the treasury. Fang Xianling smiled and said, Prince Wei, you only see the benefits of taxing merchants but ignore the biggest drawback. If everyone goes into business, who will farm the fields? Without farming, where does grain come from? Li Tai proudly said, Grand Chancellor, it's simple. Father Emperor only needs to order that commoners in trade must not neglect farming. Nobles doing business who abandon fields shall be punished by law. If even such decrees can't stop the trend, then we collect grain tax as before, 2/10. If they can't pay, punish them. Won't the problem be solved? After speaking, Li Tai spread his hands, quite proud. Li Er almost spat out his tea. He looked at the ministers again. Fang Xianling pondered for a moment, then suddenly exclaimed, Brilliant! Your Majesty, Prince Wei's method hits the mark. By taxing 2/10 as before, even if people do business, they won't neglect their land. If that's not enough, add another rule, the grain tax must be paid with grain from one's own fields. That perfectly solves it. Changsun Wuji was overjoyed. Qin Ke, you thought of all this? He and Du Ruhui looked at Li Tai with admiration, as if seeing the future of Great Tang. Li Er laughed heartily, my son is truly clever. He not only thought of increasing merchant tax to quickly fill the treasury, but also perfectly solved its drawbacks. Qin Ke, you are truly my lucky star. Li Tai scratched the back of his head and smiled foolishly, it's all thanks to the good teaching of my master. Li Er quickly shouted, Wang Da, send 200 taels of silver and 10 bolts of silk from the inner palace to Wang Gue. Say it's my reward and thank him for training such a good son for me. Ha ha ha. Li Er laughed happily. Li Tai's small face wrinkled up, but thinking of Grandpa Emperor's words, he said nothing. He only sighed silently. Clearly, it was Master Qing's credit, but Wang Gui ended up getting the reward. If Grandpa Emperor hadn't ordered him not to tell Father Emperor anything about what happened in Sanha village, he would have mentioned Master Qing directly. Li Er said to Fang Xianling, have the Central Secretariat draft the decree. Also notify Li Yuansong and have the Ministry of Justice draft relevant laws. Find an auspicious day to issue the decree together. Great Tang will be prosperous. The more Li Er looked at Li Tai, the more he liked him. Li Tai said, Father Emperor, please don't. Why? Everyone was puzzled. Li Tai said, Father Emperor, I think the famine in Xiaoguan should be solved first. It's not too late to issue the policy afterward. Oh? Li Er squinted and smiled. Could it be, your famine solution is related to merchants? Li Tai grinned, yes, Father Emperor. Then tell me, how will you solve the Xiaoguan disaster? Li Tai said mysteriously, Father Emperor, it's not that I don't want to say, but if I say it now, it might not work. Please allow your son to keep it secret. Why not let your son handle the relief? Li Er frowned, Qingke, disaster relief is no game. One misstep and many could starve. Changsun Wuji bowed, Your Majesty, better let me go with Prince Wei to handle the matter. If something's not right, I can point it out in time and help improve it. Li Er nodded, okay, do as you suggest. Li Tai was overjoyed, thank you, Father Emperor. I'll depart for Xiaoguan tomorrow. In less than a month, the issue will be resolved. But before that, I wish to ask Father Emperor for a noble title, not a big one, just a baron. Li Er was confused, you're already Prince Wei. Why do you want a baron title? No need for Father Emperor to worry. Just grant it. Li Er laughed, all right, I'll draft the baron title decree and send it to your uncle's residence. As for whom to grant it to, let your uncle fill it out. You can choose anyone. Thank you, Father Emperor. Uncle, let's go. Li Tai eagerly urged Changsun Wuji to leave. Changsun Wuji laughed and followed him out of the Hall of Martial Virtue. Fang Xianling and Du Ruhui shook their heads in private. His Majesty is clearly too partial to this son. Since ancient times, noble titles were a major state matter, needing approval from the royal clan, the Secretariat, and the Ministry of Rights. Li Er broke rules just to make it easy for his son, even letting him choose whoever he wanted to grant the title to. Li Er noticed their concerns and smiled, Gentlemen, I know this isn't child's play. I also want to see what my Prince Wei can really do to solve the Xiaoguan disaster. Let's wait and see. I'm curious too. After leaving the hall, Changsun Wuji asked with a smile, Qingke, tell uncle, what's your relief plan? Li Tai shook his head, Uncle, you'll see then. He bowed and said, Uncle, please help me gather all major grain merchants in Chang'an at 10 Fragrance Pavilion by noon tomorrow. I want to host a banquet. Changsun Wuji looked puzzled, why? Li Tai smiled mysteriously, you'll see. Please return to your residence. I need to go out of the city. Then he called his guards, mounted his horse, and left, leaving Changsun Wuji completely baffled. Su Xiaochun sat bored at the counter, resting her chin on her hand, helplessly watching the endless stream of people. Old Zhang the Blade and Old Ma II were also sitting inside the shop, dozing off. Su Xiaochun turned to look at a few large wooden barrels, with 2 labels stuck on them, Biluakan and Flower Fairy Jade Guanine. Su Xiaochun sighed, it's been the whole morning, and we haven't sold a single coin's worth. Could these teas we roasted be a complete failure? Old Zhang and Old Ma didn't understand business at all and just kept dryly smiling. Madam, this old man thinks the Duke wouldn't do something without confidence. Yes, the Duke isn't a reckless person. Let's wait a bit longer. It was already close to noon. Though there were many people in the East Market, no one stopped by Xinglong Tea Shop. 1,000 ox guard on horseback in armor galloped over, dismounted in front of Xinglong Tea Shop, and walked directly inside. Shopkeeper, is your tea boiled or steeped? Su Xiaochun instantly became spirited and quickly explained, our tea is for steeping. Just use boiling water to brew it for drinking. She turned her head and said, Old Knife, quickly bring some Biluakan and Jade Guanine for this lord to smell. Su Xiaochun smiled and said, Dear officer, our tea is really fragrant. It's fine if you don't buy, just smell it first. If you like it, then you can buy some. The guard smelled both teas and was immediately amazed by the aroma. He nodded and said, This should be the one. I'll take 3 jean of Biluakan and 3 jean of Flower Fairy Jade Guanine. All right. Su Xiaochun excitedly began packing the tea, 6 canisters total. 3 of Biluakan, 3 of Jade Guanine. That's 45 taels of silver in total. The guard didn't even blink and immediately slapped a 50-tael silver ingot on the table. After getting his change, the guard mounted his horse and rode away without looking back. Su Xiaochun stared at the 50-tael silver ingot and silly laughed like in a dream. We made a sale. We made a sale. Madam, more people are coming, a lot. They're probably coming for our shop. Su Xiaochun looked out and saw a group of carriages approaching, soon blocking the entire street. An official looked up at Qinglong Tea Shop and said with a smile, this should be the place. Shopkeeper, I want 1 jean of tea. Shopkeeper, I'll take 1 jean too. Oh, Lord Do, you're here for tea as well? So it's Lord Sun. I heard His Majesty recently rewarded you with the Lanling Garden? Hee, not really. Even Lord of the State of E is here for tea? Oh dear, black charcoal head. A chubby middle-aged man sneered at a dark, burly man. You old black stick came for tea too? Isn't that a waste? Yu Qigong rolled his shoulders and coldly laughed. Chang Yaojin, what the hell are you saying? Didn't you come for tea too? The two contrasted sharply. Chang Yaojin was plump and fair, looking friendly. Yu Qigong, on the other hand, was black as iron, tall and sturdy, 8 feet in height and girth, with shoulders broad enough for a horse to run across. Looking closer, he had no neck at all. Seeing the crowd lining up in front of the shop, Su Xiaochun knew big business had come and shouted outside, our Xinglong tea shop has 2 types of tea. One is Biluakun, the brewed tea is fragrant, sweet, refreshing, and invigorating. 5 taels of silver per jean. Old Zhang shouted, the second is flower fairy jade guanine. Not only fragrant and sweet, but it also whitens the skin. 10 taels of silver per jean. Limited supply, first come first served. Old Zhang craned his neck, smiled, and cupped his hands toward Cheng Yaojin and Yu Qigong. Lord Yuqi, Lord Cheng, long time no see. Cheng Yaojin stared and sized up old Zhang, then his eyes widened. Damn, isn't that old Zhang the blade? You're still alive? Old Zhang chuckled. Thanks to you too, I'm strong and healthy, could easily live another 30 years. Yu Qigong laughed dryly. Old knife, it's been nearly 10 years since we met. Back then, the two of us couldn't beat you even when we fought together. Old Zhang said, Lord Yuqi, Lord Cheng, how about we find a place and spar a bit later? Cheng Yaojin shrank his neck and shook his head.